Hello, folks. Welcome in. This is the 455th episode of the Dean Withers Show. For everybody who's tuning in today, let me tell you that I really appreciate you so much for being here. We have so much to cover. It's actually kind of ridiculous. If this is your first time tuning into the live stream, make sure to drop a follow, drop a sub. It's totally free to do so. We do these debate live streams literally every single day, 7 days a week for 4 hours a day. If you do want to support the work that we do here, if you want to support the lives on TikTok, you can find a link to my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio, as well as it's in the pinned message over in that YT stream, and the handle's also at the top of the phone screen on TikTok too. Also a really good way to ask a question or get a message across. Now, folks, before we hop into the debates, I do want to quickly go over the breaking news. And honestly, today's breaking news is ludicrous. There is now widespread internet speculation that there is a possible White House affair. Let's go over the reporting. Donald Trump, 80 years old, has been accused of a very unhealthy relationship with a blonde 34-year-old aide that is a woman. Her name is Natalie Harp, and her quote-unquote obsession with Donald Trump has become so severe that her own brother has spoken out. Preston Harp, Natalie's brother, 38 years old, blasted the president and his quote-unquote too close for comfort bond with his sister. He also went on to say that the relationship his sister has with Trump is very unhealthy. Now, we have seen some specifics about the nature of this very unhealthy relationship, saying that she would, quote unquote, leave gushing letters for Trump in his personal spaces. I don't know what personal space means, but I assume that would mean the residency of the private residency of the president. And then he also went on to say that it is incredibly unhealthy and something might be going on, and that it's so hard to believe. Now, this is very interesting. I don't know what to make of this. I'll leave you to form your own conclusions, but it's kind of insane. It's kind of crazy. Let's go ahead and hop into that very first debate of the day. Me and Parker, my buddy who will be co-hosting with me for a while here. By the way, let me know when you need to head out, because I kind of need to pee, so I'm going to do that before you leave at some point in the future. Me and my buddy Parker, he's hanging out with us for a little bit today. And we already did have a Trump supporter connected to the live stream to have a dialogue with us. But they actually just left while I was hitting the intro. Folks, I don't know what to say. Trump supporters are terrified of talking to me. Regardless if it's on my live stream, where right now we have close to 23,000 viewers on TikTok, where anybody could connect, and there's not a singular Trump supporter who's willing to, or even just large Republican content creators on TikTok.
Yo, sorry about that.
Nobody wants to debate with me. In fact, if you have ever heard of a Republican content creator by the name of Older Millennial, I've been calling him out for an abortion debate for a while. Today, right before I started the live stream, I decided to finally confront him. I joined his live stream. I called him out. I told him that I wanted to invite him to join my live to have a conversation with me about abortion, because that's one of his topics that he debates every single day. And he straight up said no. And then he went on to say that maybe he would be willing to debate me on another subject, but he would never debate me on abortion because, quote unquote, he doesn't care what a 21-year-old would have to say about abortion. That's code for I'm scared to get brutally massacred, intellectually speaking, by a 21-year-old that will absolutely destroy my career as a quasi-political commentator. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Shout out to all of those of you. Shout out to all of those who were there. I did send this out as an announcement in my Discord. I did have the ability to view me in his live stream on, so a couple of thousand of you guys collected in there. I thought that was pretty funny that you guys got to witness that live. Welcome back in, dude. I guess you're literally the only Trump supporter out of our audience of close to 22,000 that's willing to have a conversation with us. So let's just go back to where we're at before.
Yeah, bro,
you told us.
they're all Mar glazers, bro. Like, she's an actual annoying person. They just glaze her and think she's tough. All right, I'll debate you now. What were you saying?
So earlier when we had you connected for a little bit, let's just pick back up on where we left off. You told us that you agree with Donald Trump's mass deportation because you think that all undocumented immigrants are dangerous, right?
Most of them, yes.
When you say most of them, what do you mean by that? Like, specifically, like, what percentage of undocumented immigrants are dangerous and why?
I mean, like, I don't have a percent. Like, what percent are not dangerous?
Can you tell us what most means?
Hey, Parker, this is a debate for Dean, okay?
Yeah, can you answer the question? Can you tell us what most means?
A good portion, I'd say.
By good portion, do you mean like?
Most doesn't mean a majority
Hey,
of.
stop interrupting Dean, please. What'd you say, Dean? Sorry about him.
Oh, I'll just literally repeat what he was
Eyebrows.
about to say because you seem so scared of him. So the word most means majority. So you think that over 50% of undocumented immigrants are super dangerous?
My bad. I said that wrong. A majority. I mean, not a majority. Okay, I'm dumb. Like a percent, I guess you could say. Like
It either means a majority or the greatest percentage of. That's what most means. Otherwise, you don't know what most means.
Okay,
I
so
misspoke, Parker. Just like how you accidentally kicked me, I accidentally said most. Okay.
all right. So now you're telling us you think a percentage of undocumented immigrants are dangerous. What do you think makes them dangerous? Bad, violent crimes? Mike?
Sorry, my dog just went crazy. What were you saying?
What do you think makes that percentage of undocumented immigrants? I would assume you're talking about those guilty of violent crimes.
Oh, you're going this way again?
No, I'm just asking
guilty,
you what makes them dangerous. That's all.
Guilty of violent criminal conduct, not civil conduct.
Okay, so basically you're telling us that they're dangerous because they've done like really bad violent things. Perfect.
Well, they're just committing a crime.
Okay, fantastic. So you think if you commit a crime, then you're dangerous. So therefore, Trump is dangerous because of his 34 felony conviction.
There it is. All right, bro. Like, so what if Trump wasn't president? Would you still? What's the point of that? Like, would you still be pro-immigration or whatever?
Yeah. Now, can you please respond to what I just said? So I tried to ask you a series of questions to identify why you think that undocumented immigrants are dangerous. And we reduced you down to saying that you think that they're dangerous because they're guilty of crimes. So therefore, your standard is if a person is guilty of crimes, then they are dangerous. So just to clarify, you think that Donald Trump is dangerous because he was found guilty of 34 crimes. Is that your claim?
He was found. No, those were financial crimes.
Okay, so not all crimes. So specifically, what kind of crimes? Violent crimes? Okay,
Yes.
so if somebody has engaged in a violent crime, then you think they're dangerous.
Criminal crime, by the way, not civil. Criminal, violent
Well,
criminal.
I just think if somebody has engaged in a violent crime, regardless if they've been found guilty of it or not, they're going to be a dangerous person. Like, can we agree that if somebody engages in the violent crime of rape, even if they're never brought to legal accountability for it, they're still obviously dangerous because they engaged in that very violent, heinous action?
Well, this is America, so you're innocent until you're proven guilty, Dean.
So if you were raped, you would say that your rapist is not a rapist until a court finds him guilty of rape?
They deserve to have process to see if they're guilty or not. They just
So
can't
you
be
wouldn't
labeled.
you wouldn't call yourself a rape victim until your rapist is found guilty in a criminal court of law.
I don't know. Well, like, I've never been raped before, so I don't know. Like,
I'm just. This is a very simple question. If you were raped, would you call yourself a rape victim or not? Because you think that your rapist would be innocent until proven guilty.
I mean,
No,
I guess
clearly-
I'd be a victim. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Clearly, you would call yourself a rape victim. Clearly, you'd call them a rapist because you know that they raped you because that was an
Sorry, my
experience
dog's
in
going
which
crazy. Give me a minute.
you personally lived through. Okay, perfect. So, in other words, yeah, it seems like we're agreeing here that if you rape somebody, you're a very violent, dangerous person. Well, a unanimous jury of 9 inside of a civil court ruled that Donald Trump raped a woman by the name of E. Jean Carroll by forcefully penetrating her vagina with his fingers.
Is this a script you have or something? Because you say this every time. Like, close your eyes and say it.
Can you respond to what I said, please?
I think you're a victim if that happens to you. Yes.
Okay, that's just simply not what I said. It doesn't seem like you're tracking. I actually want to ask you a question. You made a post that says pleasure equals consent. Do you think that pleasure equals consent?
Yes, it's true. I don't know.
So do you think
What?
that somebody could experience physical responses to intercourse without giving consent to said intercourse just because of the biologically driven response to stimuli, even if that stimuli is not consented to?
I mean, if your body likes it, that means you like it.
Okay, so you think that kids can consent to sex if kids can feel pleasure from sex?
They don't know what it is, so they don't.
So you think it's okay for like an adult teacher to do that to a little kid that does have the physiological response of that? Like, say, for example, a young boy, right, is being taken advantage of by like an older woman who's a teacher. Are you saying that's justified because the young boy had a physiological response?
I'd be jealous, not gonna lie, bro. Like
That's
my teachers
fucking disgusting,
my teachers were
dude.
bad as
Go
hell.
fuck
bro.
yourself.
My teachers were really, really cute, and I
Yeah,
wanted
bro.
them.
Go fuck yourself. You're actually fucking gross.
What?
You're pro rape.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
were
just did. You
pro-child
just
rape.
said that you were
literally are
pro-child rape.
pro-child rape.
No, I never said.
You just
that,
said
bro.
that you were jealous of children who were raped.
No, I didn't mean like that. You know what I mean, bro.
I have no fucking clue what you mean. No fucking clue what you mean. Well, folks, we've been live for 30 minutes. That is the first and only Trump supporter that we've been able to get to join the live stream to have a dialogue with us. And we have to remove him now because he's pro-child rape, everybody. So I'd like to put this out there for the Trump supporters watching the live stream. You are invited to join as long as you are not pro-child rape. So I know that like there's a bunch of Trump supporters, you know, that maybe agree with that last guess, but I'll just ask all of the pro-child rape Trump supporters to please not join the live stream.
Hello?
Hi,
Hello?
welcome in. Do you support Trump?
Hi. Well, my family supports Trump, but I'm not really aware of all the stuff, so I just wanted to ask.
I would highly recommend watching the live stream. I do appreciate you so much for being here. That is exactly why we run these lives. The purpose of running these lives is specifically so we could advocate for more intellectualism in the American youth and the American electorate as a whole. And I think that you could definitely learn something by just watching. AZ, appreciate you for another Galaxy. Welcome in. Do you support Trump, Z?
Not gonna lie, I didn't realize I requested up, but I guess I do have a question then. And
Are you a Trump
I don't
supporter?
really know. My whole entire family was. I used to be,
You used to be,
but
so you're not anymore?
I don't really know that question.
The election was held
because I'm
tomorrow
still-
between Trump and Harris. Who'd you vote for?
Last voting term, I never voted because I didn't like either option.
I'm going to tell you
but
the
I have
same
a-
thing I told to that last guest. I think that the major takeaway from this live stream is for viewers who are not as politically engaged themselves, who don't really know, to maybe learn something new by just watching the debates unfold. But for those specifically that were looking to join the live stream, we're looking for people who do support Trump. And hopefully by watching my debates with people who do support Trump, you could learn something you didn't know before and maybe grow more solid in your opinions. Like, for instance, one viewer of this live stream actually sent me this in a message yesterday. They told me that they've been watching around an hour every day for the last 2 weeks. And 2 weeks ago, they didn't even know enough to vote. And now they're confidently a progressive. So I think that's pretty cool. And that's just by watching the live stream. Let's go to get that next guest, Joseph, connected up over on Super Chat. Levi, thank you so much for the $10, who says, I used to support Trump. Your voice and voices like yours have helped me wake up, and I genuinely appreciate everything that you do, man. Well, I appreciate you so much for waking up and seeing the truth, Levi. I think that is awesome, and I'm so proud of you. Joseph, do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you, Joseph?
I'm 21.
What year were you born in?
2005.
Okay, yeah. Let me thank a couple people, and the mic of the floor will be yours. Shout out to Camp over on Super Chat for the $50. Camp, that is very, 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 very kind of you. That is so much money, and I'm very grateful for you. Please show some massive love to CAMP Camp down below in that chat for the 50. Camp with the 50 says, MAGAs can't defend how objectively crap their lives have become. They've worn into the ground defaults of quote-unquote trust Trump's plan, or quote-unquote it'll get worse before it gets better, and have been exposed to smoke and mirrors even to themselves. Yeah, there is no substantive base left for MAGA. It is all lies and hypocrisy and idiocracy, 110%. And then Xander, thank you so much for the $20 over on Super Chat as well. We are caught up on Super Chat. Show some love to Camp and Xander and Levi. I appreciate you guys very, very much. On Venmo, John, thank you for the $5. I appreciate you, John. Tyler with the $5 who says, did you see Trump put out a promo code for GTA 6? I did not. Kayla with the $10 who says, Trump just struck Iran for violating the ceasefire. Bro, yeah, that whole agreement's a fucking mess, Kayla. Jesus. Thank you for the $10. And then Steve, thank you so much for the $15 who says, we need more strong alpha males like Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk. You forgot Spencer Pratt. Steve, how could you? Thank you so much for the $15. Oh man, show some love to Steve. Serena, thank you for the $20 who says happy 6 million goat. Thank you so much for that love, Serena. By the way, I hope that you were having fun at that new job you told me about a couple months ago. Thank you for the $20. 200 Serena W's down below. And Olivia with the $20 for therapy because of all the trolls. Thank you so much for the $20 and the funny ass message, Olivia. Wyatt, thank you for the $5. Jared, thank you for the $2. Xena with the $10 who says, did you see the new Michael Jackson movie? I have not. Over on PayPal, thank you so much. Katie for the $20 who says, hey, it's my birthday and I'm so old that if I was an FBI agent I'd have to retire. 57? Well, happy 57th birthday, Katie. Show some love to Katie in that chat for her birthday.
Yeah,
it's super exciting.
Or what, dude?
Almost. Thank you so much, Dwayne, for the $30 who says the older millennial pulled me up in his live, asked him about calling Vance the B word. I said, isn't that hypocritical of you since you won't even man up and debate Dean? Well, I appreciate you for the $30, Dwayne. That guy's a clown. He's an absolute tool. He's so scared of me. And then same thing to you, Layla. Thank you for the $6, and Molly, I appreciate you for the $10. And I'm so happy to hear that you're now at home recovering from that kidney donation. Once again, Molly, you are an incredibly good person, and I hope that you enjoy the live today. Go ahead and take it away, Joseph. Tell me and Parker why you support Trump.
I support Trump because he most aligns with neolibertarian phalangist ideas.
Oh, man, yeah. Well, I appreciate you so much for wasting like 20 minutes of your time. Now I'm actually so happy that I happened to take some time to thank all the donors, and it honestly makes me a really happy fella that I just wasted so much of your time. Let's go to get the next guest connected to the live stream right now, everybody. We're going to look for the next Trump supporter. Like I said, they do seem to be quite afraid of me. We've been live for 35 minutes, haven't been able to get one debate that lasted more than 5 minutes so far. So it is definitely an uphill battle trying to find some Trump supporters. I do ask that if you are inside of that queue, make sure that you are an American adult that does support Trump, that's willing to join and have a conversation with us. We're looking for fruitful, productive dialogue, everybody. We're looking for some fruitful, productive dialogue. Trustless, appreciate you for that air dancer gift on TikTok. You're awesome. We got a couple people loading up here. Let's hear. Lily, do you support Trump? Okay, Lily's not here. What about you, Moose? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
What about you, Sharky? Do you support Trump?
Of course.
All right. It seems like we got two people on the live. Moose, how old are you?
I'm 19.
What about you, Sharky?
I'm 20.
Moose, what year are you born in?
2007, May 30th. I just turned 19 like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and what about you, Sharky?
2006.
What month?
October.
Okay. That would actually make you 19. You're a liar.
Well, fucking damn near.
Moose, go to take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
Yeah, so honestly, I feel like he just personally aligns more with my political ideologies. I don't think he's like a great person, but like
Yeah, and what are your political ideologies? Yeah.
I feel like he aligns with neolibertarian phalangism.
And every single time, whenever they say political ideology, it's always the same thing.
If Trump aligns with their political ideologies, those political ideologies happen to be neolibertarian phalangism. Annie, thank you for the $20 on Super Chat, who says, the last guy's one and only post literally said pleasure equals consent. Absolutely fucking disgusting. And then he double downed and said that he's jealous of boys that have been raped. Like, dude, it was disgusting, Annie. Thank you for the $20. Show some love to Annie in that chat. Henry McAllister, do you support Trump?
Yes.
It's a troll. 3D printer Noah, do you support Trump?
Yes.
Age? Are also a troll. Folks, it's been 40 minutes, everyone. It's been 40 minutes. Listen, guys, you had your fun. I would appreciate if you just stopped now so we could try to get on to some actual debates. You had 40 minutes of fun. You had 40 minutes of fun to like troll me and troll us and do whatever. Please stop now. It's been 40 minutes, everybody. It's been 40 minutes of straight trolls. Please stop now. Please. I feel like 40 minutes is enough. That's enough time. That's enough time to troll everybody.
Hello.
40 minutes
Bro,
is
you
enough.
you kick like every person after like 5 seconds. You don't even let them talk, bro.
Right, yeah, I wonder why.
Because they're trolling, bruv, like you.
No, bro, there was like
System, do you support Trump?
There was
Billy, thank you for the well done.
Yes, obviously, bro. I already voted.
What time is it?
What do you mean?
What time is it? Where you're at? What time is it?
12 p.m., bro.
You're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah.
Sorry,
What?
Pacific Ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah, get out of here. Let's go to get the next guest connected. Hawaii is 4 hours before me, so it's like 11:34 over
Dean.
there. Yeah?
Look at this.
Why have you ran for me twice already?
Hi, do you support Trump?
Both of you. Yes.
You do support Trump. Wowie. Why is that?
Do you know who this is?
No.
It's Platform.
If I had to take a guess, you're just probably somebody super irrelevant. So why do you support Trump?
Wait, Dean, do you not know who Platform is?
No clue.
Of course he knows who Platform is.
I don't have an idea.
Yeah.
Can we get an argument here?
No, I'm
Oh,
about
bro.
to. But you guys,
Good luck, Dean.
You guys have kicked me twice. Parker, I'm talking to you too. You've kicked me because you guys have no rebuttal to what I'm saying.
No, because I dog walk you every time,
You
bro.
don't
and
dog
you just
walk
get
when you
angry.
just kick somebody. You guys kick me because you
What,
can't
dude?
have
I've
the
I've
conversation.
destroyed you so many times that
Have
my
an
chat's
in-person
just
conversation with me.
my
and then let's
chat's
record
bored
it.
of me destroying you.
Let's
you know?
record it in person. But okay, to the
Can I
point.
get an argument
I
for
wouldn't
why
get
you
within
support
6 feet of you, bro. What are you talking about?
Who? And I don't think many women would get 6 feet in front of 6 feet or whatever you just said.
Platform,
so,
are you
let
single?
me ask you a question.
Wow, nice own.
No, I'm not.
You're not single. Wow. Doubt it. What's the argument? Why do you support Trump?
Yeah, so you think that I'm gonna go and vote for Kamala Harris or the Democrat, the Demis? You think I'm gonna vote for the Demis?
We're asking you why you voted for Trump, dude.
Because of his policies.
Which ones?
Well, we could talk about a bunch of them, but strictly abortion, his abortion policy, which I'm not happy with, but
I have a question for you, platform. If it was true that Kamala Harris would have saved more innocent human lives than Donald Trump, would you say in retrospect you should have supported Harris instead?
If she would have saved more innocent lives?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish that was the case, but she incarcerated like how many people in the state of California?
The question is, if that was the case, would you, in retrospect, argue that you should have voted
Do you guys
for her?
forget the incarceration? Or do you forget how many people she put into prison?
Platform pause. That's why you got kicked. Is because you said a TOS term. You said a TOS term. That's why.
What's TOS?
Yeah, you can't say any DRUG name in specific. You got to say like M drug, F drug, things like that. You can't say the specific DRUG name. That's why.
Listen, man, can I please get an answer to the question that I asked you? The question was very clear. You told us that you support Trump because of his abortion policy. I assume that that inevitably boils down to your claim that you just think that Donald Trump is going to save more innocent, valuable life than the alternatives because the Democrats are pro-abortion.
Well, clearly not.
And abortion kills innocent, valuable human life. So I'm just asking you simply, if it was true that Kamala Harris would have saved much more innocent human lives than Donald Trump, would you argue in retrospect you should have supported her? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So if you don't, if you wouldn't argue here that the amount of innocent human life saved is a standard that you use to justify your support for a candidate or against a candidate, then the topic of abortion is not the reason why you support Trump. Because if you're pro-life and that ultimately boils down to you saying, well, we were going to prevent the murder of innocent kids in utero, well, then your position would be that you want to support and save as many innocent human lives as possible, and that's your standard for dictating your political support for or against a candidate. But that's not your standard. So let's start from the top. Why do you support Trump?
Well, let's see. I would support the Republican Party. You're asking about Trump.
Yeah. We are asking why you support the president.
What's the difference between me supporting President Trump and supporting the Republican Party?
So, I mean, if you support the Republican Party, then you do support Trump because the GOP is bending the knee to Trump. They're just his little loyalist lapdogs that kind of do whatever he wants. I just want an argument, dude. Why do you support the Trump administration? What is the good that they're doing?
I don't support voting in general, so there you go.
Well, you just told us that you voted for Trump because of abortion, and now you're telling us that you don't support voting at all?
Yeah, do you think that there's corruption within voting?
All right, we're going to go to get that next guest connected to the live stream right now, folks. Only opposite side of that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. I guess we won that debate. He started off by saying that he supports Trump and he voted for Trump. Now he's saying that he doesn't support voting at all and he's just a political nihilist. Okay, that's fine. Welcome in, M. Do you support Trump?
No.
Jamie, welcome in. I guess Jamie's still loading in. As soon as we do get that next guest up here, folks, I'm going to take a moment to just go use the restroom, honestly.
Dean, he'll say that, and then he'll after be like, I would still vote for Trump over Harris.
Yeah, I don't know. What an inconsistent mess. Welcome back in, Grayson.
That's Grayson.
Grayson.
It's Grayson, man. Come on, dude. Just say it with the accent, bro.
Grayson. So earlier you told us one of the reasons why you support Trump is abortion. Can I ask you a question, dude?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Do you think that abortion should be banned in circumstances of rape?
Oh, no.
Okay, so you don't think that they should be banned in circumstances of rape, just elective abortions, and that's the reason why you support Trump, because he's saving the innocent, valuable human life?
Majority, yeah.
Okay, so if Harris would have saved more innocent, valuable human life than Trump, would you say in retrospect you should have supported her?
Well, saving, and you're asking, just to be clear, you're asking me if by voting for Kamala Harris, it would have saved more innocent life, would I have voted in retrospect for her?
Yeah.
Well, yes, but also it's important that the person is holding a position that aligns with my actual view. So, like, for example, you're just going to make the argument that Kamala Harris, by her actually holding to her certain beliefs and ideology in regards to actually abortion, not ideology, but in regards to abortion, it actually preserves life more because the mother has more access to abortion. And studies show that if a woman has more access to abortion, less abortions occur.
So, I mean, that's not necessarily the angle I'd like to take here. The angle that I like to take here is the fact that the Lancet reports, due to Donald Trump's cuts to USAID, 14 million people are expected to die over the course of the next 4 years that wouldn't have died if the USAID cuts were never made. The USAID cuts never would have been made if Kamala Harris had won the election, meaning that under a Kamala Harris presidency, there would be 3 million lives saved that are now being killed under the Trump administration. We understand that you would argue you disagree with Kamala Harris's views as it relates to abortion, but you just simply disagree with Donald Trump's views as it relates to USAID cuts even more because it is more dramatic in the sense that it leads to the deaths of more innocent, valuable humans. Therefore, in retrospect, under a harm reduction principle, you would have voted for Harris.
The harm reduction principle? I'm not a consequentialist.
Then why did you tell me that if Kamala Harris would have saved more innocent, valuable human life than Donald Trump, that you would have supported her?
Well, I mean, I said two things, though, if you're listening closely. I said that, yes, I think that in retrospect, but also the person needs to hold a position that aligns with my view, okay? So
Kamala Harris's positions align more with your view than Donald Trump's because her positions lead to saving more innocent, valuable human lives than Trump's.
Trump's cuts, okay? The cuts that you're referencing, the cuts aren't being made in a way where intentionally the consequence is the ending of another human life. There is a result that ends in that. But the same argument can be made, for example, let's say that if we cut food stamps, okay? And as a result of cutting food stamps,
the same argument can be made about abortion. The abortion pill, you're cutting off the resources. Your intent is to cut off the resources to end the pregnancy, not to lead to the death of the fetus or the embryo, along with the fact that you could say the same thing about sex. Like people engage in sex for love, expression of love, pleasure, things like that, not for producing a child.
Okay, I guess I'm just trying. Can you get me to where you're at exactly? So what you're mentioning, USAID. How is this analogous to the? Are you making the argument that actually the cutting of the USAID results in more abortions, or just the passing of innocent life?
The greater loss of innocent, valuable human life. And the reason why you brought up intention was to argue that Donald Trump isn't responsible for those deaths because that wasn't.
No, because there's a principle. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can I answer Parker? Then I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Parker. Sorry. So there's a principal distinction between the two things. You said that one can be used for abortion. That's not the case. The cutting of USAID isn't analogous to my viewpoint for abortion because abortion under my worldview is schmurder. Cutting USAID is not schmurder.
Well, the reason why it's analogous is because what you want to do when making abortion illegal is your goal is to save human lives. Okay, and you support Trump's position because it saves more lives in accordance with your position, correct?
Well, Parker, no, you're missing a key principle here. Okay, my goal is to end.
Is your goal to prevent murder or to save lives?
It is to save lives through the prevention of what?
So the goal is to save lives. You just conceded. If your goal is to save lives, which position, which candidacy saves more lives? Is it Harris or Trump? Because we just explained to you that it was Harris.
I'm not arguing. I'm trying to get past the point we're having for trying to explain that it isn't analogous, and we can have the conversation about innocent life being taken, okay? The policies I'm looking to have instantiated that for abortion, okay? It is to prevent the innocent ending of life that happens because of what?
So you just care about the prevention of the loss of innocent life when it's caused by abortion, but not when it's caused by USAID cuts?
He cares about it in the womb, just not outside of the womb.
Oh yeah, apparently.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
can we agree that the outcome of an abortion and the outcome of a singular person dying from USAID cuts is the same in the sense that there's a loss of valuable innocent human life?
Oh, ultimately, at its actual core, there is an ending of innocent human life. Absolutely, I grant that. I'm saying it's the means to which you get there. Is the principal distinction.
Why is the means in which you get there relevant? If it leads to the same outcome, why is that relevant?
Yes, because cutting USAID isn't the same as schmurder. What do you think that schmurder is?
I think that murder is the unjustified termination of a human life, and because I support USAID cuts, I don't support USAID cuts. I would say the termination of those human lives is unjustified.
You want to redefine your definition for a minute because I'm just confused. Do you think that if you think that murder is the unjustified taking of a human life, is a fetus? What species is a fetus?
It's human.
A human body. What is it? Life?
Yeah.
Is it human life?
Yeah.
Okay, so abortion is the unjustified.
He's just saying it's not unjustified. Okay.
Wait. So justification means with good reason, right?
So unjustified means to do so wrongly because we're using unjust in a normative moral sense here.
Okay, great. So I'm just confused when you do you think I'm appealing to what are you appealing to when you're saying that the taking of human life? What is a human life then to you?
Why are you asking me the question, what is a human life, when I agree that the fetus is a human life?
Okay, great. So justification is what again?
So I would argue that there's no justification for abortion in the sense that I don't think that abortion is good. I merely think that it's permissible. You only provide moral justification for actions in which are good. I just don't think that there's a lack. I don't think that there's any good reason to support the claim that it'd be unjustified. I don't think it's just. I don't think it's unjust. I just think it is. I think it's morally permissible. Like there's no moral justification to like paint a rock, right? But there's also no lack of moral justification in the sense that it's unjust to paint a rock. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is.
Sure, but
right?
obviously
Can you provide the reasons insofar as why it is true that the termination of a fetus's life is unjustified?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I grant moral equal worth to the fetus as I would to a human outside of the womb.
Why?
If we wait before let me finish my position here. If we take the actual and we actualize the position outside of the womb, I'm sure you'd come to the rational conclusion that taking the life of a person. Let's say you don't have enough. Let's say you don't have enough money. You're poor. Is it ever justified to unalive somebody because you're poor?
No, it wouldn't be justified to end somebody's life, a person's life, if you're poor. So
Great.
what do you think grants the fetus moral value? Do you think it's the fact that it's a member of the human species?
No, future potential.
Potential for what?
But it would be potential to actually flourish.
But future potential for flourishment. Okay. Do you think that only humans could flourish?
Of course not.
So like non-humans can flourish, like cows, pigs, chickens.
Sorry, when I'm using flourish, just to be clear, I'm using this. I mean, obviously, it's a philosophically robust term, but I'm using it in the sense that like the flourish means to just basically to thrive. Okay, I'm
future potential to thrive.
To thrive. Okay, flourish means to thrive, to live a good life. Okay?
Do you think that a zygote has this?
The zygote? No.
Okay, why does a zygote not have the future potential to thrive?
No, sorry. The zygote does have the potential future to thrive, but the problem is that I am okay with like plan B, things like that. Those are actually permissible in my worldview. The answer is going to be quite simple. It's going to be because the mother, okay, if you take an actual morning after pill right after, there's many instances where the person's, let's say a rubber might break, things like that. Mm-hmm. These people were trying to take the means to protect themselves and it didn't work. So it is justified to take a plan B because you were trying to protect yourself. So I think that it's okay to do that.
Do you think that plan Bs kill zygotes?
It stops it.
It stops what?
It stops the small gamete from fertilizing the large gamete.
Okay, so it doesn't become a zygote. So it's not killing a zygote. So that wasn't an answer to my question. Do you think that it's wrong to kill zygotes?
Zygotes, again, it depends how long after, and I'd say no sometimes.
Okay, so what's the difference between killing a zygote and killing a fetus under your view? Because under your view, it seems to be the case that it's not wrong to kill a zygote, but it is wrong to kill a fetus. Why?
Yeah, I presented that scenario. I don't know if you heard my last response. It's going to be applicable here as well. So the answer is going to be quite simple. A lot of mothers, okay, they try to protect themselves, and unfortunately, the means of protection doesn't work. So therefore, I do grant an actual period for the zygote to have to take like a certain amount of precaution thereafter. So I think it's justified because a lot of mothers again do attempt to protect themselves, and it doesn't work. So you have to allot for these scenarios.
So what's the difference between you arguing that it's okay to kill zygotes because the woman tried to protect herself, but that protection failed, and me arguing that it's okay to kill fetuses because that woman protected herself, but that protection failed?
Yeah, sure, because the actual example you're giving is completely different.
What's the relevant difference?
Yeah, sure. I'm allowing I'm allowing like a exemption, if you will. I hate to use that term for something like this. I mean, I'm allowing an actual like a certain caveat.
Is this exemption arbitrary?
Well, I shouldn't use the word exemption. I'm just using it's a caveat. Okay.
Is this caveat arbitrary?
It's not arbitrary. No, it's not.
Okay, so then what is the good reason that you possess to draw your line at when it becomes wrong, and when do you draw your line at when it becomes wrong?
Yeah, sure. So if a mother has an abortion like the first couple weeks after, it's going to be because the mother is taking, if she took precautionary measures, things like that. Your position is allowing it across the board in every instance.
Wait, this isn't what I asked you. I asked you, what is your reason to draw the line, and when do you draw the line?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the reason for drawing the line is going to be, although the actual fetus does have potential, it has potential to flourish, there's going to be a point where the mother's actual well-being, but also I shouldn't say well-being.
So the well-being of the woman supersedes the potential for flourishment of the zygote?
Oh, it was wrong wording there. I wouldn't say it was actually the well-being. It's going to be if the mother, you have to allow certain caveats for justification in case they
This-
try to protect themselves.
This doesn't seem
I
like
already
an answer to the
answered.
question.
I did answer the question. It doesn't seem you're not able to understand it. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, you're saying it's arbitrary. You're saying
Well,
it's
I
arbitrary.
asked you if it's arbitrary. I didn't say it's arbitrary. I asked you if it's arbitrary, and you said no. So if it's not arbitrary, you'd have very clear, good
Yeah, I tell you what, can I just
reason
answer it this
to
way? Can I answer
allow
this way?
for the
it
intentional
this way, okay?
termination of the life of a zygote, as well as you would be able to point us
Okay, let me
towards
answer.
a very
Yeah.
specific point in pregnancy where it
Yeah.
becomes wrong for a woman to
Sure.
terminate the life of the zygote or the fetus, and you'd be able
Sure.
to explain why at that point it becomes wrong.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you this way. I guess I was a little bit of a word salad there. So let me explain it to you this way. Every single major exception that most pro-life people allow is going to be able to be taken care of in the first 1 month time frame. There are women out there that are great. They are SA'd. There's different things that happen. Life of the mother. This time frame in the beginning, it's just that is the reason why I'm drawing the line there. About a month to 2 months.
So you think that rape victims should only have legal access to abortion for the first 1 to 2 months of pregnancy?
Well, no. Again, if the woman was actually raped, it would go past that. But typically, if someone is raped, they're going to have.
But you just said one of the reasons why you hold this 1 to 2 month windows to account for a rape victim. So you didn't mean to say that because you think that rape victims should be able to get an abortion at any point. So, by the way, you said 1 to 2 months. So what is your standard? Is it 1 month or is it 2 months? Because it can't be both 1 and 2 months. It's one or the other.
Sure, I would say be about a month and a half. Yeah.
Okay, so what happens at a month and a half that then makes it wrong to terminate the life of the unborn?
I already explained to you, Dean, this. Okay, so Dean, listen.
Well,
closely,
I don't know if you did because I asked you what makes it wrong to terminate the life of the
Okay.
unborn, and then you said a future potential for flourishment. Okay,
Sure.
well clearly the fetus, the zygote, before a month and a half has that trait, but you don't think it's wrong to terminate the life. So there must be something else that happens at a month and a half that then makes it wrong to kill the unborn.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I'll try to explain this to you again. I grant equal moral worth to the fetus and to the mother, okay? They have equal moral worth in my worldview. There is going to be scenarios, it's called a moral dilemma, where I have to allow certain things that violate my moral dilemma, my actual moral compass.
The question is, why do you allow it?
Right. I'm trying to get there, man, okay? And I just explained to you that again, I don't like to use the word allow because in a perfect world, this is how I like it to be. But the reality is it's never going to be this way. Let's be very clear. Abortion is always going to exist, okay? But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean I align my actual moral views with it. But
answer the question.
Listen closely.
So why
yes,
do you allow
listen.
it? Yeah.
Listen, okay? Trying to explain this to you, I keep explaining it and you're not responding.
Okay.
The mother, these cases, okay, and again, I'm not speaking for women on this. If a woman is SA, things like that.
We just want to know why you allow elective abortions for a month and a half, even though that zygote has the future potential for a life like ours.
You let me finish talking, bro? Come on, I'm trying to talk you, man.
Sure, man.
Thank you, appreciate that. All right, so the reason is going to be in the cases that I gave the major exceptions, these people are going to take the precautions within a month and a half time frame. They're gonna go to the doctors. They're gonna be seen, and that's why I allow. I guess if you want to call it arbitrary, you can. But there's like a great period to some extent. I see. To tell you what, I can see why you're saying it's arbitrary. Okay, I can see the arbitrary argument here. But you understand. You understand my position at all?
Well, no, definitely not. I was trying to follow you there at the beginning, but then when you called it arbitrary, then I stopped like having any ability to understand your position. Because by definition, if something is arbitrary, you can't understand it, right? You can't really make sense of it.
Okay, fair enough.
Explain it.
The line I'm drawing, I guess you could say, would be arbitrary. But how do you allot for?
Okay.
You have to allot for major exceptions.
Okay, sounds good. So if the line that you draw is arbitrary, and you think that you have good reason to hold to your view, well, then I could say that very similar to yourself, I also value the future potential for flourishment. Very similar to yourself, I also think that the fetus or the zygote has moral worth. Very similar to yourself, I also acknowledge that the fetus's moral worth is identical to your or my moral worth. But I draw my arbitrary line much later in pregnancy, maybe 40 weeks. All of a sudden, your position seems to be just as justified as my position. So how do we determine who's right and who's wrong? If both of our lines are arbitrary and we both make identical acknowledgments of what makes a fetus valuable and the fact that the fetus is valuable.
All right, next topic. Yeah, listen, that's a great rebuttal. That's a great rebuttal. Okay, it's valid. Okay, so I see what you're saying. I see the position here. I see the counter. I would say that it would be nearly impossible, given my actual position, to argue that your position is less justifiable than mine.
Oh, man. Hey, listen, I actually appreciate you for the first decent conversation I think we've ever had. It usually results in a screaming match. I remember you. I actually need to go pee here. Parker, did you want to talk to this guy, or should we move on to the next guest? Since that's
I was gonna hop out there here, but you guys can bring the next guest up. Good luck finding one. You know, I know there's a lot of trolls.
Yeah, you take care. You definitely. I want to kind of give you some credit here. You've really calmed down over the course of the last year or so that we haven't spoken with one another. So you take care.
I appreciate you. Take care. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to that guy's account, you'll be able to find old clips of us debating. And it's just us screaming at each other. Wow.
Dude,
yeah.
what's happened with a lot of the older Trump supporters? I feel like they're starting to realize how crazy it's gotten.
They're losing their flame. And I think that that's the first step towards the acknowledgement that they've been wrong all along. You know what I mean? They're all losing their flames. Let's go to, and which is good. I want that to happen. I want them to lose their flames, because the first step towards change is disillusionment and what is unchanged, and is being disillusioned with your previous biases and beliefs. Anyways, guys, that's a W. That's a great way to foster and to start the very first actual debate of the day. That's good, dude. Look at that. I think that was good. That's awesome. Thumb man, do you support Trump?
Yeah.
I really need to go pee. Parker, do you have any interest in talking to this guy, or have you talked to him enough that we should move on?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'm going to go pee real quick. Everybody, I'll be right back. I'm going to leave you guys with Parker, BRB. Yeah, really need to empty my bladder. Be right back.
Alrighty, why do you support Donald Trump?
Give me 1 second.
Okay, all right. Well, why? Okay. Why'd you wait till Dean left to ask for a second? Okay. Alrighty. Well, hey, everyone in the chat. Good to see everyone. If you're here on TikTok, tap that screen. If you're on YouTube, you can hit that thumbs up for Dean. If we just tap the screen, let's get him to more than 7 million likes than we got yesterday, just randomly, so he comes back and it's way higher. I don't know what the fuck this guest just did. They asked for a second as soon as Dean left, so I've got to sit here and hang out with everyone. I'm not even going to attempt to try to add someone up until Dean gets back.
Dude, calm down. I was just putting my kids away, dude. Calm down.
Yeah, okay. I guess I was just.
Is that not cool?
No, you can do that. I guess you probably should have told Dean before he left. It's okay though.
Well, I mean, it was just spare of the moment. I had to just put him up.
It's okay. No big deal.
So, real quick, Parker, you keep making this claim that the cut with USAID, that over 14 million people are getting unalived. What is your evidence of this?
The Lancet study.
Okay, has Lancet studies ever been wrong before?
I mean, would you like to give me an example?
The hydrochloroquine thing that they were talking about, where they did a study where they had to retract it. Yeah, where they had to retract it a couple weeks later when they were sitting there lying about the mortality rate.
Where did they retract anything? Tell me.
Where they retracted it. So
what did they retract?
I was listening. I think that I'm following.
Because he doesn't even know what it was. It's hydroxychloroquine.
Okay, I mispronounced the word.
Has the government ever been wrong?
Has the government ever been wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, no, Dean, real quick, you guys
I just have a series of 5 questions. It's not a pivot. It directly conceptually relates to the point that you're making. I promise it's not a pivot. I just this is me building a counter argument to your claim.
Let me deal with Parker real quick. I can't deal with both of you. That's not fair. That's not all cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're doing that. So Parker, like I asked, where is the evidence that the actual 14 million people are being unalived by the cuts to USAID?
I already told you the Lancet study, and then you asked me if Lancet has ever been wrong. I said, "Can you give me an example?" And then you tried to cite an example, and then I asked you what was your source for the example, and then you've just tried to not answer that question.
No, dude. Okay, so it's Lancet study, just like how you claimed. I just claimed that Lancet also did a study, right? So you just said a Lancet study. I said the same exact thing you said. And then you're saying that's not a good enough source. So why don't you go and explain your source?
Which Lancet study are you referencing had incorrect information?
The the whatever that word is.
Hydroxychloroquine. Which one?
Yeah, hydroxychloroquine. Tell me the
title. Tell me the title, sir.
It's their study on it.
Yeah.
Tell me, okay, Parker, tell me the study on the 14 million people
Because you know
being
the
unalive
Lancet is
by
a
USA
journal,
ID.
right? You know the Lancet's a journal, right?
Yeah, I know.
That's like saying like, oh, I saw another source on the National Institute of Health that was wrong or incorrect, and therefore I'm gonna then claim everything from the National Institute of Health is incorrect.
No, Parker. So right now, I asked you to show me how that USAID is the cuts to USAID is unaliving 14 million people. All you did was the Lancet said so. So how can you prove to me that through the Lancet study that 14 million people are being unalived by the cuts to USAID?
By reading the study, like for instance,
you're not explaining it.
If you scroll down to their data,
if
you scroll down to like their data sources section, you'll see that the data on age standardized.
I'm familiar with the study.
Morality. They explain that they collect their data on how many people are sustained and kept alive.
Parker? Why can't I like you left me with Parker? Let us finish our conversation, and then stop being disingenuous. Let me finish my conversation with Parker. This is why you don't have MAGA.
You seem to be really scared to talk to me.
No, I'll deal with you in a second because I already got something for you, Dean, that you already lied about, and that I'll prove to you. So Parker, can you show me in this Lancet study how they're coming up?
Bro, shut up. No, I'm going to hop in here and I'm going to explain to you the methodology of the study. If Parker wants to, he can like literally repeat whatever I say or give the same type of reduction from his perspective on how he thinks that the Lancet like study is conducted to like find truth and why he thinks that the methodology of the study is sound. But bro, you can't tell me that I need to shut the fuck up and sit down and I can't tell you why the Lancet study is sound when the point of this dialogue and the point of these live streams are to attempt to achieve truth and to identify what truth is. So if I have something of value to say that I believe is helpful in identifying truth, I'm going to say it. Right. But anyways, so when we look at this, when we look at the study, you could find it's like their fifth subsection. It's called data sources. Just Control F for data sources. It says data on standardized age mortality per cause and age groups were collected from Global Burden of Disease Collaborative Network. And then it has a reference there to the 24th citation where you could actually go to the Global Burden of Disease Collaborative Network's website. And that's where they get the raw data of how many lives have been saved by USAID over the course of the last 24 years. And they also state that they collected the data on the USAID funding and specifically where that went, leading to these outcomes of saved lives from U.S. government agencies reporting on foreign assistance. That's going to be the second citation in their bibliography. They also describe that they get demographic, socioeconomic, and healthcare related variables to achieve their conclusion from the World Bank data and WHO Global Health Observatory data. And that's going to be citation number 25 in their bibliography. In fact, they have an appendix. It's called P10. It is a supplementary material at the bottom of their website. It's a PDF that's 2.23 megabytes that goes through meticulously all of the data and represents how and why that data results in the conclusion that over the course of the next 4 years, 14 million people are going to die from these cuts. And they also describe all of this within the results section of the study, which is at the bottom of the study as well.
Okay, so Dean, you just literally said a whole bunch of nothing, but I'm going to summarize what you basically said without being interrupted, hopefully, because I hope this is good faith. So what that Lancet study shows, right? And this is a flawed way of measuring this. What it shows is that it takes that dollar amount, just like you said, where it says this dollar went to go save this person. Therefore, if we take this dollar away, that person is going to be unalived. They don't know that for sure. Governments in the region step up to provide medical care. They don't take account to any of that in their data. They don't take into account, and not only that, but the actual practical data being shown right now of the cuts to USAID are not coinciding with what you're talking about in this study. There's not any live examples. This data is flawed. The way they look at it, it's a correlation causation fallacy. They're saying that because the money is correlated to certain disease prevention, that if you take that away, that disease is going to unalive a bunch of people without looking at local governments and resources and other humanitarian efforts and other humanitarian aid in the regions that can step up and actually take control of this stuff. Not only that, but they've actually gotten a good idea of how to deal with most of this stuff because of sophisticated medical equipment and sophisticated medical expertises going in that region. So it's not like they're just going to be completely cut off and nobody's going to be, everybody's going to be helpless. There's going to be governments to step up and run their own programs. There's going to be humanitarian efforts. This study does not take into account any of that. It's a correlation causation fallacy. That is why this study is flawed. You can't show me any real world evidence right now going on where this study correlates with any kind of actual fact.
You're wrong. The study uses multivariable regression models that account for country fixed effects, year fixed effects, socioeconomic covariates, and demographic covariates to help account for any type of correlation between the data. Yes, it does. That's literally explained in their methodology. So because of this, it demonstrates it to be closer to a causal effect compared to simple correlation. Not to mention
that is such
that it's
a
not
lie.
saying
What is the okay?
how many lives how many lives has the USAID funding impacted, but rather how many lives over the course of the last 20 years has the USAID funding saved, meaning that if they did not receive the USAID funding, that person would have died. And then they extrapolate, once again, a predictive model with regression modeling, accounting for year, country fixed effects, socioeconomic covariates, such as if the country were to step off after the funding cutoff, and then demographic covariates as well.
Okay, so Dean, what is the main measurement? Because you're just saying a bunch of baloney. What is the main measurement that they're using to correlate the fact of if this money gets taken away, this person gets unalived? What is the correlation there? How are they getting their data?
Okay, so they start with their data.
Give me a specific example.
I'm trying to describe this all to you. Would you like me to try to do it again?
Go ahead. Because you just said a bunch of nonsense, Dean. You're just giving me generalized statements.
So
Give me the actual example of how they're gathering the data.
Okay, just to clarify, could you please repeat the last thing I said so you could demonstrate how it's nonsense?
You just proved my point. You said
then could you repeat what I said?
The way the study works is that they're saying because this dollar went to go save this person, if you take that dollar away, that person will be unalived. That is how they're gathering their 100%. That's what the study does.
No, I've already tried to explain this to you. I'm going to try to do it one last time.
Then show me a real world example.
I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do this for you literally one last time. Okay? So let's go ahead and start with, once again, the methodology of this study. It's very simple. They collected mortality data for countries over roughly 2 decades from the last 20 years. They collected data on USAID health funding and programs. Then they compared countries with higher USAID supported health programs to countries with less or no USAID support. And then they controlled statistically for many factors that also affected mortality, such as economic growth, education, demographics, health system changes, etc., so on and so forth. So they could isolate the association between USAID support and the loss of life through mortality caused by the various issues that USAID funding goes to. So through that, they were able to determine specifically, after sending money to these countries, how many lives would have died that did not die because of the money that they sent to these countries.
You literally just confirmed.
So then after they confirmed that over the course of the last 20 years that USAID funding did save lives, that would have died if they never got USAID funding, then they projected that same model over the course of the next 4 years,
you can't be this dense.
as accounting for the last 20 years, while also using multivariable regression models with country fixed effects, year fixed effects, socioeconomic covariates, and demographic covariates. And the reason why this is not a description of what you're saying is because you're claiming that it's merely a correlation causation fallacy, where we are looking at the countries where USAID funding has gone over the course of the last 20 years. They just kind of guess that USAID funding has saved lives, and then they just take the data from how much lives they think it saved over the course of the next 20 years, and then they project it out to the next 4 years, not accounting for factors such as government stepping in after the USAID funding is revoked, not accounting for factors such as continual socioeconomic recovery and growth within these countries that may in the future make these countries less reliant on USAID funding, once again, through their multivariable regression models. So for that reason, it is absolutely not a correlation causation fallacy. And if you were saying exactly what I'm saying, well, then you'd just be describing that the study's methodology is sound.
Okay, Dean, I'll put money on it right now that you will not go through this other study with me that you've also been dishonest about. You sit here and you lie about this stuff. You literally just confirmed what I just said.
That's not true.
You literally just 100%. So, Dean,
explain to me how I confirmed what you said, please.
Dean, the other day.
No, don't pivot. I want to stay on the USAID funding.
No.
Don't
No,
pivot.
because you
You're
know
running.
exactly where I'm going.
You're running.
No, you know
I have no
exactly
clue.
where
I have
I'm
no
going.
clue where you're going. But as
No.
long as it's away from the
Can
point,
I
I'm gonna call you
speak?
out for running.
Can I speak?
As
Can I
long as
speak
you
real
don't
quick?
run, go ahead and
Are you
describe
gonna sit
how
here and
my
try to
explanation
filibuster?
of their methodology and their multivariable regression modeling is nothing more than a correlation causation fallacy, please.
So I'm trying to demonstrate how you don't know any of the statistics that you try to show, and you act like
And
you
that's
do.
why you're running
So,
away from my explanation of the methodology of the
Dean,
study. Right.
I was quiet the whole time you were talking, pretty much. Right? There was a couple times I interrupted, but you're not
Because
even
you were
letting me
muted,
get my
sir.
point out.
Because you were
You're-
literally muted.
No, Dean, no, I wasn't
Go
muted.
free. You know what,
I
dude?
was,
Balls
I was sitting here.
Balls in your court. Thank you for telling me I got a slam dunk on you with this USAID funding study. Go ahead, take it away. Feel free to pivot. Because that's exactly what you're
Okay.
going to do because you're a
So,
weasel.
Dean, no. I'm just showing how you're dishonest with your studies. So, Dean, can you go to the you debated somebody not too long ago, and you brought up that fact that Biden deported more criminal aliens than Trump did. Can you bring up that statistic again?
Are you talking about the ice.gov statistic that I gave? I
Yeah.
addressed this.
Can you
I addressed this on live like literally 2 months ago after somebody had brought it up in a donation. It was only counting for Q1 of 2025, and I said that publicly on live.
It was counting for until January of 2025.
Yes, exactly what I
For
just said.
Trump. So you were dishonest, and you brought that statistic
I
up. You were
wait, wait, wait.
dishonest about
I
it.
publicly
You do
stated this
not-
on live.
Okay, Dean, were you wrong about this? Yes or no?
Yes, and I publicly
So
stated that
this
on
is
live.
not the first time. This is not the first time you've misquoted facts.
You haven't been able to demonstrate how I misquoted
I'm
anything
trying
to do with the Lancet
You're not
USAID
even letting
funding
me
study.
talk, Dean. You're so insecure. You're not even letting me talk because you're literally getting cooked so hard right now.
The only
You
person who
literally
thinks you're cooking
said-
me is you.
Wow. 2 seconds interrupted. You can't even, dude. You can't debate no big dogs, dude. You can't even handle me. I'm
And
an
that's why
average
OM
dude
ran from me
sitting
when I
here-
invited him to debate me literally
because, dude, you
30
look
minutes
at how
before
you
I started the
debate.
stream.
Look at how you debate. You literally talk
Debate well.
over people.
Yeah.
Do not let anybody
Yeah, man.
speak.
Go ahead
This
and
is why
speak,
you
bro.
get nothing but trolls.
You're good, bro. Go ahead and speak.
Dude, look at Parker. He's literally been quiet the whole time.
I'm
like,
reading it.
I've
Just
been
go ahead and
quiet
keep-
because
just
I'm
go ahead
like
and
letting
speak.
you guys speak.
Exactly.
And I speak
That's-
after.
Go
No,
ahead, bro.
that's-
Feel free to
that's cool.
speak.
I thank you for that, Parker.
Go ahead,
Dean
bro. Feel free to
apparently
speak.
doesn't have any emotional control over himself.
Says
So-
the guy who's been had to have been muted a million times because you can't let Dean speak.
Okay, no, Dean mutes me because when I try to get a point out and then he talks over me, he mutes me because his voice he doesn't want to hear anybody that disagrees with him. That's the main thing. So, Dean, you literally said in your statement.
That is a ridiculous, like, childish
Okay,
take
hey,
to say that Dean doesn't want to hear people that disagree with him when he does a live stream, debating people every single day, the entire time he's live, people he disagrees with. That is the most childish, ridiculous response to ever claim. You're only doing that because you want to deflect away from the fact that you're not providing an adequate response here, bud.
I absolutely am, Parker. And the fact is that Dean, once he starts getting owned and he doesn't know his facts, he doesn't like it. And he starts muting. He starts talking over. He does these things. I'm going to take this
That is
W
not the reason
because
at
this
all.
is clearly a
He mutes
W,
you
and I'm
because you
dipping
say
out.
things that are incorrect.
Oh,
and
see,
he's
this
proving
is-
you wrong,
this
and
is-
he's in front of 20,000 people proving
Yeah.
you wrong and trying to demonstrate to all those 20,000 people everything that you say that's wrong. And when you come out here and you say a bunch of different things that are bullshit, he has to then sift through all that bullshit for the 20,000 people here so that there isn't a bunch of misinformation that's spread to the audience because of you.
By the way, he ran. If he won that debate, he wouldn't have ran. So, he came up here hot and heavy and ready to have a dialogue about the Lancet's USAID funding study. Okay. And then I gave him a perfect description of their regression model and how it accounts for co-founding variables that could cause there to be more or less life saved / loss because of the cuts to USAID funding. And I proved that it wasn't a simple correlation causation fallacy. So then after that, he just said I was wrong, didn't address any of the specific points that I made, and then wanted to talk about me talking about the ICE.gov data on undocumented immigrants with bad crimes in their records that have been deported. And he's like, oh, Dean, you misrepresented this study too. Okay, well then I just take the fuel out from his fire, right out from under him very, very fast, because I bring up the fact that literally 2 months ago at this point, I acknowledged that the data was only up until Q1 of 2025, and I acknowledge that therefore that wouldn't be a fair and adequate resource to use. And then he had nothing else to say because he couldn't respond to my description of the methodology of the Lancet study, and he couldn't continue to push his point as it relates to ICE.gov because that's something that I publicly acknowledged months ago after Donor informed me it was only up until Q1 of 2025. So then he started whining and crashing out, making obviously false claims, such as the fact that this is why I won't debate any of the quote-unquote big dogs. Okay, well, this is a really bad day to make that claim. Right before I went live, I joined the older millennial stream and invited him to join my stream to debate me on abortion, and then he said no. So it's not that I won't debate the big dogs, it's that the quote-unquote big dogs on the right won't debate me. And then the second thing that he said was that, well, I crash out and I mute people when I lose. And then Parker just makes a very commonsensical point that no, we mute people when they interrupt when others are speaking. And at that point, the guest was stun-locked. He was stun-locked on every single point that he had made. He was stun-locked on the Lancet study. He was stun-locked on his claim about me referencing ICE.gov statistics. He was stun-locked on his attacks against my character. He was stun-locked on his ad hominem attacks, accusing me of not being willing to debate the big dogs. And that's exactly why he left. So let's go to get that next guest connected to the live stream right now. Let's make another Trump supporter lose their shit and run away crying. We got, let's see here, Josiah loading up inside the queue. Here we go. Only up inside of that box if you happen to be MAGA, everybody. It's good to know that we still got it, that we could still make the Trump supporters run away. Please stop, bro. Let's go to get the next guest connected to the stream. We got Chris K loading in. Here we go. Hey, welcome in. Do you support Trump?
Hey, dude. I actually just had a question for you. Do you prefer honeydew or cantaloupe?
I fucking ate cantaloupe. I think it tastes like shit. I think I also have an allergic reaction to it. So anything but cantaloupe, bro. Do you fuck with cantaloupe, Parker?
No.
Nah, man, me neither. Cantaloupe sucks. Cantaloupe.
Yeah, I've honestly never liked the taste of it. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's definitely not something I'd ever like willingly choose to do.
Bro, I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. I think that it's terrible. Fruit Ponchi, thank you for the $10 on Super Chat. He says it's my birthday today. Thank you and Parker for keeping me sane for another year. Please split with him. I got you. Happy birthday, Ponchi. Lord T with the $10 as well says Trump supporters are entitled selfish assholes who have main character syndrome. They only care about themselves, nothing more. Chat chocolate or vanilla bean ice cream. You know, I think that you actually sent that dono at a good time, Lord T. After that last Trump supporter got absolutely stun-locked from all angles and was losing the debate, he just like self-declared victory and ran. By the way, I just want to let everybody watching know that it is true in literally every single scenario that if you self-declare victory in the middle of a debate and then you run away from that debate, that you lost that debate. I don't care if you're on the left. I don't care if you're on the right. I don't care if you're in the middle. I don't care if this isn't even a fucking debate about politics and you're talking about animes. If you self-declare the win in the middle of the conversation and then you run away, you lost the debate. Let's go ahead and get that next guest connected right now. Only up inside of the box if you happen to be MAGA. Welcome in, Caleb. Do you support Trump?
I actually wanted to ask about, I don't support Trump, but I do have questions about abortion. So
Caleb, man, maybe one day we'll get around to doing specific topics about abortion, but today we are just looking to talk to people who do support Trump. Abortion seems to come up on the live stream quite frequently, honestly. So if you were just to watch like maybe one of my debates about abortion, you would probably have all of like your internal questions answered. I mean, I did a whole subject on abortion in my recent 1v20 debate on Jubilee. It's a little bit over halfway through the video, so I'd highly recommend checking that out as well. I think that they're very informative. Let's go to get the next guest connected to the live stream right now. We got Charlie loading up inside of the queue. V-Man with the $2 on Super Chat says, Dean, you're a traitor. Thank you, V-Man. I appreciate you wearing that badge like an honor. Of being a hater of Trump means I'm a traitor to America, then maybe I want to be a traitor to America. But I think that being a hater of Trump is what makes you a true patriot. And if you are a Trump supporter, then you're a traitor to this nation. Welcome in, Charlie. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Jeff, do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
All right. Charlie, I know you. You've been up here like 25 times before, so we're going to pass the mic to Jeff. Go to take it away, man. Tell us why you're MAGA after, I think, a couple donors. Addie, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo, who says sending love from Colorado. Okay, well, I'm also sending love from Colorado to you. W Colorado, that's crazy. Ian, thank you for the $5. Joseph, thank you for the $30. Who says, oh, wow, I only get the first hour of your stream today. I'm super glad people didn't waste time today, and we'll be dropping love later on in the VOD. Good luck. Well, thank you, Joseph. Let's get 300 Joseph W's. Thank you so much for supporting me in the work that we do here. And Miss Beth, oh my God. Thank you so much for the $100 donation on Venmo. Beth, you are crazy in the best way possible. possible? That is so much money. I don't deserve a penny of that. Genuinely, I will never understand why some people choose to be so outrageously kind. I want to see so much love for Beth in that comment section. So much love for Beth down below. Beth with $100 says, hey, Dean, I'm watching your Jubilee debate with MAGA women. It is disgusting that they want to watch women go back to the 1950s. Here's some money for your much needed therapy. Beth, I was also very similarly appalled by those debates. Thank you for the $100 and thank you for being here. And I hope so very badly that you enjoyed the debates for the rest of the evening. Rami, thank you for the $20 on Venmo as well. By the way, Rami, I also just wanted to give you a shout out. I saw you on OM stream earlier, egging him on. Just know that I appreciate you for that, Rami. Show some love to Rami. Lane, thank you so much for the $5. Noel, thank you for the $5. Freddie, thank you for the 1 penny. Monica, thank you for the $5. Elizabeth with the 10 who says, ask us if he even knows the name of a country at the top of the IRC emergency watch list. Appreciate you for the $10, Elizabeth. The Doria, thank you for the $5. And M, thank you for the $15. She says, happy Friday, Dean, and my fellow Dean bots. Keep your foot on these MAGA idiots, Dean. Love from the trucker community. Well, shout out to you and the entirety of the anti-Trump trucker community. Thank you for the $15. With all that being said, we are actually caught up on Venmo. To quickly catch up on PayPal, thank you, Lazy, for the $20, who says, just watch the Jubilee Surrounded debate with Parker. Did you see the fact check that got posted on the claim about women having thicker dendrites? I did see that. Yes, I did see that fact check. They just misinterpreted what my claim was. I think I went over that in yesterday's VOD. Thank you for the $20. And thank you for the $10. Molly, thank you for the $5. Sophia and Cassandra, I appreciate you guys for the $5. Then one more here. Leah, thank you for the $10, who says, Dean, it's my 21st birthday today. Could I please get a happy 21st birthday, Leah? Happy 21st birthday, Leah. That is huge. It's super exciting. My 21st birthday was just a couple months ago, and it was a big day. So I hope that your day is big and super fun and filled with joy as well. Shout out to all the donors down below. If you want to support the stream, if you want to support me, ask a question, get a message across, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok, pin message on YouTube, and the handle's also at the top of the phone screen on TikTok as well. It's just my name without the letter E in my last name. Jeff, thank you so much for your patience, dude. Go ahead and take it away and tell us why you support Trump.
Well, I'm 68 years old, and I just think he was a better candidate. I have a couple questions for you and Parker, both of you.
Hi, bro.
Looking at the rest of the world, Iran, Russia, all of them, do you think they're more afraid of Trump than they were Biden?
No.
I think they're more
Honest
afraid
answer?
of Biden and the Democrats than they are of Trump, because Trump is very weak on the world stage, because he doesn't really command respect amongst our allies very much.
But they look at him as a loose screw. And they didn't look at Biden like that.
I mean, maybe.
I disagree.
Maybe. About Russia,
And
I think that
you should
they
be thankful.
don't.
You should be thankful.
I don't think that Russia looks at Trump like a loose screw in the slightest. They look at him like their lapdog. He ran on pro-Russia policy, and ever since the start of his second administration, he's just getting played by Putin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously why they spent $500,000 a month on funding people like Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, and Dave Rubin to push pro-Kremlin, pro-Trump, anti-Biden, anti-Kamala Harris propaganda. It's because they wanted him to win. I just don't see how it could ever possibly be true that Russia is scared of Trump and they weren't scared of Kamala Harris if they wanted Trump to win. I think the fact that they wanted Trump to win the election is clear evidence that they're not scared of Trump. And I think that's a hard claim to deny. A very difficult claim to deny.
I registered.
Oh, you're lagging, Jeff.
But I don't vote unless.
Oh, seems like he's having a little bit of issues with some MAGA mobile.
Yeah, Jeff. If we don't get you quote unquote reconnected in the next couple seconds here, we are just gonna move on. And it looks like Jeff is gone. MAGA Mobile, dude. It's a killer, man. Let me tell ya. MAGA Mobile is a killer. Hey, listen, for the 20,000 people that are tuned in, guys, make sure that you're reposting this live on your For You page with a share button in the bottom right-hand corner and spamming those likes. It really helps this stream shoot out to more people. It'll hopefully help us get more Trump supporters connected. That'd be great. You know, it's honestly been quite difficult to find Trump supporters who are willing to debate. Quite difficult indeed. So make sure that you are helping us out. Make sure that you're helping us out there. It really does help. It helps astronomically. Like, you guys will see the viewers just shoot up if all of y'all were to start like reposting and sharing the live and spamming those likes. Helps us get Trump supporters in here.
4.5 million likes. That's fucking nuts, Dean. I
Bro,
hope you
that is
understand.
pretty, that is pretty wild, and that's in an hour too, bro.
That is crazy. You know, I'm gonna be totally honest. I can't remember the last time I got 4.5 million likes on a stream, dude. It's crazy, bro. I think you could honestly get past our record is like 11 million or 12 million, something like that.
Yeah, maybe we should try to break that record today. And you said that you can't remember the last time you got past that. You are right now. This is the Dean and Parker show. You're my co-host. It's the Dean and Parker show. That's what we're doing. Jenny, do you support Trump? Jenny? Pook, thank you for the galaxy. Jenny, are you okay? Okay, I don't know what the hell Jenny's doing. Oh, man. Probably the most annoying guest ever is inside of the queue right now. They're the person that I debated on the justification or the lack thereof for Renee Good's shooting. And I just got them to, like, spam circles for, like, literally 2 hours straight. Literally 2 hours straight. It was, like, really annoying.
How much do you bench, squat, and deadlifting?
I don't do flat bench. I used to. I think right before I stopped doing flat bench, I got up to like the 255 range. But it's just not really anabolic, honestly. It's not really too productive, you know?
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video of trolling sissy.
It's a kid. Let's go to get that next guest connected. Yeah, flat bench is with the barbells, not too anabolic, not too good. I much prefer incline bench with some dumbbells and then like a decline bench and some dips, so I'm hitting all 3 sections on my chest. Noah, do you support Trump? Noah's not here. Folks, I'm so sorry that it's so incredibly difficult for us to find a Trump supporter. I think it's because there are so many trolls inside of the queue that there's like so many trolls inside of the queue. It's actively preventing Trump supporters from joining. So we're actually going to start banning people just for being inside of the queue. That's actually what we're going to start doing right now. So for my moderators, I'm hereby authorizing you guys to go through the accounts of every single person who's in the queue. And if they have any signs of not being a Trump supporter, like any at all, and you think that with confidence that they're definitely anti-MAGA, just ban them. Just straight up ban them. So then we could create more space inside of the queue for Trump supporters. I would actually assume that every single person on the panel right now is a troll. Literally every single one. Tessa, do you
Hail
support
Hitler,
Trump?
nigger, hail Hitler, white power,
No,
fuck
but my
niggers,
brother
rape
doesn't.
children.
He really wants to debate you, and he's right here.
How old are you?
I'm 10.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think that you should have a TikTok account.
Bill Clinton and Joe Biden was 5 inches and you. Which way are you moving?
Yeah, literally every single one of them was, except for the 10-year-olds. But hey, listen, for that 10-year-old, I would highly recommend spending your time doing something else. I don't think that you need to be worried about this. Like, please, I always feel something inside me dies when I learn of like 10-year-olds watching the stream. Bro, like this is honestly really impactful. It's really deep. We go through more mature subjects here, and like the thought of a 10-year-old having to, listen and consume this is really depressing. Go live your life, enjoy your childhood. Definitely at 10 years old, you shouldn't be tuning into these live streams. Let's go to get the next guest connected right now. Let me hop inside of the queue.
Yeah, Dean, what were you doing in 5th grade, bro? I was not sentient. I don't think I had a thought about politics at that point in my life.
Yeah, for real. I was probably outside playing, man. Ramla, do you support Trump?
Yes, I do support Trump.
How old are you, Ramla?
I'm 19.
Were you born in Ramla? Ramla, I'm going to go ahead and ban you. You won't be able to see me. You won't be able to see any of my posts. You won't be able to see any of my live streams again. And we're going to continue to do that to everybody who is a troll inside of the queue. The reason for doing this, folks, is very simple. It's very clear. The trolls inside of the queue are taking up a lot of the space where Trump supporters could be. And for that reason, we're going to be pretty hard on you guys. Brighton. We're going to start at the bottom, go to the top. Brighton, I sent you an invite to turn your mic on. Do you support Trump?
Dean, is it true that you and Charlie Kirk had a frenemy slow burn relationship?
I don't know. I have to catch up on the manga. Jaden, do you support Trump?
Yeah.
5. Dylan, do you support Trump?
Yeah.
How old are you, Dylan?
2020, August 13, 2005.
Okay, can you put a little bit more of a pep in your step? Give me some energy. Give me some energy here.
Dude, I'm nervous as fuck right now. It's
Ian,
fucking
thank you for the
20
$20 on Venmo. Says aloha from Hawaii. Awesome to hear you're in my home state. Go Broncos. Malaho for all that you do, brother. I appreciate you, Ian, for the $20. Shout out to you. I hope that you're enjoying your time out there in Hawaii. Colorado is a very beautiful state. I love that I'm from here. Thank you for the $20, Ian. Please show some love to Ian down below. And then on PayPal, thank you so much, Kylie, for the $1. Callie with the $12 says much love from Scotland. Shout out to Callie, shout out to Scotland, and much love to Scotland. Thank you so much for the $12. And then Liv, thank you so much for the Future City, and over on Super Chat, SH, thank you for the $20. Who says, hey Dean, would you come speak at CSU and Fort Collins in general? Anyway, love what you do. Never stop using your voice. Much love from Northern CO. I would definitely speak at CSU. I spend a lot of my time out there in Boulder anyways. CSU is pretty close. I love the area. Thank you for the $20. Show some love to SH. Go ahead and take it away, Dylan. Tell me and Parker why you're MAGA.
So, I don't know if you remember our debate that we had about unitary executive theory.
I knew it was this troll. I was gonna say it's either someone who's called us a grifter is trolling, or it's a unitary executive person, which is also a troll. So, and I had a feeling it was the unitary executive theory person.
Dude, unitary executive theory, my man. What a crazy argument. Just chill. Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Too bad you're like 5 years old.
Yo,
Hayden,
what's up?
do you support Trump?
Absolutely.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, I believe, yeah. Are you graduating like college early?
No.
It says you're graduating in 2028.
Yeah, I am.
So you're 18 and you're like a sophomore?
Yeah.
So are you just young for your grade?
Yeah. I didn't grow up in Texas, so.
Okay. What year are you born in?
2008,
What month?
February.
So you turned 18 like 4 months ago. So you were
Absolutely.
So you were 17 all throughout your freshman year of college?
Yes.
I don't believe you.
I feel like it would have made more sense from your I know multiple people who like finished college classes when they were in high school. Like you could have just said that.
Well, I'm not in high school.
Well, I meant like that's why you were gonna graduate early. You were 17 the entirety of your freshman. I don't think I've ever. Actually, yes, I have heard that before. Never mind.
I don't think I've heard.
I'm not that smart, though.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard about a Trump supporter being 17 in their freshman year of college.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard about a Trump supporter be 17 years old throughout their first year of freshman.
You know what? I'm actually going to give you an opportunity to prove yourself, okay? Because it's possible you're telling the truth. But once again, if you're 17 throughout the entirety of your freshman year of college, you're smart. So if you don't give us an incredibly intellectual argument for why Trump is a good president, I'm going to kick you because I'm going to assume that you're lying. Because anybody who would be 17 in their freshman year of high school that's concerned with politics would definitely know their shit. So take it away.
Okay, well, I grew up with my dad, you know, obviously being the biggest supporter, and I grew up learning from my dad. And I don't support abortion. I do support immigration.
They just left. I didn't even kick them. I didn't even kick them. They just left.
That's unfortunate.
Actually, I was 17 my freshman year in college, but not for the entirety of the year, but for like a couple months, I was 17. It's gonna get
really, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like 17, like living in the dorms, like on my own. Like
Daddy Dean, sticking to my booty, sticking to my booty, sticking to my booty.
I moved out of my parents' house at 17 years old.
Dude, that's kind of crazy, bro.
Yeah, that is nuts. That is nuts. Let's go to get the next guest connected. Welcome in. Do you support Trump? Well, they just left as well. Fucking hell, guys. I'm trying. I'm really trying to find you guys a debate, but they don't care, dude.
Nigger.
They don't care. Or they just want to scream the N-word. Hey, Brooklyn, do you support Trump? Brooklyn, you got 2 seconds.
No, I don't support Trump.
By the way, Aaron, ERIN, thank you so much for the $40. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Get some W's for them in the comment section. Thank you so much.
Parker, the snowflake is back.
Oh no, who's this?
The snowflake is back. He does this. He gets cooked and then he leaves because
He gets
can't
really
handle the
angry
heat.
and then runs away.
So you're back.
I was hoping to have a good faith conversation.
Well, then why did you leave?
Well, I seen that it wasn't going that way because you and Parker were both going on a monologue about how your feelings were hurting your feelings, and I just want to have a conversation, Dean. That's it.
Let's have a conversation about the prompt. Every single time you join my live stream, you always want to talk about something other than the prompt. Think that I've talked about redrawing the electoral map in Texas, talked about study from the Lancet and ice.gov, but we haven't heard why you think that Trump is a good president. Let's talk about that prompt for the first time ever on the Dean Withers show. This is an historic moment here. Mr. Thumb Down here is going to tell us why he thinks that Trump is a good president.
So I can go?
Yep. Tell us why you think Trump is a good president.
Well, I like what he's done with the border. I like net negative migration. I like the fact that he's a couple of his executive orders I'm really in favor for. I mean, the list goes on, Dean.
So border and EOs, which EOs?
Executive Order 14187 is specific. I really like that one.
What'd it do? Buddy, what did it do?
You already got it pulled up, man. Your mod's already got it pulled up.
I don't. I know that's one of his. I know that's one of his day one EOs because 14160 was day one, so 87 would also be day one. So what did it do?
And then also, I like a couple of the Supreme Court decisions that he's got ruled on.
Wait. What did it do? What did the 14187 EO do?
14187. That was the banning of government funding for child mutilation, as far as like I forgot the exact wording of it, but it basically covered like hormone blockers and then government funded surgeries as far as like kids transitioning.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that EO caught up in the courts? Like courts have like blocked its implementation because they've ruled that it's illegal.
They ruled that it's illegal for Trump to block that.
I think that what I'm reading online right now is that it is caught up in ongoing litigation and preliminary injunctions.
I mean, that doesn't mean I don't like it though.
Lambda Legal filed a federal lawsuit on behalf of PF Lag in the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland against it. So right now the EO is caught up. Same thing with Washington versus Trump. It seems like the states of Washington, Minnesota, and Oregon also brought up a claim about it. What Supreme Court decisions has he gotten that you agree with?
Well, I mean, this last one, as far as the ending of TPS status, the ruling as far as
the ending of TPS is undermining a legal status for people who are in the country.
It's not undermining a legal status for people in the country.
TPS is a legal status.
Okay, so TPS is temporary protective status, right?
Yes. So
okay, so
that's a legal status in the country.
Right, but it's the fact that they sat there and the losing side sat there and they wanted to tell the executive branch that the judicial branch actually has control over the executive branch, and that's not the case. They got checked for it.
The judicial branch does have control over the executive branch from.
So then why did they? Okay, so not in this case. They don't have the judicial branch does not have authority to overrule.
Is the Constitution the supreme law of the land?
You didn't even let me finish, dude. You did not even.
I don't
Parker,
care. Is the
this
Constitution
is what you guys do. Why do you keep doing this?
Cry
why does this guy? Why does he get?
Faith my ass, dude.
Why does he get
Is
so
the
mad?
Constitution the supreme law of the land, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Who interprets the Constitution?
The justice system, the Supreme Court.
Okay, so they do have authority over the president in interpreting the Constitution, correct?
Hey, Parker, what does the executive branch do?
The executive branch. The executive branch is going to sign laws into effect that the legislative branch passes.
No.
The executive branch is going to
enforce the laws, right? Domestic laws, right? Enforce it.
The executive branch, you could say, is trying to enforce some, but I don't think that's the main thing of the executive. What?
That is literally the
clarify.
job of the executive.
Did you just say that the executive doesn't sign laws that Congress passes?
I never said that. They enforce the laws.
Okay, so I actually don't. I really don't know. You could say that the executive would use aspects of the executive to enforce laws. Like that's something that happens through the context of the executive, sure. But the who determines what is legal or illegal as it relates to the Constitution is
Dean,
going
can you
to be
pull up
the
Article 2 of the Constitution for Parker? Because Parker doesn't know what Article 2 of the Constitution means. Can you pull up the Article 2 of the Constitution and go to Section 3?
Article 2 does say that the function of the executive branch is to enforce laws.
Okay, so shut up, Parker. Stay quiet.
Wait, I said that aspects of the executive enforce laws, but who has the ability to interpret laws, right, in terms of the constitutionality of those laws, is the judicial branch. So the judicial branch has authority over the executive branch for determining constitutionality of legislation, executive orders, etc. So yes, the judicial branch does reign supreme over the executive branch when it comes to determining constitutionality. That's what I was arguing.
That was never the argument. You're arguing something nobody said. You literally are arguing something nobody said.
I think that all Parker's saying is that that's not the only thing the executive branch does, which is true.
That wasn't my argument, and he's being disingenuous. My argument was
I'm not being disingenuous at all. That's what I said the whole time.
Holy shit, dude. You literally cannot let me talk. Can I speak about why you're wrong and how you misinterpreted it?
I just like to point out here that you by bringing up Article 2 of the Constitution, designating the function of the executive branch as the enforcement of the law, you're kind of refuting your own point that courts don't have jurisdiction over the executive branch, because courts absolutely do have jurisdiction over the law. Like, for instance, if a state law conflicts with a federal law, well, then they're going to rule that that state law is illegal, thereby unenforceable by the executive branch. If a state, local, municipal, or federal law conflicts with the Constitution, well, then courts are going to rule that that law is thereby unenforceable by the executive branch. And this is why, if you've read the Constitution, you know that all three main aspects of the federal government, all three main branches, executive, legislative, and judicial, are co-equal in the sense that they check and balance one another. So the executive branch balances the congressional, legislative, and judicial branch. The judicial branch balances the legislation and executive branch, and then same thing could be said about the legislative branch balancing the executive and the judicial. So for you to make a claim that there's no authority that courts have over the executive branch is clearly insane.
That's not what I claim. You're being so dishonest. Can I please make my argument? Because you guys just completely lied. And I'm going to clip how you guys just spin this, because you guys are being so dishonest. That is not what I said, right? So the executive
let's just try to identify what you said.
Can I speak for 2 seconds, dude, without you interrupting? I literally just let you monton about nothing that was relevant to my argument.
That's fine.
So
Go ahead.
literally, what I was arguing is that the judicial branch has a specific job to interpret the Constitution, right? And to make sure that the Constitution isn't violated, and also interpret new laws to make sure, interpret the Constitution in an everyday growing environment where social changes happen and all kinds of stuff, right? So the executive branch, as we sat there and we told Parker, which Parker was incorrect, actually
Parker wasn't
enforces.
incorrect. You guys were just saying the same thing differently.
Can I?
If anything, he was adding a little bit more nuance onto
Holy
it, since
shit,
it's not the
dude.
only function
You guys
of the
are-
executive branch.
This is why you guys can't debate anybody. Like you literally cannot let somebody finish their statement. So
yeah, well, you're just
the executive
misrepresenting what he
branch,
said.
the executive, no, that's exactly what he said. You can play it back. That's exactly what he said. So, the executive branch has a specific duty in the government, right? It has its own executive powers given to it by Article 2 of the Constitution, right? So there is certain things in the executive branch that the executive branch does that Congress doesn't do, that also the judicial branch doesn't do. When the judicial branch tries to jump in and act as if they are the executive branch, that is what this case was about. They thought that they could interpret when actually the three justices that didn't rule in favor of this the Supreme Court decision actually said that temporary actually means permanent. That's what they were interpreting as, and that is not up for them to decide. And that is what the Supreme Court ruling was about, was the fact that the president and the secretary And the executive branch has the right and the only right to sit there unless Congress makes a new law talking about specific laws as far as the
can I ask you a question?
TPS. Trump and his executive branch actually are the ones that interpret when they can revoke their temporary status. And
Okay,
that is
I have a question here. I have a question here. So you pointed out that the function of the executive branch per Article 2 is to enforce the law. So if the Trump administration was failing at that function, by the way, that's exactly bar for bar what Parker was saying. So that's so funny you were talking about.
No, it wasn't. He literally said that that's not what the executive branch did.
So if they failed at that goal of enforcing the law, would you still support Trump as president?
Every president has. Joe Biden actually sat there and he actually signed the Fence Act, which is supposed to say that every single person that they try to get through the border has to be documented, right? And at least processed. And he ignored that process when he opened up the borders, let millions of people flood into this country. That's exactly why he lost. So he disobeyed an actual law that he helped create. So if you really want to talk about that, every single
the
president,
Fence Act?
He was one of the sponsors of the Fence Act, yes.
Wait, there's a difference between saying one of the sponsors and signed it.
No, he actually signed it into law, yes.
Really? Because the Fence Act was introduced to Congress in February of 2025 after Biden left office.
No. There was one prior to that Biden signed. I might have had the name wrong. I'll go get the name if you really want it.
Okay.
Do you really want to be wrong on this too, Dean?
Well, I'm just looking at Congress.gov right now.
Do you want to put $100 on it that he signed and it was something something Fence in it?
Okay. So then you're just wrong about the name. That's fine. Listen, here's what I would say. I would say
Biden
that nobody
signed something with the word defense in it, by the way. That's what he wanted to bet on.
So true. I would say that we haven't seen an American president in modern American history fail to.
You're literally been wrong a second ago. You literally just got cooked, so shut up. Stay in the
if he's wrong, then you're wrong because you said the same thing he did. I've never seen another president in modern American history fail to enforce the law. Shut up. Fail to enforce the law to the same extent that Donald Trump has. Like, for instance, he failed to enforce the law as it relates to the Epstein files. The executive branch completely fucking failed. The Epstein Files Transparency Act ordered them to release all of the files with limited redactions being made for the identities of victims and minors. Now, we still don't even have 3 million of like this, 2 million of the 6 million files because they refuse to release them. And judges are ruling that they have to release them. And his DOJ, a part of the executive branch, is just saying no. They're just saying they're not going to release them. We know that Donald Trump also attempted to conceal an allegation inside of the Epstein files from a credible victim of Epstein's that won millions of dollars in a settlement with her estate that accused Donald Trump of doing bad sexual actions to her.
What's your best piece of evidence of Donald Trump in the Epstein files?
Of course,
that he did something wrong.
What's
your best piece of evidence?
The allegation from Jane Doe number 4, who we know was a credible accuser of Epstein's because she had won millions of dollars in a settlement.
That is your best
from
piece
Trump.
of evidence, an allegation?
From the files that have been released, yes. From the files that have been released.
Did the FBI follow up on this investigation?
2 times. 2 times. They had 3 sit-down
Why
interviews
isn't Donald
with her.
Trump in jail then for it?
Well, I mean, he's not in jail for raping Agent Carroll. He's not in jail for sexually exploiting the naked women and girls at Miss Teen USA.
He wasn't criminally charged for that.
He's not in jail for any of these things. And in fact, the only 2 people who did go to jail over the Epstein files were Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. So if we apply your same standard here that you're applying to Trump, well, if he was truly guilty, then he'd be in jail. Okay, well, then you think that Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein acted alone.
You just said Eugene Carroll. Why was he not criminally charged? Why was he civilly charged?
Because the statute of limitations preventing it from
so
going to a
why
criminal hearing.
is that Trump's fault? Is that Trump's fault?
No, it's a law's fault.
So take it up with New York then, because in a court of law he was never proved guilty.
I'll take up the statute of limitations with New York, but I'll take up the whole rape thing with him.
He was never proved guilty. He was never proved guilty in a court of law.
If by guilty you just mean responsible, then he was, because he was held liable, which is to be found guilty in the sense that it's responsible.
What is the difference between civilly liable versus guilty, Dean?
So I think we need to ask, what is the difference between civil liability and criminal guilt, the burden of proof, and the amount of jurors?
Okay, is there a difference between civilly liable and guilty? Yes or no?
No, I don't think that guilty is a univocal term. So
you're just pull it up right now. I'm
trying to explain this to you. I think that guilty just means
I don't need your explanation. I need the words.
That guilty just means responsible for engaging in an action. So if a person is found civilly liable for raping a woman, well, then they are found guilty of raping that woman. But if we want to specify guilt inside of criminal courts, Okay, well then
You
we'd
wanna
be
put
looking
$100 on it?
specifically at criminal guilt. How could we
You wanna
put
put $100
$100? How could we put $100 on language?
Yes or no, Dean? You're the one sitting here saying that he's guilty.
I don't
so
know.
Yes or no?
I don't know how we could put $100 on semantics because there's no objective standard to measure against. That's just simply the way that I
there's
use the.
objective standards to measure against.
What's the objective standard of language?
So in a court
What's the
of
objective
law,
standard of language? Please answer.
Can I respond to you, please?
I want you to
In it-
specifically. I want you to
Holy
specifically
shit,
tell
dude,
us
you won't
what
even
the
let me
objective
talk.
standard of language is, please.
Can I get two words out without you being so insecure that you have to interrupt?
I
'Cause
want a
you're literally
response.
getting cooked on every
I want you to
fucking
tell
point
me
you
what
guys
the
make.
objective standard of language is.
Okay, in a court of law.
This doesn't seem
Right?
like your description of the objective standard of language.
I'm trying to get to the fucking point
Okay.
without you interrupting, Dean.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Why are you such a little baby that you can't let me talk?
Well, I'd love for
Can
you
we
to
get some
respond to
bottles
the
in the
question.
chats for Dean, please?
I'd love
Alright.
for you to respond to the question. Stop the projection.
I'm
on
trying,
yourself
but
and
you
just tell
literally
me.
interrupt me 2 words in.
That's
In
fine.
a court of
Let's
law.
see what
Okay.
the objective
Holy
standard
shit,
of
dude.
language is.
In a court of law, there are 2 objective standards when it's civilly liable and guilty. Those are 2 objective standards in a court of law.
Thank you so much, Tina, for the wolf. So no, what you mean to refer to is civil liability and criminal convictions. But regardless,
what I mean
regardless
is
if you want
guilty
to,
and civil liable.
regardless if you want to use the word guilt or
Those
not, let's
2
not
words
get.
mean something.
Regardless if you want to use the word guilt or not, let's not get too hung up on the semantics.
Shit,
the point is that a court proved he raped a woman.
You mute again, you lose, dude.
I'm
mute
sorry,
again,
you interrupted
lose.
me, dude.
I'm gonna take that as you conceding.
What matters here is that a court proved he raped a woman.
Why
That's
won't you
what I
pull
care
up the
about.
definitions? No, they didn't. They did not prove that. He was civilly liable, which means okay. So Dean, answer this.
Parker just made
Dude, you literally.
Apparently,
are getting
I
cooked.
lost while on mute because I muted him.
So what is
You guys are
what is
so
what is
insecure, dude.
what does liability mean?
So liability and guilt are 2 different things.
Well, what does
and I wanted to
liability
ask you
mean?
I was trying to ask you a question before.
Just
Parker
what is
muted
what
me.
does liability mean?
Can I
please?
finish my question first before I answer yours?
Sure, I just want to
was
stick
trying
on
to
topic with the
answer-
fact that a court
I
proved
am.
he raped
This
a
is
woman
on
based upon a
topic.
preponderance of
This
evidence
is-
that I believe
this is
suggests that he
on
did it beyond a
topic,
reason
Dean.
beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt. I don't even
Dean,
think that there's a
this is
reasonable
on
doubt to
topic.
the evidence that proved he raped E. Jean Carroll.
This is literal. Okay, I'm about to give you one right now. What dress was she wearing, Dean?
What
That
dress
she said she was wearing?
Tina,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sending that galaxy to Parker. I don't know the specific dress that she was wearing. I don't think they give a
Okay,
description
she
of it
was. Okay,
inside
let
of
me
the court
give
filings.
you. Let me give you something, Dean,
Mhm.
that shows that this is questionable.
Okay.
She was saying that she was wearing a dress that wasn't even out yet.
Cool.
So
Give a
how
source
is
for
that, Dean?
That's not true.
100%.
We just ask him for his evidence. He won't be able to provide the evidence since it's false, Parker. What's the
Go
evidence
look
for
at
that
the
claim?
evidence. It's there for you to look at, Dean.
Okay. Do you mind giving me references for that evidence? Let's use a source.
I'm literally on. You can literally pull it up at any time, Dean. You know you're being really
like you're on a phone, right? So you wouldn't be able to provide me evidence because you're on a phone, right?
So Dean, I'm literally trying to talk to you. I'm not trying to teacup. You can
That's fine.
literally
Okay.
pull it up.
Yeah, I won't make you teacup then. There's actually something else that we could do. Are you ready?
No, dude, I'm dipping out, dude. I just
No, don't
cooked you. I'm
leave. Don't
dipping
leave. I'm gonna pull. Don't leave. If you run, you lose.
I
If you run, you
literally
lose.
no. You're being
if you
so
run, you lose.
dishonest about it.
I have a Google tag. Oh, I have a Google tab open. Tell me what to look up to find the evidence. We'll do it together. Tell me what to look up.
Eugene Carroll's dress
Okay.
that she claims
Carol's dress. What else?
that she claimed she was wearing when Donald Trump
That she
did this.
claimed she was wearing when Trump did this. Anything else?
No,
into that?
when Trump what did he get civilly held
What
liable for? It
did
was
he get,
look at how
civilly-
dishonest you're being right now, Dean.
just tell me what to type.
Just no, Dean. Look
When
up
Trump-
look up what he was civilly held liable for. When Trump
sexual abuse?
sexually
Sexually
abuse case.
sexual
abuse case.
Okay, so I get a source from Rain. Get a source from Dross in hand. Rape accuser goes after Trump DNA. Okay, what do you want me to click
Eugene
on
Carroll.
here?
Okay, go up to the top. Go up to the top. Go up to the top. What is that? Eugene Carroll's dress.
Mhm.
Did you click that?
Do you want me to click on the second one? Or are you saying that the second one is
Try
the
to
source?
find. All right, try to find the dress she was wearing.
Bro, just tell. I literally just use this
I
as your own
forgot
computer.
the name of the dress. I'm not trying to teacup.
It's a
Just
Donna
look-
Karen dress.
Okay, find out when that came out.
Okay,
it came out in the 80s.
Find out when that came out.
What do you
In
want
the
me to
80s.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't, Parker.
Yes, it did. You want to bet?
No, it didn't, Parker. Not the one she was saying she wore.
I bet you the dress that she specifically is referencing she had came out before the date that or the
What's
year
your
that
evidence
she's
of it?
referencing.
What's your evidence
He's
of
trying
it?
to he's trying to burden shift now. He's burden shifting
I'm asking,
now.
do you want to bet on that?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Why'd you pull off of it, Dean? Pull it up.
Because you asked Parker for evidence.
Well, I mean, you can look up Parker's claim.
So, Thumb, are you willing to take a bet on this, actually?
Parker, shut up. I've already owned you a couple times.
Wait, would you like to make a bet on this against both of us?
Look at you guys pivoting. Just fucking look it up, Dean.
Is that a no?
Would you like a dress?
How many times have I sat there and tried to make a bet with you guys and you guys ran from it? So don't even try that shit with me. Like,
so just
I'm
to
a
clarify,
coward.
you are running from this bet?
All right, you know what, dude? You guys have a good
If
one.
you leave the live, you lose.
I got
You lose.
this. I
You
got
lose.
this.
You lose if you leave. You
You're
lose
not
if you
looking
leave.
it up for a reason.
You
You're
lose if
not
you
looking it up
leave.
for a
You
reason.
lose, actually.
You're being so
You
disingenuous.
lose if you
dude.
leave. Oh, by the
You're
way,
being so
by the way,
disingenuous.
you still have complete and total control over this Google tab here. Just like tell me what to look up to find your evidence. I'll happily do it.
What does this one say?
Bro, I clicked on the first link. It says dress in hand, rape accuser goes after Trump DNA. Manhattan, a lawyer for an author who said President Donald Trump raped her in the 90s, asks Thursday that he provided DNA sample to see if the matches stains left on the dress she was wearing. After Trump sexually assaulted me, he took the black dress I had been wearing and hung it in my closet. Eugene Carroll said in a statement this morning. Carroll, 79. Oh, it actually looks like here's the dress. Eugene Carroll magazine says that Donald Trump raped her in the 90s. Had a lot of tests on the Donna Karen jacket dress she was wearing.
Oh, wait, look up when that came out.
The Donna Karen jacket dress? The specific one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already done this. It's in the 80s. Watch.
I'd assume that they have a lot of jacket dresses.
Yeah, they do. So the specific one that Eugene Carroll has, this one came out in the 80s.
Oh!
Donna Karen Eugene Carroll dress, yeah.
Oh! The Donna Karen jacket dress first debuted in 85, and she claimed
When
that
was
she
it
was raped
released
in
to
95.
the public? No. When was it released to the public? That doesn't mean debut.
Debut.
'Cause
What does debut mean?
Debut could have been like them showing it off, Parker. That didn't mean
so
they were
showed
selling
off
it.
You think they showed it off over 10 years prior to selling it?
Yes, that's what fashion places do, and then they'll
Over
release their
10 years
product.
prior to selling it? No, they don't.
Holy shit, you can't be this dumb, Parker. Yes,
Wait,
they do. They do it all the time.
Where's your evidence that the debut was not the public release? Because it looks like it says it was launched as a foundational piece in her iconic 7 Easy Pieces collection.
Okay, so go to that collection. See when that collection came out.
In 1985, when Donna Karen introduced her now legendary 7 pieces, she wasn't offering a trend or a seasonal idea. She was proposing a system. Looks like I need.
When did it actually come out? Find out when it actually came out.
Well, when it was launched in 1985.
I think you already know that answer, sir. I think you're just
debuted.
I think
it
right now
mean...
he's grasping for straws because
I'm not. I'm literally not. This is why you guys are so scared. Words have meaning.
We're scared.
Parker.
Says the one who do want to take the bet.
Yes.
Take the bet right now. Let's do it.
Publicly release.
Dumb. Take the bet. How much? $1,000?
Okay. Well, when I look up when it was publicly released, it says the same thing.
The jacket. Hold on. The jacket has also been continuously. What does that say? That bottom one.
It's been a continuous staple throughout her archival re-releases, such as the widely celebrated spring 2024 relaunch, the Donna Karen New York line.
Go down. Okay, so she relaunched it back in the 2000s, and that's when Eugene Carroll had this specific one.
Eugene Carroll. No, it was relaunched in 2024.
No, it was also in the 2000s, Parker.
Okay, and a re-release isn't the same thing as an original release.
This specific one that she had, Parker.
Yeah, the specific one that she had, the original release.
What does that say? Fall of 2003?
That's a re-release.
Holy shit, dude. Was it the same exact jacket?
But it's re-released. That's like saying Star
Holy
Wars.
Shit. No, Parker, you
know,
just said...
they've re-released Black Ops
Parker,
2?
Who's the one...
They re-released Black Ops 2.
Parker, can I fucking speak for 2 seconds?
This is so bad, bro.
No, it's not.
He's gonna leave soon. He's gonna leave soon. This is brutal.
No, dude, my phone is literally on 2%. But let me
he's
just
gonna
say
leave
one
soon.
thing
he's
real
gonna
quick.
he's gonna
Let
leave.
me just say one thing real quick.
He's
You
gonna
guys,
leave everybody.
No, why'd you fucking take it down, Dean? Let me just say one thing real quick.
Because you're grasping for
Parker-
straws. You're gonna leave. I know
No,
it.
Parker's the one grasping for
That's
straws
what I'm
because I said 2000.
Yo, Carolina Bros! Thank you
Look at
so
you
much for
guys
the
running so
gorilla.
hard.
Oh my god.
Why
Yo,
would you
let's
go to
fucking go.
2003?
I want to see. I want to see
The mute
so much
button.
love
So
for
insecure, so
Carolina
insecure.
Bros. Dude, I'm thanking somebody for a massive
So
gift.
insecure.
Sit down. Thank you so much, Carolina Bros, for the fucking gorillas. That is by far one of the coolest TikTok gifts
Why are you so
I think that
scared?
I've ever seen. Thank you so much for that love. Shout out to you. I hope that your mom is doing well. You guys are awesome. I definitely remember y'all. And thank you so very much for the massive, massive gift. Thank you from the very bottom of my heart. I'm very appreciative. Genuinely, thank you so much for the love and support. Please show some massive love to Carolina Bros in that chat. Thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Go ahead, Thumb.
Okay, so literally,
Angel, thank you for the $5. I did hear that.
Yeah,
Georgia, thank you for the
exactly.
$15.
I
Who
won.
says
You guys have a good
worked?
night. I
Yeah,
won.
if you run away, you lose because we were able to give you evidence that the
No,
dresser released in
I won.
1985.
You're doing this-
Yep, you're gonna
you're
leave.
doing the
You're gonna
chat
leave. I know.
shit.
If you run away, you lose.
nope, I won.
If you run away, you
I'm
lose.
gonna win.
We proved that the dresser's from 1985.
He's gonna
Wait,
lose.
name the evidence. Name the evidence that you gave us that proves her dress was from the early 2000s. What's the evidence?
Okay, so
What's the
just
evidence?
because you-
Hey, what evidence did you give us that the dress that she submitted to the court was made in the early 2000s? What's the evidence? If you won the debate, I would assume that you corroborated it with evidence, right? Oh my god.
Oh, he's running away. Oh, look at that. He totally did run away. Dude, yeah, by the way, he was really scared to take that bet at the end. That was really, really funny. Turning his
Dude.
own argument back on him is my favorite thing.
Dude, hell yeah. We love that. We fucking love that, dude. That was some good shit, man. That was some good shit. Let's go to get the next guest. Take the red pill, 1776. Let it up in here. Kennedy, thank you for the meteor shower. Hey, folks, if you're watching at home, if you're one of the nearly 21,000 people on TikTok, 5K people on YT, if you want to support me, if you want to support the stream, if you want to support what we do, if you want to ask a question, get a shout out or get a message read out loud, you can find a link to my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in the bio of my TikTok account. They're also in the pin message on YT and the handles at the top of the phone screen on TikTok as well. It's just my name, Dean Withers, without the letter E and my last name, Withers. Best way to support what we do. Whoops. Did I accidentally kick Parker? What the hell happened? Take the red pill. Do you support Trump?
Yeah, but why do you keep kicking me? I was the one who brought up unitary executive theory.
Because you're a troll, bro. Because you're a troll, that's why.
Bro, kicking me is crazy. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
my bad, bro. Didn't mean to do that.
No, that happens. It's
Yeah,
actually normal.
What's up, man? Do you support Trump, LARPing King?
Yeah, I'm here to debate abortion. Can I debate abortion?
Are you LARPing?
No, I'm not. Or I might be, I don't know.
Dude, what is
No,
this
but
shit?
Can I debate abortion?
You have a post. Karl Marx. Karl Marx.
Look at their bio.
Confederate,
Look at their bio.
trans Confederate flag. Jewish symbol. Islamic symbol. Free Palestine. What the fuck? This guy's completely gone.
Oh my god, yo, Tank, thank you so much for the octopus.
Dude, that guy's
Thank
mind
you
is
so much,
gone.
Tank. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dude, shout out to Tank. And Savannah, thank you for the 1 penny on Venmo as well. I appreciate you. Oh, this guy's back from yesterday. I kicked him pretty quick. Do you want to have a go at him, Parker?
Sure. And also, Lexington, thank you for the $50 on PayPal. Thank you so much, Lexington. I appreciate it. Thank you. W's for Lexington in the comment section right now for supporting the common sense. Well, thank you very much.
I found this guy particularly annoying.
Hi, Dean.
Yeah, hi, man. You can
Hey,
talk to
Why do you
Parker for a
support
little
Trump,
bit.
sir?
Before you hop into that, couple people to thank. Savannah, thank you so much for the 2 pennies on Venmo saying, Dean, is this you? This is me. Josh with the $15 says, trying to defend a Trump by digging into fashion is so ironically Pride Month coded of him. I appreciate you for the $15, Josh. Let's get 150 Josh W's. Georgia with the $15 as well says, I worked in fashion PR for years in NYC. A fashion journalist would have had access to a designer's dress long before it's widely released to the public. You get so many free articles of clothing when you work in fashion, especially big publications. And that's exactly what E. Jean Carroll did. Peter, thank you for the $20. Who says, did you see that Midas Touch journalist Katie Fang won a lawsuit against Todd Blanche that is forcing him to answer why he's not releasing the rest of the files? No, I didn't. And if he doesn't provide good reason, he's forced to release the rest. Ooh, I'll make sure that I keep up to date with that. I'll make sure that I keep up to date with that. Ashley with the $6 and interrupt them again. Mary with the $2, letting me know that Katie Fang won her lawsuit. That is genuinely huge. And then Halo, thank you for the $15, who says, congratulations on the very well-earned 6 mil. Keep up the good work. Your videos help us, quote-unquote, on both sides to understand each other, or at least to try. Haha. Well, thank you for the $14, Halo. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the stream, and thank you for the love. Over on PayPal, Lexington, thank you for the $50 as well. Let's get 1,000 massive Lexington W's in that chat for the $50 to me and the $50 to Parker. Lexington with the 50 says, the irony of a man having a meltdown over being muted isn't lost on me. Amazing how a few seconds without a microphone can trigger such an emotional response. Get used to it, buddy. Dude is so triggered. It is unreal. Thank you for the $50, Lexington. Kyle with the $14 says, next time a MAGA says a fetus is a person, then if illegal immigrant should have been allowed to vote, should be allowed to vote because they will be a citizen. I see your logic there, Kyle. I think I could find a way to repackage that to make it make sense. I definitely see your logic there. Dwayne, thank you for the $20 donation on PayPal. Thank you, bro. He says, I posted on Facebook that I'd give any Trump supporter $100 if they could beat you in a debate, because let's be real, they won't. Hopefully that helps you get some more serious debaters. Dwayne, I fucking love you. That is so cool. You are awesome, Dwayne. Show some love to the goat, Dwayne, down below. Oh my goodness. That is so cool. Yeah, they'll definitely get cooked. Don't worry. Nixie, thank you for the $20 on Super Chat, who says, love listening to both you and Parker. You guys are great. You give me help in the future. Keep up the good work. Thanks. Well, thank you, Nixie. I appreciate you. Countdown Pharaoh, thank you so much for the $100, who says, the company says that her dress was launched in 1985. Yup. Then let's go ahead and hop into the next debate. Parker, this one's all you, dude. Treasure Trail, tell Parker why you're MAGA.
Oh, I don't know who Parker is.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay. I see you on the phone. Sorry, dude. Hey, Parker. Dude, did anybody ever tell you look just like Woody, man? I don't mean that as a diss. I like Toy Story. If they're slapping cowboy hats on you, dude, you look just like Woody. That's not a diss. I'm not dissing you. I swear to God.
You know what? I actually have heard that before, and it was when I was being dissed by like a middle schooler. So.
Oh no, I'm not. Well, I work with kids, but so it's maybe I'm a little mature that way. But dude, I think if you slap that cowboy hat on, there you go. There's a Jesse for you. You know what I mean? Go find your Jesse.
Okay, alrighty. Why do you support Trump? And by the way, Marianne, thank you for the $12, and Maria, thank you for the 10. Thank you.
And hey, chat, can you keep slapping cowboy hats on them so I can be entertained while I talk a little bit? I really appreciate that. Thanks, chat. Hey, so Dean, your following, man, they're wild. I got so many messages. I was a little bit busy last night talking. But there's about 5 guys that called me the R word, but about 10 or 15 of them are actually really cool, and they were like just educating me on stuff and giving me sources. So I think you get kind of a negative like look to you sometimes, but some of your followers were super cool. So I just wanted to give you that shout out.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking to Parker, aka my Woody over here. Okay. Hey, Parker. Yesterday, I told Dean that I thought that Trump was doing pretty good on the economy, and I liked the EPA stuff he was doing it. He wasn't really vibing on that, and that's where we left off. I pointed to some EPA stuff. We hammered it out as being like permitting stuff, I guess, that I was talking about, specifically with geology, the opening of hard rock mines. And I just thought that it was cool because it's reducing our dependence on like other countries that grab these minerals. We had like a lot of EPA stuff, that probably wasn't necessary. I don't know if all the regulatory actions or the deregulatory actions they did were good, but I know a lot of them were unnecessary. I'm hearing this from guys in my fields. And I thought the tariffs were good, and Dean said tariffs were bad. That's kind of where we
So for the EPA, I would actually recommend looking at a bunch of the EPA studies. They conduct studies for cost-benefit analysis for the implementation of these environmental regulations. And it actually is something that leads to more economic efficiency overall if we impose these regulations, because it gets the producers and suppliers of this energy to actually internalize costs that would otherwise be reflected upon the general population because of negative externalities due to the lack of these environmental regulations. So these environmental regulations actually benefit the average person in the economy and the economy as a whole, given that they've been imposed. And then also, if you look at the economy overall, real GDP growth is lower off since Trump got in office. Real median wage growth is lower off since Trump got in office. Inflation is higher. Unemployment's higher. Job growth is lower. Real domestic manufacturing investments declined every single quarter of Trump's administration so far. So actually, Trump's tariff policy and his war with Iran have made conditions worse off in the economy, not better.
Oh, you guys don't like the war either? Jesus Christ, this is going to be a rough one. Jesus. You guys don't like the war in Iran? You don't think that's cool?
No, we don't think that's good. We actually think Trump got Iran closer to a nuclear weapon because he pulled us out of the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal, that established a cap on their enrichment levels of uranium at 3.67%. And that would still be in effect to this day, which we could have renegotiated in 2030.
You don't think Iran has, you don't blame Iran, at all for any of that? You just think it's all Trump's fault?
Well, of course, I'm going to blame Iran for being a threat to the country, but I'm also going to acknowledge that Trump got Iran closer to a nuclear weapon.
Well, I don't
imagine it this way. So Trump is a dad, and the JCPOA is a gun, and Iran is the son of the dad. So the dad gives their son a gun, knowing that they're going to take that gun to school and kill a bunch of people. And then that son with a gun that they only have because of their dad starts walking to school to kill a bunch of people. And then the dad is like, oh my God, we need to stop him from going to school and killing a bunch of people. Motherfucker, you're the one that gave him the loaded gun in the first place. Motherfucker, Trump's the one who pulled us out of the JCPOA that prevented them from enriching uranium beyond the threshold allowed by the agreement to make nuclear weapons in the first place. Okay, Obama, the Democrats are the ones who fought tooth and nail hard as hell to prevent Iran from building nuclear weapons without the loss of even one life, one little girl in any elementary school, one bomb, one strike, one missile, right? You should be very thankful for the Democrats here.
Well, I just would say that, whenever we got into that conflict with Iran, all they did is shoot missiles all over the place, right? They got crazy and they started shooting hotel buildings and doing that.
They shut down the Strait of Hormuz, killed 13 servicemen and women, and now it's still ongoing. This has negative reciprocal effects on the whole world, on the global economy, on the price of gas, on the price of groceries everywhere. And all of this could have been avoided if Trump never terminated the JCPOA.
No, I don't think that was I like what he's doing. And I think a lot of veterans and service members actually like what he's doing. The thing is a lot of people have a short...
So do you deny the claim that this would not be happening if Donald Trump did not terminate the JCPOA?
I just think that your claim that they're closer to a nuclear weapon when they literally have no infrastructure to build missiles, which is reported by every news organization. They blew up all their facilities for their space program.
Can I just be clear with what my position was that it was capped at 3.67% level of enrichment, and then they enriched up to 60% since Trump pulled out of the JCPOA. And then Trump then used that as justification to strike them through the Operation Midnight Hammer. So the point would then be is that they built up their level of enrichment of uranium since Trump pulled out of the deal. They wouldn't have built it up if Trump never pulled out of the deal, meaning Trump got them closer to that weapon in the first place.
Right. Except the only thing that you're missing, dude, is you don't understand how in radiums you're rich. It's not like you could do it within a year or 5 years. It's a very long process to build these facilities, to mine the uranium, because there's not a lot of uranium in Iran. It's all exported in from North Russia, from my understanding. And I am a geologist, so I know how they mine uranium and they refine it. So you can't say that him doing that, they had the facilities built. There's no way they enriched it that quickly.
Yeah, they had the facilities. We know this. They just increased their level of enrichment after Trump pulled out of the JCPOA.
Yeah. So, but the rods, the 3% rods you need for power plants, right, is a completely different process between a 60% enriched yellow cake mixture.
Yeah, they went from 3.67% to 60%, which is closer to 90% required to weaponize it.
Yeah, but the facilities are different that make the uranium. You think that you could just go from 3% to 6%? You're not understanding that whenever you mess with the uranium ore, when you turn it to 3%, you can't turn it to anything else. it's like it's kind of like if you ever take a chemistry class, you're like, oh hey, I cooked this food. Just use cooking. I cooked this food and I have bread. It's like you made the bread already, and you're like, let's make the bread even better.
Listen,
right?
we obviously don't know the specifics about uranium enrichment, and I don't think that either of us could debate the specifics of uranium enrichment. All that we're saying here is that the IAEA reported that they had enriched their uranium to a 60% threshold after Trump terminated the JCPOA. But if it's your claim that they were never a nuclear threat, well, then you wouldn't support Trump's war in Iran because it was founded on the lie that they were an imminent nuclear threat per the White House.
No, I'm saying that the ruse that they were doing it for nuclear power plants, that they don't have the infrastructure built for the plans. There's no.
Was Donald Trump being honest when he said on February 29th, the reason why we started this war was because Iran is an imminent nuclear threat? Was that honest? So they okay. So then why did Tulsi Gabbard testify in Congress that we completely obliterated their nuclear program last year?
What's that? Well, I think that they are talking about like the facility with the uranium. Yeah.
Okay, so if they completely obliterated their nuclear program and they quote unquote haven't even started on rebuilding it yet because that's what she claims, then how could Iran possibly have been an imminent nuclear threat?
Well, because I think their justification, they're not saying that they attacked Iran for a nuclear threat. That's not what they said at all.
Yes, they said that they are attacking Iran because they are an imminent nuclear threat, and then you agreed that Iran was an imminent nuclear threat. So describe to us how Iran could have been an imminent nuclear threat, okay, when Tulsi Gabbard, the DNI, testified that we completely obliterated their nuclear program last year, and they haven't even started on rebuilding it ever since. Either give a direct answer to my question or get kicked like you did yesterday.
A direct answer. So do you mind clarifying your question so I can answer it accurately?
How could Iran possibly have been an imminent nuclear threat on February 28th when their nuclear production facilities and entire nuclear program was completely obliterated and they hadn't even started on rebuilding it?
So I would say this. I would say that initially, right, that's their justification for going in. And they've clarified their position afterwards. They said that they first went after the nuclear threat, but then the thing is after they blew up the main facility, from the reporting that I've seen, that they were trying to re-dig up the uranium, that they were still making rockets and moving towards this pathway to go towards a nuclear weapon. And so it's like multifaceted. You know, if they dig their uranium out of the ground, you could easily make a dirty bomb with 60%. So, because they blew up the main facility.
They were an imminent nuclear threat because they could have dug the uranium out of the ground and made a dirty bomb.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and I think they were actively doing it. I think it was reported.
Oh, so they actually said no. So U.S. intelligence said that they hadn't even started on rebuilding their nuclear program. So that's not true.
Well, but I would disagree with you, Dean. And I thought I was talking to Parker, but I'm not trying to be rude. But I just it's kind of hard in between too. Dean, I would just say this. I would say that there's Senate Democrats that were for the war in Iran until it became trendy to not be. And I think that the reason that the trend stopped.
Why do you think that Tulsi Gabbard lied then?
I don't think she lied.
Well, she said that they haven't even started on rebuilding their nuclear program. And you just said that that wasn't true. So she did lie.
No, I said that there's other aspects of their nuclear program. And
so then you think that she lied when she said that their nuclear program was completely obliterated.
I think that's like, maybe she lied. I don't know. I didn't see. I'm not like a Tulsi Gabbard fan.
Then go look into that. I'm kind of done with you. Make It Great sent you an invite to turn your mic on. Do you support Trump? Make It Great. Hello. Looks like Make It Great's not here, so we're going to go to get the next guest connected. We got user 8717 loading in. Only hop inside of the box if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. Please do follow the rules of the live stream. All right, here we go. Julianne, do you support Trump?
We are Charlie Kirk.
Will, man, why are you back? I thought I taught you a lesson the other day. I'm surprised you're back.
Yeah, but I just I think it's funny that you often like to call Trump supporters a cult. That's the use that you agree with that, right?
Wait,
yeah, I would say that you probably have TDS.
Is this the guy that ended up admitted to being under 18?
I'm 18. 2008, June 8.
I know that somebody at the end of the debate said that they weren't 18. Is this, guys, was it this guy or was it someone else? I think it was you.
It wasn't. You can kick me. It wasn't me. I have a good point to make, but
I don't know. Guys, be honest. Be honest. Was this him? I'm going to be relying on the chat here. Seems like the chat's pretty split. I guess go to take it away in the meantime, Will.
what I was saying is, do you think that Trump supporters are a cult?
Yeah, I think that many of them are true. You guys, like, as Parker said, have Trump devotion syndrome.
You want to? I don't know what that is, but anyways, so what I'd like to say is, I was on your
there's
debate
nothing
yesterday.
that Trump could do that would get them to stop supporting him.
There's a lot of those, yeah. I won't lie. I want to.
So that's what we mean. Like, you might not have TDS, but it's like a lot of Trump supporters do.
Okay, what I was saying is, I was on the debate yesterday, and I said some things maybe offended some people, not meaningfully, and I got a lot of messages and DMs off of it. Terrible, nasty things from all of your supporters, Dean. I feel like your thing is kind of a cult because you know that people harass people that come up here, even if they're respectful, and then you know they do because when someone's parent is debating, you're like, don't harass this account because it's their parent. So I think that you're the actual cult leader and not Donald Trump, and that's one thing that I'd like to say.
That I'm a cult leader?
Yeah, you specifically.
And I'm just the cult leader of like thousands of players.
I actually don't do that thing that Dean does. Does that mean that I am not a cult leader and Dean is?
Well, I don't know. I've never debated you, Parker. I just know that what the backlash of me debating Dean was absolutely insane.
Well, I mean, like, I just want to let you know, like, we disagree with anything that was horrible that was sent to you. Is there a way we could possibly control that?
I mean, I don't think you could control it, no.
Okay, so we don't have a cult because we can't control that and we disagree with it.
True.
You could put a warning up there.
So with every single person, I think that would be a bit ridiculous.
It's just how Trump
like a warning
has
above
his, how do you
every...
still support Trump thing.
Yeah,
Veronica, thank you for
like,
the galaxy.
I feel like that's too much on the screen.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure that there's any more space. That's really just that's the space I got. Jose, thank you for the $40 on Super Chat, man. Let's get 400 Jose W's. Jose with a 40 says, previous caller, we attacked them, numbnuts. What do you expect would happen? Of course, they shot off their missiles at Israel and us because we attacked them. We would have done the same to you, idiot. Thank you so much for the $40, Jose, and you're right. Yeah, of course they responded to the missiles we sent at them. Of course. Like, what else would they do? That's exactly what they'd do. That's what we would do, too, as you said. Yeah, well, weren't you the one, like, saying that Trump wasn't a rapist and E. Jean Carroll was a crazy bee?
I never said that about E. Jean Carroll. I said that he was found liable, not guilty, and it was civilly, not criminally.
Yeah, the point is the court proved he did it with a lot of evidence.
The court didn't prove that he wasn't proved guilty. He was proved liable.
What's the difference between guilt and liability?
Liable is likely to do something. Likely to do.
Likely to do. Was actually more likely than not that they did.
Yeah, more than likely that he
and
did.
It's just the minimum threshold, by the way. Not the maximum, the minimum threshold.
Why didn't they?
A jury requires at least 51% certainty in a civil court to make a ruling. In this case, I believe there's damn near certainty because the evidence was just simply that compelling.
Do you have proof that it was damn near certainty or no?
Yeah.
What's the proof?
The fact that she's been keeping her story consistent for the last 30 years as corroborated by 4 of her friends. Therapist notes from the 90s indicating that she was raped by Trump. The testimony of a psychotherapist saying that her testimony was demonstrating signs of trauma consistent with that of rape victims. The fact that Donald Trump had lied a handful of times, lied and said that he never met her. She proved that wrong by submitting a photo of them together to the court. Lied and said that he wouldn't have raped her because she wasn't his type, but we also proved that one wrong because under deposition he confused a photo of his ex-wife Marla Maples, who definitely is his type, to be E. Jean Carroll. You also have a couple other inconsistencies, but the next thing I'll mention would definitely be the dress. She submitted a dress to the court claiming it had Donald Trump's DNA in it from the day that he raped her. The court took it, proved that it had male DNA in it, asked Trump for his DNA to be tested against the DNA in the dress. Donald Trump said, no, I will not do that for you. I think that's something that only a guilty man will do. And at least the most compelling piece of evidence for me is his character priors. People that go to jail for sex crimes are among the very most likely to recommit when they get out. So we know once you're a sexual predator, you're usually a sexual predator for the rest of your life. This is why we have people in registries until the day they die. This is why we don't allow pedophiles to be around kids until the day they die. This is why we don't let them go like 500 feet close to an elementary school until the day they die, because they're very likely to recommit. So when we consider the fact that in 2005 he said that he just grabs women by their vaginas without asking them first, and that's exactly what the court ruled he did to E. Jean Carroll, it kind of demonstrates a pattern here. When we consider the fact that in 2005 he also boasted about barging into the dressing rooms of naked women and girls to sexually exploit their naked bodies, also demonstrates a pattern. And because of this pattern, including the credible accusations found within the Epstein files and the other 27 credible accusations of rape, I definitely do conclude that the ruling of the jury was by and large very accurate.
Yeah, so we went over this. I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, but the fact that all the evidence together points to it being likely, but you just gave me the evidence that he was found liable, not the fact that it would have confirmed that he's like 100% liable, which is guilty. It was just liable, likely to do it.
The standard of evidence inside of a criminal court is that it happened beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt. I don't think that there's any reasonable doubt that you could give to the preponderance of the evidence I just described.
Well, I could break each one down individually on how that doesn't matter, but you think that that's pointless, and you think that it only matters that they're all combined. And
Yeah, like,
together they prove that she raped.
So do you accept that he sexually exploited naked women and girls at the beauty pageants that he owns?
Yes.
Okay. So you accept that he's engaged in sexual violence directed towards women and girls in a dressing room before?
Well, yeah, but the difference is he admitted that. He did that, and I can't deny something.
Okay, so
he admitted.
would you ever make a sexual predator president?
I didn't make him president.
Would you ever support a sexual predator as president?
I don't support the fact that he's a sexual predator.
But would you
That
ever
doesn't really-
support a sexual predator as president?
I mean, that doesn't really deter my view of the person as president now.
I mean, a sexual predator of like naked little girls doesn't deter your view from their ability to lead the most powerful country on the face of planet Earth.
Yeah, because it doesn't deflect their policies as a president.
So if Jeffrey Epstein ran on Trump's policies, would you support Jeffrey Epstein?
I think Jeffrey Epstein's a way more severe difference between.
So if it's just sexually exploiting the naked bodies of little girls and not raping the bodies of little girls, then you don't really care?
Well, why is it? I don't think it was. Are you talking about the pageant, or are you talking about a different scenario? Because I don't think the pageant was little girls, was it?
Yeah, it was little girls and women. We had 14s as young as 15 say that he barged into the dressing rooms to look at their naked bodies at Miss Teen USA in 1997, like Mariah Bellato, who was 17, said that he barged in and said, "Don't worry, ladies, I've seen it all before."
So they were underage, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's true. I'm not going to take your word for it, but I don't really think that.
You could find these interviews on the internet. Her name is once again Mariah Bellato.
I'm going to search it up right now, but in the meantime, do you think that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump are just as bad, is what you're saying?
Well, I think that this is like asking me if I prefer slavery or the Holocaust. I think that both Jeffrey Epstein and Trump are terrible people. And I'd say that both of them fall beyond the threshold of the type of person that we wouldn't want to be president.
Yeah, but there's the lesser of two evils. The point is no one would ever make
So
Jeffrey
you'd say
Epstein
that
president.
you'd say that Kamala Harris was worse than a rapist, a sexual abuser.
He didn't sexually. Looking at naked bodies isn't sexual abuse.
Sorry, sexual exploiter.
I mean, I think that as a president, like I said, if Kamala would have sexually
Can I get
harassed
a yes or
someone
no?
or
Do you think
abused-
that she was worse than a sexual exploiter?
Yes.
Why?
I was explaining that to you, but you made me give a yes or no answer. Because I think that even if Kamala would have done sexual assault, or sexual assault or sexual abuse, I still think it wouldn't have mattered to me, and I would have went off policies and not off of, because
oh my God, you just don't think that sexual exploitation matters. You just don't think
I don't
that the
think it matters
consent
in the
of
realm of
women and girls
presidency, no.
matters. You don't think that the bodily autonomy and the livelihoods of women and girls matter. You know what? Let me tell you exactly why it fucking matters. First reason, we should never give predators power over their fucking prey, you idiot. Rapists, sexual abusers, sexual exploiters should be in jail for life, not running the country. The second reason why it matters is because in order to take such great pride in repeated sexual exploitation of the naked bodies of women and girls, you don't care about other people. You can't care about other people. Because if you did care about other people, then you wouldn't do that. And I think that a necessary pre-qualifying fact to being the president of the United States of America and engaging in that public service is caring about other people. And that is just fundamentally a trait that Trump lacks because he was so proud and willing to sexually exploit naked little girls and women. I just can't believe that, bro. Oh, I don't give a fuck that he sexually exploited the naked bodies of little children. Like, dude. Oh my God. Chances are he's running.
I'm not running. I was texting my brother. I didn't hear the last 30 seconds of what you said, besides that
I said that we shouldn't give predators power over their prey. I also said in order to be a sexual predator and to prey on the naked bodies of kids and women unconsensually, you just simply can't care about other people. That's just a fundamental moral virtue that you lack. And I think that fundamental moral virtue is a necessary prerequisite of anybody in any public office. You know, maybe if he actually cared about other people, i.e. he wasn't willing to so proudly boast about and engaging in sexual violence, that then he wouldn't have killed 162 girls in Iran. Maybe then he wouldn't have said that he wanted to invade Greenland and steal their country against their will. Maybe then he wouldn't have refused to fund food stamp benefits for the last 12 days that the government shut down, illegally making 12 million American children starve. Maybe he wouldn't have covered up for the predators and the pedophiles in the Epstein files and directed his DOJ to refuse to release them even though they're bound to by law. Maybe he wouldn't have passed some of the most regressive economic reform in modern American history, taking purchasing power away from the working class. Once again, this all tracks back to my claim that a necessary prerequisite of the presidency is caring about other people, and Donald Trump lacks that fundamental moral value.
I don't think that any president really cares about the people, and that any president has cared about the people, and that president.
So then you just don't think that any president has ever been good?
I don't think any president is. I think there's been better presidents than there has been.
Do you think that Kamala Harris didn't prove about the? Do you think that Kamala Harris didn't care about the people?
Well, she wasn't president, so it doesn't really matter.
It does matter, because when she was running for president, if she did care about people and Donald Trump didn't, then the choice would be clear, Kamala Harris. So do you have any evidence that she didn't care about American people?
I don't have evidence because she wasn't president, so I wouldn't have anything to go off of.
Wait, you wouldn't have anything to go off of unless they're president? What? I just gave you an example of something we could go off for Trump that he did when he wasn't president. Sexually exploiting people and then boasting about it proudly. Was he president when he did that? Was he president when he said that? No. But does that give us evidence that he doesn't care about other people? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah, but I just said that it doesn't matter.
Okay, so then you think it does matter, because you'd argue now that Kamala Harris would have been a preferable president to Trump because Trump doesn't care about other people, and we have a lot of evidence to demonstrate that. Meanwhile, we don't have any evidence to demonstrate that same thing to be true of Kamala Harris.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Now you're telling me that in retrospect you should have supported Harris because we have a lot of evidence that Donald Trump does not care about us, and we have no evidence that Kamala Harris does not care about us.
No, because here's what I said. I said prior to being president, I don't know how they would act unless they are president, so I'm not going to go off of prior things. I said that with Kamala, and I'm holding it.
You don't know how they're going to act when they are president? That's why they have policy that they run on, my guy. They tell you how they're going to act.
You can say one thing and do another thing, though.
Okay, well, historically, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Democrats really haven't to an insane extent. She ran on what she wanted to do, to pass tax policy, to reduce to increase the purchasing power of the working class, to because she cares about people, to bring us closer to our allies and strengthen global relations because she cares about people, to not defund USAID, killing an projected 14 million people over the course of the next 4 years because she cares about people. You know, to recodify Roe v. Wade protections because she cares about people.
I know that you think this is repetitive, but I still think everything was Biden and that Kamala just took credit for it. And that
I'm talking about her campaign and the policy that she ran on. What?
Yeah, but she didn't do anything because she couldn't have helped. And like you said,
I don't know what you're saying. I just brought up the policy that she ran on, dude.
Yeah, but that the policy, I don't agree with her policies.
Okay, which one do you disagree with specifically?
Every one that you just stated.
So you disagree with giving more purchasing power to the working class?
More what power?
Purchasing power?
Can you explain what that is?
Purchasing power is the ability which one has to purchase things in the economy. An abundance of value compared to a lack
I think
thereof.
we have a good
Like how far does your dollar go? That's what purchasing power is.
So like how expensive stuff is.
Yeah. If you as opposed to how much money you're making, right? The average person. So you take like what is the median income of someone accounting for inflation, right? And how much will that buy for you, right? Comparative to what it would have bought for you, like say 4 years ago, right? That's a question of purchasing power. Is how much inflation has happened? What can the average wage or median wage actually buy for someone within the economy?
Okay, well, I think that if the average income right now, I just used Google real fast, is $83,000 for the household American, and divide that by 12, that's around 7. So 7,000 a month, I think, is enough to get you around and be just fine. That you don't need to change it at all and lower it.
You're looking at average, not median income.
What's the difference? Median is
average is going to be negatively impacted by outliers such as the highest income Americans, highest most wealthy Americans,
such as
trillionaires. Yeah, like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But the median household income represents the middle part of all household earnings, meaning half the household has more than half less. In 2024, the median income that's 2024 though. That doesn't really matter. It's not giving me 2026 stats. Do you guys know the median income or no?
Just accept the 2024 number. That will tell you like what the purchasing power was like before Trump was in office.
It says the household income is 121,000. Well, the median is 83. So I got the right number.
Median household income, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, is $83,000.
There's also a difference between personal and household. Personal, I think, is just above 40,000, and then household, yeah, you probably are right of it being around like 80,000.
Yeah, 44,000 for the.
Yeah, that's for a household. That's not just for one person.
Oh, 44,000. But I still think that's.
I'm gonna go pee again. I'll be right back.
I think that's still plenty enough to get around, and be fine off.
Well, one thing you're not considering is we spend almost twice as much per individual on healthcare expenditure comparative to a bunch of different countries around the world, and they actually have better average health outcomes than what we have.
Other countries do?
Yes, we spend nearly 14,000 per person on average. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but I don't really see how that relates because I think as long as you have a job, you can survive in America.
Well, no, you have to have, for many people, they have to have multiple jobs because just one job is not enough for them to have a living wage. Now, ideally, one job should be enough for a living wage. But that's not the type of society that we live in because Republicans are unwilling to actually increase the federal minimum wage. The federal minimum wage hasn't increased since 2009.
Yeah, but then when Joe Biden was president, why didn't he increase the minimum wage?
He tried to. It's just that he couldn't get enough votes in Congress.
Well, then what would have changed if Kamala was president?
You could inspire more Democratic positions, and people like Trump would be as involved in politics to be able to then prevent this policy from passing in the first place. Thank you for the meteor shower. It relies on compromising, working together, and who's more likely to do that? Kamala Harris and Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Obviously, the Democrats are more likely than Trump because Trump does not have much of a history of engaging in bipartisanly. Actually, right now, he's very much so undermining bipartisan legislation, such as a housing bill, specifically that would actually address the level of cost of housing in the country. And he's undermining it because he wants the Save America Act.
I don't think that this guy's 18.
Okay.
You want to know how I know that you're not 18, Will?
I am 18, but you can.
No, I can tell you the reason why you're a liar is
Why?
because you think that the average American's doing just fine. If you had even a singular bill to pay, you know that is very false.
Well, I still live in my parents' house and I'm doing fine. I don't really.
Yeah, exactly, because you have zero fucking bills to pay because you don't live in the real world.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
And that's why I think that I was earlier when I said I was right earlier when I said that you're under the age of 18. You're still a kid. You don't live in the real world. Anybody who lives in the real world and pays bills knows that the average American is not doing just perfectly fine, and that you could survive well in abundance with any job as long as you have a job. Like, literally, people on the left say that people shouldn't be working full-time while not making a livable wage. People on the right say, we understand that a bunch of people work full-time and don't make a livable wage and live quite unfortunately, but it's their burden to, like, you know, break out of the matrix and do better. So the only people who say that you could work any job and do just fine are those without a job, that have never had a job, with no real life experience. Hey, welcome into Sports Trump, Ash.
Yes, I voted for him.
Oh, Ash, no, dude, no. All right, listen, man, we'll talk about it. Give me 1 second here. Lord T, thank you for the $20. Who says, kick this kid, he doesn't even work here. I appreciate you for the $20, Lord T. That is actually exactly why I kicked him. Aaron, thank you for the $20. Thank you. I appreciate you so much for that love, Aaron and Lord T. Please show some love to Aaron and Lord T. And then Chels, thank you for the $20 as well. Chels didn't attach a message to that dono, just sent it right on through. I really appreciate you so much for that love, Chels. On Venmo, let's see here. Make it great. Appreciate you for the $10. Who says, bring me back up. I was clocking out when you brought me up. Are you MAGA? Lindsay, thank you for the $2. I appreciate you. Xavier with the $10 who says, do you and Parker think Kamala would have won if she had never brought up the fact that Trump was a sexual predator? If she had ever brought up the fact, not never brought up, but ever brought up that fact. Yeah, I generally think that the messaging from the Democrats during and before the election was dog shit. I'm not going to lie. And that could have attributed to her loss. Rachel, thank you for the $25. She says, appreciate you. Well, know that I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the $25 donation. That is beyond kind of you. And I'm very, very grateful for you. Shout out to Rachel. Abby, thank you for the $15.
Gina, I just want to add one thing. She did say it. She just didn't say it enough. She said it one time at the debates that Donald Trump was held liable of essay, but it should have been like a thing that is brought up all the time, kind of like how we brought it up on the streams. Like that should have been the main Democratic Party messaging, and it wasn't. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to add that.
I agree. I think that their messaging was terrible. Angel, thank you for the $10 in Venmo, who says, thank you for keeping me sane as a blue dot in a very red state. Well, shout out to you, and hopefully your state isn't red for long. Let's try to get a blue wave come the midterms. Juliana, thank you for the $5. I'm so happy that you've learned some good stuff from our live stream in the last week. Andrew with the $10, and Brittany with the $10. Thank you so much, you guys. Jaquan, thank you for the $2, and Suzanne, thank you so much for the $20, who says, listening to you all rocking a sick grandson. Well, Suzanne, I hope that your grandson turns out all right, and thank you for the $20. You're saying that you're rocking your grandson, so I bet he's quite young, and I hate that, you know, like young newborn children getting sick. It's always a very scary thing. Thank you so much for the $20, Suzanne. On PayPal, thank you so much, Cass and Sophie. Thank you guys so much for the $100. Cass and Sophie, you guys are awesome. That is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much, Cass and Sophie. They say, hey, from Cass and Sophie, mother and daughter, New Zealand again. We both love you and Parker so very much. Please share this with him. I got you guys. Huge shout out to Cass. Huge shout out to Sophie. You guys are awesome. Holy moly. Thank you so much for that love and support. Jody with the $10 says, I watched your Jubilee video and I'm sorry that you put yourself through that. Bro, that was hard, Jody. Lucelia with the $15 says, hey, Dean. Hey, Lucelia. I appreciate you. Thank you for the $15. Then Colton with a K. Thank you for the $20. Who says, I grew up in a Catholic household. I'm registered as a Republican, but I've grown up. I've started to lean more towards the left. There's just one thing hindering me from going fully Democratic, and that's the abortion viewpoint that the left has. The abortion viewpoint that the left has is fully compatible with being a Christian. You could just think that abortion is wrong, but think that that's a decision that every woman and girl should be able to make for themselves. Allison, thank you for the $15 on PayPal, who says, don't read it out loud, so I will keep your message to myself. Know that I appreciate you. Veronica and George, thank you both for the $10. And Amila, A-L-M-I-L-A, thank you for the $15, who says, hey, Dean, sending much love from Hamburg, Germany. Well, much love to you and much love to Germany. I would love to go there one day. Thank you so much for that love and support. Go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you support Trump, Ash.
Just because it was my right to vote for him as an American. I didn't like the way, and yes, your chat, which I kind of agreed with the other guy. Your chat can be a cult. I don't think you are one personally, but I think your chat can be very, very just bully-like, and it's sad that they have to do that. They said, look at her account. Yes, I'm Republican. I post Republican things, just like, you know, you talk about Democratic things, and I think what the problem is, I have no issue with you. I have no issue with Parker at all. I think it's sad. I mean, I'm 36, 35, born in 1990. Back then, this was never a thing. Nobody cared who somebody voted for, and nobody, you know, hated on somebody based off of who they decided to vote for, because that was your freedom. That was you know, it didn't matter. I even have Democratic friends, and they don't care that I voted for Trump, and we don't sit there on the daily asking each other why we voted for that person, because at the end of this, if Donald Trump, I don't think he should have ran again, but he did. And so I voted for him. I don't appreciate Democratic Party. I'm not against voting for a Democrat ever. But what I'm against is the way the party has gone to extreme bullying. And it just makes me sad. It honestly, it makes me sad, I guess, just to see.
Galaxy. Maybe you could change my mind here, dude. Listen.
I don't want to change your mind.
Listen,
what I want, real quick.
If
Biden, change your mind. Go ahead.
Biden's like called for the execution of Republicans in Congress because of what they said, got a bunch of people on the right fired from their jobs because of what they said. If Biden, attempted to make it illegal for people to criticize him in the media, if Biden, pressured the FCC into revoking the media licenses of companies that say bad things about him in the Democratic Party, do you think that would just kind of like confirm your suspicions about the Democratic Party being like pro-cancel culture, pro-bullying people because of who they support and what they say?
I've been bullied by many Democrats, like all the ones tagging me in your comments. If you can tell them to stop, that's not a way to hold a debate. It's sad that we have to.
Do you care about Donald Trump bullying Democrats by calling for their execution?
I don't care about either. What I care about is our country coming back together and actually realizing, like, look, it's not them against us. It's not.
So then get people like Trump out of politics, dude. I feel like we would be able to.
I agree. He'll be out in 2 years, and then what are we gonna? We can't continue to have a hate train on Trump. I want the country to move forward and have the same look.
It's already moving forward. We're already laying the scaffolding and the groundwork for what happens when Trump leaves. Look at people like Zoran Mamdani. Look at all the DSA candidates winning in NYC. Look at James Tallarico down in Texas. These progressive voices are the ones that are attempting to push the country forward. And honestly, haven't even had too much to say about Trump in the last year. But I'm just confused. What are like the GOP issues that you agree with that make you consider yourself a Republican? Because that's the debate I'm looking for. What are the Republican issues that you agree with that makes you consider yourself Republican? Okay, immigration. By immigration, what do you mean?
The trans issue.
Okay, by immigration, what do you mean? Are you just saying that we should deport all undocumented
I didn't like
immigrants?
how in the last thing you told the guy that Trump doesn't care about anybody and Kamala does, but she left the border wide open for Americans like Jocelyn Nungary to be brutally raped and murdered by a man that shouldn't have been here. And yes, I like to hear from your side, well, white men do that all the time. Yes, granted, they do. I'm not saying they don't, but that man shouldn't have been here, and Jocelyn would still be here. So that was my point on immigration. Do I think they could have handled it better? Yes, 110%. Do I think Trump is perfect at handling immigration? Absolutely not. Is he perfect at everything he says? Nobody is perfect in this world. And that's what's happened to us is like, I don't hate you, Dean Parker. I watch you guys' stuff. I actually feel like, cool, you guys are up there willing to like talk, you know, like Charlie Kirk was, just get up there and talk and it doesn't matter. You know, I don't know why you laugh when I say Charlie Kirk. I did see one of your debates with him, and I do appreciate the way you reacted to his death. I don't
know if you actually do appreciate the way that I reacted to his death, because you probably don't understand my reaction. But let's see here. So the reason why I laughed when you said his name, when you said his name is because he was for child torture. Please never categorize me in the same place as somebody who agrees with child torture ever again.
You can have your beliefs. You can have your beliefs, and your opinions on him. I just said I think it's great that you get up here and you do what you. I think my kid.
So I can explain to you how he's pro-child torture. He thought that kids that were raped and impregnated
my daughter
should
walked
be
in
forced.
2 seconds. Promise. 2 seconds. Ashley, hold on, baby. She just walked in from her mom's, my stepdaughter, so she's probably grabbing something. Sorry. Go ahead.
So the reason why Kirk was pro-child torture is because he thought that children who were raped and impregnated should have to carry that pregnancy to term and give birth.
Yeah, I heard that. He did say that. I didn't agree.
Yeah, that's child torture.
I think that would be horrible, but if that child chose to carry the baby, then I mean that's the child's choice. I think that wasn't the right thing to say by any means. I mean, what the fuck? That was kind of crazy. Yeah, I agree. But I'm saying I appreciate people coming together and trying to find a middle. I would have voted for a Democrat if it was a better candidate. But it was it wasn't. So
There,
all I'm
there
saying
was a
is,
better Democratic candidate. Kamala Harris was the better Democratic candidate. Why do you think that Trump was a preferable candidate?
I feel I already knew what Donald Trump's about. I watched Kamala be vice president and handle the border. I watched the things that she said, and these are just my feelings. Like, you guys have feelings on Trump. I mean, I just didn't care for her. I didn't feel like I would feel safe under her. And that's my personal
So just to
opinion.
clarify, you felt like you'd feel more safe with the guy who's a convicted felon, adjudicated rapist?
I don't look at that because he's not out there like doing these crazy things, like
he's literally a violent sex offender and he's a convicted felon, and you felt safer with him comparative to a former prosecutor, former district attorney, and former attorney general?
Yes, because what the Democratic Party started to push onto women. Yes.
Like what specifically?
Men into our restrooms. Men
you mean like Donald Trump
bragging
bragging about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without the consent?
I personally don't want to talk about something that happened in 2005. I'm here to talk about our future, and our future is not going to be anything if this continues to be a whole thing of division. It is sad.
I'm sorry. You support the guy that is causing division.
I support I voted for a man, in my opinion, that I felt better for our country. Does it mean I support him wholeheartedly in everything he says? No, I don't. But just like you were given a choice to vote for Harris and you did, I'm not calling you a bad person. I'm not saying you don't love this country, you don't love women because she wanted men. Like, I don't care. I want us to come to terms with each other and be like, hey, you know what? We can come in the middle and prove to these fucking higher ups, these people in the government, that they don't have power over us. They don't need to divide us. You can hate Trump all you want. Do I love everything he says? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, I'm not perfect either. You're not perfect. And I guess Jesus is going to judge everybody. And when he does, that's who I'll let judge him. But I voted based off of what was going on in my life and the things I saw coming from the Democratic Party the last 4 years. That's why I voted the way I did. Not because I was obsessed with Trump or because anything of the sort. I personally felt, just the way you did about Kamala, that was the better choice. Now, does that mean that I'm evil or any less than you? I can't hear you, Parker.
Yeah, your mic is muted.
Parker.
Sorry, my microphone was working. I don't know why it wasn't.
That's okay.
Whatever. So we were telling you why Harris was a preferable candidate, and we were asking why you think Trump is a preferable candidate. And
well, I, at this point, I already told you why I voted the way I did. Now
can I hop in here real quick?
It's in
can I hop in here?
past.
Since you're going to interrupt Parker, I'm going to interrupt you.
Well, I was talking to you, Dean, not Parker at all.
Well, Parker's a part of the conversation. Stop bullying Parker. Wow, this is the divisive and hateful right. Now,
I was just literally. Okay.
You're being really
divisive
hateful. You're being
right.
really divisive. You're basically bullying him. Why is it okay to just like hate people because of their political affiliation?
I definitely
clearly, you're
hate
targeting him
Parker.
because he's a Democrat.
Nope, I think you guys are good people, and I think that you have good intentions. And
no, here's what I want to say. I think that your
you're
point's
young.
paradoxical. No, clearly I'm going to say that you're wrong for supporting Trump. And clearly I'm going to say so with conviction because of how harmful Donald Trump is. Now, I'm not saying you're necessarily I'm not saying that you're necessarily evil. I have 3 boxes I put people in. The first category is stupid. The second category is uneducated. And the third category is evil. If you support Trump, it is true that you are either stupid, ignorant, or evil.
Someone in your comments said, shut the fuck up and let him talk, Karen. It's just weird you let men or people talk to women like this, and I just don't appreciate it.
Oh,
That's
yeah. They asked me before they sent that message in the comment section. They sent me a text. They said, Dean, could I please tell her to shut the fuck up and call her Karen? And then I responded to their message. I said, yes, no, go ahead. You got my green light. I allow you.
They have to ask their cult leader.
Wait, now you're calling me a cult leader? Wow. This is a violent step up in the train of the dialogue. This is a very violent.
Democratic Party that wants to divide us. And
no, we could kumbaya. We could come together by rejecting Trump and upholding critical thought. We could kumbaya. We could kumbaya. We could agree that it's a bad thing to start a war of choice that costs us $1 billion a day as shot gas prices up sky high and the war never needed to happen in the
Donald
first
Trump
place,
is
and it's
our
a bad thing it
president.
killed
There's
168
nothing-
girls. We could come together if we could agree that it's a bad thing
I
to
don't
have
know, he
rapists
killed
as presidents.
168
We
girls,
could come together if we could agree it's a bad thing to have economic policy that's disenfranchising
and talking
marginalized
over
communities,
doesn't make you
taking
right.
healthcare away from 10 million low-income Americans and taking food stamps away from 3 million low-income Americans. We could agree that it's we could come together if we could agree that it's a bad thing for the president to restrict women and girls' access to abortion, leaving there to be 60 rape victims per day that are impregnated
Can we
in denied
agree
access
that
in 10
it's
over
bad
50
to
states
let men
and
into
68
women's restrooms
well
and
actually I don't even know if we could agree on that because you support a president who boasted about doing exactly that.
No, he didn't go and use a restroom next to children and take out his penis.
Exactly.
And wear a
He
dress.
didn't use the restroom. He barged in there to look at their naked bodies.
What the? Okay.
To boast
Dean,
about it. Say it was a
Dean,
good
real
thing
quick,
to do.
Really quick. I'm not going to go back on 2005 because, like I said, I really want to look forward to the future. And hopefully one day I can open up your guys' lives. And instead of asking people with freedom why they chose to vote for who they decided to vote for, maybe start panels coming together and bringing this country together. Because at the end of the day, Donald Trump's gone in 2 years. He's gone.
Well, it
He's long
seems
gone.
like unless you guys stop supporting him before 2 years,
you guys?
then we're not possibly going to be able to come together as a nation until then. We're not going to
You
be
know
able
what
to
I
come together
always
as a nation until this infestation is weeded
You
out of the
want me to
minds of
say
people like
something?
you.
Now I'm an infestation. You are just rude. I've said nothing rude to you. Not one thing. Parker, Dean, I really hope you guys have a really good day. This is just who you are. Have a good day. Bye.
Take care, Ash.
She like cut me off and said she wasn't gonna talk to me. Like, you did say rude things to me and not let me speak and not even try to engage in a conversation with me, but you can ignore that all you'd like.
She could also ignore how she called me a fucking cult leader. Wow, so hurt over words. So hurt over words. Thank you for the 10 Australian dollars over on Super Chat who says she doesn't care, says it all. I think that the biggest difference between Australia and America is that we tend to think collectively while you think individually, and don't bully Parker. That's nasty. Thank you for the $10, Mary. I think that Americans could really benefit from more collective thought. Daydream, thank you for the $50 donation on Super Chat. Show some massive, massive love to Daydream down below. Thank you so very much. You are the GOAT, Daydream. Daydream with a $50 says, it's ironic to hear these people say that they don't want a divisive country. They want everybody to come together and hold hands. We can once we have a president that isn't backed by white supremacists, Christian nationalists, and neo-Confederates. On God, Daydream. Thank you so much for the $50. Light, thank you for the $10. Who says, no justice, no peace. I will never find common ground with rapists and rape apologists. And then LeGray with the $10 says, honestly, if American bathroom stalls went from floor to ceiling, the wind would be taken out of the anti-trans movement. Yeah, just, dude, go to literally any country outside of America. Stalls, floor to ceiling. For the most part, they're even unisex, unistall, one person at one time. On Venmo, thank you, Haley, for the $5. I appreciate you, Christina, for the 67 cents, and Mark with the $3. Same thing to Brooklyn. Thank you for the $10. Who says, oh, Ash has filled herself with way too much Kool-Aid. OMG. Yeah, bro, she was gone. I'm not going to lie. And then Astro, thank you for the $15. Who says, I love putting on your lives while I nap. Gives me the best sleep to hear you demolish MAGA arguments. Dean for president. I'm so surprised that people use... Have you done, for those that were watching that have used the streams as background noise while you nap, can you tell me down below in the comment section? From my perspective, I think that's crazy because like low-key, I cortisol max on these streams. I think that sleeping is like the last thing I'd ever want to do. But maybe it's different from the perspective of a viewer. Allison, thank you for the $15. She says, don't read out loud. I'll keep that to myself. Thank you, Allison. Trinity, thank you for the 15 cents. And Veronica, thank you for the $20 on PayPal, who says, Dean, you and Parker are doing great, and I wish you both the best of luck. I wish more people would realize that all women want is a choice, and that we all will get, not that we will all get an abortion. I have been able to change a lot of people's minds through your videos. Thank you. Well, thank you, Veronica, for using what you learn here to change the minds of others. You're a fucking patriot. Thank you for the $20. Show some love to Veronica and welcome in Mary. Do you support Trump? Not Mary, sorry, Elizabeth.
Hello, Dean. Hello, Parker. Yes, I do, in fact, support Trump. I have been MAGA for quite a while now, ever since Trump has been elected for president. I am open to changing my mind because I do believe that I can definitely change my mind, but there is some MAGA things I do agree with. I don't agree with Trump as a person.
Yo, why are you
because in my
LARPing as a
opinion-
middle-aged white woman?
Dude! Parker, Dean, who's the top? Who's the top? Who's the top? Who's the top?
Bro, get off of Wattpad, for the love of God. We're gonna go get that next guest connected to the live stream. We got Christina loading up inside of the queue. Get off of... Dude, for the love of God, get off of Wattpad, bruh. It is rotting your brain. Actually destroying it. Christina, do you support Trump?
Hi, yeah, I do.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
What year were you born in, Christina?
2006.
And why do you support Trump?
I just think that there's some, like, ideologies, I don't know if that's the right word, that I agree with. Not necessarily with Trump as a person, but just being on right.
Like?
Well, what would you like to talk about?
The ideologies that you share with Trump.
It's more the economical stances rather than the social stances.
By the way, are you in America, Christina?
No.
Alright. Dude, the fact that you laughed, I think that you're just kind of like wasting our time. Maybe like you didn't laugh and you're like, nope, I'm from the UK. Is that fine? Then I would be okay with you staying on the live. Maybe I'd have a conversation with somebody that's international. I do that at least once a day, but it seems like they're just trying to troll. So we're going to go to get the next guest connected. Parker, I'm very grateful for you being here. I don't know what's going on with me. I woke up feeling like shit, super short of breath, couldn't fucking breathe, and a bunch of like body aches. And so I think I'm like starting to get like a cold or sick or something. So like this live stream has been painfully long.
Dude,
I'm just like
I bet.
grateful that you're here.
Oh my God, it's really hard to do whenever you're sick. So make sure to take some vitamin C if you can, zinc if you can. Make sure to stay hydrated, bro.
True.
Because it honestly, whenever you do kind of feel like that, I feel like that's just the onset precursor to the next feelings that are even worse the next day.
Yeah, it's pretty painful. It's pretty painful. All right. Let's see. Jacob, welcome into Sport Trump.
What's up? I'm from Canada. Is that okay?
I mean, are you a Trump supporter in Alberta?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk to you, dude. I'm down. I'll talk to some
All
Maple
right.
MAGA. Oh, Jesus, Jacob. Why?
What are your thoughts on the war in Iran? Do you support that or?
No,
do you
bro.
think
We're
that's
bad,
good,
bro.
or-
We're bad, bro.
Do you think he could run for 2028?
No, bro. It violates our constitution, bro.
But somehow.
No, there's no way to do it, bro. 23rd Amendment, bro.
Shit. Huh. Yeah, I just wanted to get on, but sorry for.
Mr. Maple MAGA, do you have any reasons for supporting Trump?
I think he just makes USA stronger. I think more respected.
He makes it more respected. No, he makes you respect us more. He doesn't make most people respect us more. You're
other
an
nations,
outlier.
I mean.
Listen, buddy,
Stronger.
you're an outlier here, my friend. Most people that are not in America disagree with you and think that Donald Trump is terrible and that he is the laughing stock of the world that makes America's aura significantly worse. Okay? So I understand that maybe you respect the U.S. more because of him. But, I mean, time and time again, international poll after international poll after international poll, people have significantly less respect for the United States of America because of Trump. Even your own country, bro. Most of your own country is straight up boycotting the import of American goods because of how little they respect us right now because of him.
Yeah, but even we're basically in a recession right now. So we're not doing too good either.
All right, bro. Well, then move to America and continue to support Trump and J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio for the next 20 years. So then you could be in a recession again. Because that's exactly what Donald Trump and the MAGA movement's done to the economy. It's so
Are you guys
bad,
not
dude.
doing good?
It's so much worse today than it was when Biden was president. Every single macroeconomic variable, jobs reports in the gutter, inflation way up, unemployment way up, bankruptcies way up, GDP growth actually down, real median wage growth actually down, investment in manufacturers way down. Every single quarter it goes down and down and down again. Wow, yeah, it's layoffs way up.
But
Highest level of unemployment and layoffs since the pandemic. Worst jobs
isn't
reported in 20 years of
USA
ignoring
doing
recessions.
good though?
No, everything is worse today than it was when Biden left office.
But
Every single thing
they're
is
still
worse.
number one in almost everything though. So how is that bad?
Listen, buddy, we could we'd probably still be number one by a while. What's the second largest country by GDP?
China.
Probably
Yes, it's China.
true.
I think like 18 trillion.
Yeah, it's 100% China. I think it's China, Japan, and then it's California, Germany.
Yeah, 20 trillion. 31 trillion. So our GDP could be cut by a third, and we would still be number one by GDP. So would you argue that if Donald Trump cut our GDP by a third, that we would still be fine? No, probably not.
Yeah. Well, really, as long as America just, like, I don't know, as long as Harris, I don't know, like, keep free speech and all that. Know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Kamala Harris wasn't one calling for people's execution because of what they had to say. That's Trump. Trump is anti-free speech.
You think that?
Oh, absolutely. He called for Democrats to be killed because of what they said.
Oh.
I don't think that
Where's
there's like
that
a
from?
Truth Social. He called for them to be hung because they reminded members of our military that they have an oath to uphold the Constitution, and if they're given an order that's illegal, they shouldn't follow it. Like,
But he
that's pretty
said
bad,
that.
though.
He said that, and that's recorded though. Like there's a
Yeah.
video of him saying that.
Yeah.
Really? Huh. All right, that's all I really want to talk about though.
Also, chat, I do know that California is not a state. I live, or not a country. I literally live in California myself. I was just trying to highlight the fact that they have the fourth largest economy in the world, even considering that they're a state, even compared to countries.
Yeah, dude, that's honestly kind of crazy. That fact is nuts. But I get it. There's so many different industries in California, dude. So many different industries.
Hey, everybody. Also, like, I believe in hundreds of continents, so it's like, what are you guys talking about?
Oh, that's good. Hey, listen, by the way, if you want to support me, if you want to support the live stream, everybody, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal and the link tree in my bio on TikTok. Pin message on YouTube, and the handle's also at the top of the phone screen on TikTok as well. That is, as I said, the very best way to support what we do, the very best way to ask a question, get a message across, roast the guests, get a shout out. It really does help us. Kathleen, thank you so much for the $20. Also, very interesting name, Kathleen. I don't think I've ever met a Kathleen before. Kathleen with the $20 says, I love watching Parker's commentary on your 1v20 debate on Jubilee. Appreciate both of you. Yeah, I saw that Parker had uploaded that. I honestly still need to check it out. I've heard a lot of good feedback to it. Mia with the $10 says, best sleep ever with a stream on. That's wild. Abby, thank you for the $15. She says, listening to your stream while I work is my version of listening to metal while lifting weights. Dude, honestly, I listen to debates when I work out too. I listen to debates. I listen to podcasts. I listen to like long form YouTube videos. I love it. It's literally my favorite thing ever because it's such a good way to distract yourself. SJ, thank you for the $25 donation on PayPal. That is very kind of you, SJ. Show some up to the goat, SJ, down below. It's good to see you today. Hope you're well. Juan, thank you for the $2. Billy Jane, thank you for the $10, who says, as a trans woman, I appreciate you defending our community from transphobes. I'd love to see you argue directly against them on the merit of why trans people are no threat in the restrooms instead of using Trump in the dressing room argument. Yeah, I'd be down for a debate specifically on that. I mean, I think that there's a really strong case to be made for why trans women should be able to use a women's restroom. Really strong case. And then Veronica, thank you for the $20, who says, I just had to give one more time to say that all of the other people I know in the other countries mock and laugh at the U.S. because of Dementia Donnie. To the rest of the people watching, just because the cult of Trumpies are allowed doesn't mean that they're right. Dean silences them every day. Go Dean. No, that's exactly what I was just going to say. Or I guess I was saying to that last guest. Trump is a laughingstock to everybody in the world, but the very minute amount of people that still support him. Daisy, good to see you. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
I do support Trump.
Daisy, you sound really young. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 18.
What year are you born in?
I was born in 2008.
What month?
March.
And why do you happen to
Just turned
support
18.
the very worst president of your life?
Okay, I 100% do agree with that, but I don't think that Kamala Harris was a much better option, personally. So,
Why?
So I lived in California as well. Hi, Parker. I lived in California until I was 13. So I was there while she was in pretty big power in California. And I was in a town that she was one of the people to help assist send a lot of homeless people into our town, which in turn made it to where our neighbors were bussed in. And they ended up making a meth lab that ended up burning my house down in California. So
You have to go
personally,
to the
I
next person, Dean. TikTok TOS.
Yeah, and by the way, in 2013, she was the AG of the state. How did the Attorney General let a bunch of people in? That makes no sense. But we got to kick her. She said the name of a DRUG, folks. We're going to go to get the next guest connected. Juliana, thank you so much for the $20 donation on Venmo. That is very kind of you, Juliana. And then Ashley, thank you for the $25 on Venmo as well. Thank you, Juliana and Ashley. Juliana with a 20 says, hypothetically, if you're given the chance to directly debate with Trump himself, would you take the opportunity? Yes. No, I'd absolutely take the opportunity. No doubt. And then Ashley with 25 says a trans woman in Kansas is facing prison time after changing her driver's license as per Kansas law because she doesn't pass as a man. Kansas heard itself in confusion. Oh my goodness, I feel so bad for her. Hopefully she's able to win on appeal and get them to drop the suit. Avery, thank you for the unicorn fantasy. Welcome in, John Doe. Do you support Trump?
I do.
John Doe? Ugh, why, bro?
Well, I think he's the best president we've had since Abraham Lincoln.
All right, you're a bot, dude. Actually, like, so unintelligent. Quickly, how many continents are there?
There are 7.
What are they? Name them.
Oh, shit. There's USA, Mexico,
There's
Asia.
2. There's 3.
Fuck, I don't know the others. I just know there's 7.
Okay, just like guess.
The USA.
Yeah, if you had to guess what the other 4 are, what would you say? Just straight up guess.
Russia.
Russia?
California.
What about California? And what about the other 2?
Shit. I couldn't even tell you, Dean. I just want to debate you about Donald Trump.
It's fine, bro. You were right with 5 of the 7. So you're actually I'll give you an A+, dude. You're basically all the way there.
All right, appreciate it.
So why do you support Trump?
Well, I think everything he does is really, really good, and I don't think he's a rapist.
Oh. So which one do you want to start with? How about this? What's your
Shoot.
favorite Trump policy?
Probably the abortion policy.
Oh, okay. You want to ban abortion? I have a question. Do you think that like
Yeah, I
dumb
do
people
wanna
are
ban
pro-choice and like smart people are pro-life?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So why are you pro-life? Because maybe because it's killing a baby.
Yeah, I think we should kill them all.
You think?
I think we.
What?
Yeah.
Who else
Yeah,
should we kill?
I think we should kill everyone.
We should kill everyone?
Yeah, we should kill all those babies.
I think they're trying to troll. I think that they were trying to troll. I just don't think that they were intelligent enough to pull it off. I don't know what the hell's going on. Let's go to get that next guest connected to the live stream. All up inside the box if you happen to be MAGA. Holy. Let's see here. On Super Chat, thank you so much for the $20. Calm down. Listen, I did read your message. I wish you the best of luck. I have had a couple of friends go through that, and I've heard some conflicting things. So just, always make sure that you're making decisions in accordance with what is beneficial for you is all that I'll say. But I'm really happy that the live streams are able to help you out. Thank you so much for the $20. Calm down. Let's get to an calm down W's.
Parker.
Okay. All right. Let's go to get the next guest connected. Only opposite of that queue if you happen to be MAGA. Let's see who's next. Yeah. Charlie, you've been in the queue all day, bro.
Oh, there we go.
Why do you want to debate me for a 25th time?
You guys have good memories. Let's remember that 10-year-old that came up, and you guys like, we need to kick this 10-year-old. And then Parker was like, I think when I was 10, I wasn't even sentient yet. And you're like, yeah, when I was 10, I should have been going outside. I wasn't obsessed with politics.
Did you buy the new Trump mobile phone?
But then you will let.
Did you buy the new Trump mobile phone?
There we go. I turned on my Wi-Fi.
I'm just. Did you buy the new Trump mobile phone?
Okay. So you guys are saying all of these things about 10-year-olds, how 10-year-olds should not be involved in politics, how 10-year-olds should be going outside, how when you were 10 years old, you were not even sentient. And then I will ask you if you think that a 10-year-old should transition. So you're saying at 10 years old, you guys were not sentient. You should not have been involved with politics because your brains were not fully developed and you could not handle all of that academic things, the more complex things. And yet you would let someone who is 10 years old transition. You guys are just so delusional. You guys are so delusional.
We got owned.
You guys are
owned,
absolutely
Parker.
so delusional.
We're getting
so
owned.
delusional.
We're getting
it's
owned
sad.
so hard right now, bro. It's insane,
sad.
Parker.
Yeah, dude, I can feel the own right now, Dean.
Wait, so what's your response? What's your response to that?
I don't know. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first, Parker?
Respond.
Up to you. You pick.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, 10-year-olds don't transition, lol. I think that the only transition that should be available to 10-year-old is like a social transition. I think that that's way too young. And I think that doctors would agree to start hormone replacement therapy, I would assume. Because in a lot of scenarios...
Yeah, the only thing available to a 10-year-old would be
that's not what I'm asking.
blockers in the case of like precocious puberty.
That's not what I'm asking.
Yeah,
so
yeah, maybe like puberty blockers in the place of like precocious puberty. And then even like when we are giving puberty blockers or hormone
No, you're not giving
therapy
anything. You're
to
not
trans
giving anything.
kids.
Let's talk in terms
One
of
moment,
doctors.
I'm going to mute you. Even when we are giving hormone replacement therapy or puberty blockers to trans kids, I want to make this point clear because I think that a lot of people on the right really misinterpret this point. Okay, you're right by saying that kids can't consent. I don't think that a child can consent to HRT. I don't think that a child can consent to puberty blockers. That's why cohorts of doctors make that decision in accordance with what they believe to be best off for the child.
Okay.
A child can't just go to the store and buy HRT. No. They're sitting down for like
really
close
don't
to a
care.
year with different therapists and
I don't
doctors
care.
and trained medical health professionals to make that decision for them because they can't consent.
Okay, so I'm going to rearrange this question because every time I bring up trans kids with you guys defer to doctors and you guys defer to the families. I'm going to ask each of you guys individually. I'll first start with Dean. When do you think it is acceptable for a kid to transition?
Whatever the doctors say. Whatever the trained medical health professionals say.
I'm saying you personally, if you had a kid,
yeah, my
personal
belief is whatever the consensus of trained medical health professionals is.
Okay, now let's bring up the 10-year-old that came on before here. You said that this 10-year-old should not be involved in this political discussion because it is way too complex for them. Yet you would let your 10-year-old daughter or son transition. That is utterly stupid.
Is that what the consensus of medical health professionals would say?
You guys are smart on abortion. You guys are smart.
I'm sure that in some scenarios, like medical health
taxes, a lot of
professionals
social
would say
issues.
that.
If you let go of this very, very slim issue, I'll tell you what, I go to a very, very liberal school. A lot of the people there are Democrats and they're liberal. They have some very good talking points. I have to give it to them. They have switched my mind on
This
a
guy's
variety
gonna
of
do
topics.
the whole you can't be reasonable unless you agree with me.
And I am saying that you guys hold to very, very, very crazy things just to attain to a very small portion of your followers. You guys are so scared of the backlash.
Wait, Charlie, hey buddy,
you
we're
guys
not trying
are so
to
scared.
portray a view to
Yes, you are.
followers. We're
Yes,
saying
you are.
what we think.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Is
Is it really
that's
that
bullshit.
complicated? Is it really
That's a
that
lie.
complicated for you to realize that we
That's
don't
a
just
lie.
form our opinions off
That's
of
a lie.
what people
and I'll
generally
tell
within
you,
an audience
and I
would
will
want,
tell
but
you
rather
how
what
I
we
know
think
that
is
that's a
true.
lie. I will tell you how I know that that's a lie. Because again, for the 5th time, when that 10-year-old came up here, you guys were so concerned for them because what we were talking about is way too complex for them. However, you would let a
understand those are
10-year-old
completely
who
different
cannot,
things of complexity.
you would let a
right there. And
10-year-old,
you are not
you would-
factoring in the doctor,
you would-
the parents. You're not
I don't give
factoring
a
in
shit
things that
about
were
what the
relevant to the
doctor says.
conversation.
If you would let your 10-year-old, let's just say in the future, you have a son or a daughter, and if right now you are sitting in your seat thinking to yourself that if I one day have a kid and at the age of 10 they are willing to transition and you are okay with that, do not have kids, please.
The only
beg
thing-
you.
I think
Do
kids,
not
I
have
think
kids.
10-year-old kids can
Do
have
not
an
have kids.
understanding of gender.
Do not have kids.
I would like to let you know real quick that the consensus of medical doctors is that 10 is way too early for any type
I
of
don't
medical
care what
transition.
doctors are saying. I'm saying
One moment. Of any type of medical transition, and only in very select and very specific cases will they give 10-year-olds puberty blockers that just delay the onset of puberty So then those medical health professionals have more time to like consider what is in like the best course of future treatment for this child, while also allowing that child to grow up a little bit. And I mean, studies have demonstrated that it reduces suicidality rates by upwards of 74%, reduces rates of self-harm by upwards of 50%. And it's just clearly a good thing to do. It is instrumentally rational to do insofar as the insofar as the future course of the outcomes of that child's life. And that's why I say I defer to the consensus of medical doctors. It seems like medical doctors agree with you. It's obviously insane to give surgical transition to a 10-year-old. It's obviously insane to even give HRT to a 10-year-old. At that point, only in limited scenarios will doctors say that they should be on puberty blockers so we could have more time to observe the outcomes and allow this child time to talk to different therapists and allow a greater group of trained medical health professionals to make
I'm
a
saying I
decision.
do not give a shit about any of what you
and
just
that's
said.
okay.
I'm
that's,
saying.
I mean, that's my position. So
let
why do
me-
you support
now
Trump?
Let me ask you a question. So you support you I.
I'm sorry, Charlie. I don't give a shit about what you're saying.
So true.
Someone up on your live could come up here
I'm
and
sorry,
ask
Charlie.
you a variety of.
We don't give a shit, Charlie.
Sorry, Charlie. I just didn't care what you just said.
I'm
then.
telling you why. I'm telling you why. You guys can tell me why you don't give a shit after I tell you why I don't give a shit. I'm saying people will come up on your live stream each and every day and
Wait,
ask
why
you guys
should we
a
even
variety
listen to you if
of
you're not gonna
questions.
engage?
However, when it comes to this very specific topic,
Wait. I'm sorry. Like, honestly, I don't care.
you are so scared to engage.
Honestly, Charlie, I don't care.
You
Bro,
are so
I
scared
just
to engage.
engaged
Now I'm
with
scared.
it.
I'm doing the
asking
same thing
you.
you were doing, so that means
I'm
you're
asking
scared,
you.
buddy.
I just
Listen,
That means
engaged
you were
with
scared
it.
of Dean's argument.
Yeah, Charlie, you can't be saying that we're scared to engage with it because when I just engaged with it, you just interrupted me and told me that you didn't give a shit.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay,
I'm
but
gonna tell you
obviously I
exactly
wasn't
why.
scared
I
to
don't
engage
care.
with what you're asking me, right?
No, you are because you're trying to switch the topic already.
What?
Okay, so I'm going to
So
tell
it's
you
only
exactly
it's
why.
only that we are scared, but it's not that he's scared. Even though I was doing exactly what he was doing, just to prove to him that he thinks that it's going to be you're scared if you're not engaging or whatever. You see how he applies a different standard to us than he
Yeah.
applies to himself.
Yeah, then he also accused me of like switching the topic in my response. I literally tried my best to give him a direct, succinct response about if I'd be okay with like my 10-year-old child, seeking like medical transition. I thought I was very clear. I said I just defer to the consensus of medical doctors, and that consensus seems to be that 10 years old is way too early for a medical transition in the sense of hormone replacement therapy. And in a vast majority of
Can I talk?
scenarios,
I haven't talked in a while.
they'll just endorse social transition. And
So if
a
I were to
minute
ask
amount of
you about
scenarios-
abortion,
Charlie,
and
I'm
if
going
I
to kick
would-
you if you keep on interrupting me. In a minute amount of scenarios, they will possibly endorse puberty blockers. So then the therapists and the medical doctors have more time to think about what is best for the future outcomes of that child. And I mean, I think that the data describes a type of reliance here on the consensus of medical health professionals as definitely very, very beneficial to the future outcomes of children. Because, I mean, study after study after study conducted based on the data demonstrates that this consensus of medical health professionals has been able to successfully reduce the suicidality rate of children by like a large amount. Same thing with successfully reducing the self-harming rate of children by a large amount. So because it seems like this consensus of doctors is leading to very positive outcomes for children, I'm going to trust the consensus of doctors. Now, like, for instance, I'm trying to be really good faith here. If you had evidence to demonstrate that the consensus of doctors as it relates for how and what to do with children that are trans led to negative outcomes, maybe a study to demonstrate that actually increases the suicidality rate, maybe it actually increases the self-harm rate, maybe it actually increases long-term negative outcomes, I would be very willing to change my mind here because my belief is data-driven. It's not driven based upon what I think is true. It's not driven based upon what I want to be true. It is driven based upon what the data proves to be true. So you could change my mind on the subject by giving me data that represents the vast majority of all medical health professionals have had it wrong in the way that they respond to trans kids. And if it makes the outcomes for those trans children worse, for them to be on HRT at a very young age, to be on puberty blockers under the age of 18, so on and so forth, I will happily endorse the view that therefore they shouldn't be able to access that. Because once again, I'm just concerned with the outcomes for the future of that child.
Okay, I will tell you that puberty is a very critical time for any child developing in throughout stages, and that usually is happening around the exact ages are not known specifically because it varies per child. But let's just say a child at the age of 12 takes puberty blockers. This is a very vital time. Let's just pretend that this person is a male. The pituitary gland is developing. The pituitary gland is responsible for hormonal growth, which allows for the bone density to increase, which allows for height to increase, which allows for semen, which allows them to reproduce. All of these things are very vital. If they are put on puberty blockers, this stagnates that growth and reproduction in an unnatural way. I'm saying that sometimes it can be natural, sometimes it can be an unnatural. In terms of puberty blockers for trans kids, that is an unnatural thing to exist. If this in return reduces their hormones, it reduces their testosterone. It reduces their bone density. It requires their pituitary gland to become confused at a very vital time for development. Again, this pituitary gland is very important for long-term growth. It is very important for their long-term reproductive health. There are cases, and I can point you to studies that show that puberty blockers, whether that is in terms of trans kids or not trans kids, can have effects long-term for their reproductive organs, for their reproductive sperm counts. That is very true. Just sperm hormone blockers in general. And I'm saying that just use common sense. You have a kid about to reach the age of puberty. You put them on puberty blockers. That you cannot just say that everything will be okay in the end. If you put them on puberty blockers, that is detrimental to not only their short-term health, there's very unknown long-term health consequences that can come with that. So all I'm saying is, if you want to be trans, that's okay. Let's wait until after the age of 18 when you can make that choice for yourself. I'm saying that parents are very, very influential. We can also get into psychology. There are attachment theories. If kids do not feel secure at home...
Are you just going to yap forever? I'm sorry, you're going to wait till after the point where puberty is completely done? I'm sorry.
Saying...
This is determined by a doctor, by someone who actually has some sort of understanding of the medical science right now.
Push back to what I said.
Are you someone that has a degree?
Push back to what I said. Push back to what I said.
Charlie, do you have a degree at all?
I'm working for a degree right now.
You're working for a degree. So would you take the consensus of people who are working in your field to be a legitimate consensus that determines the truth?
I have to say that there is a great distinction between what someone knows and what is morally
correct. I asked a question.
And that is the distinction that needs to be made. Would I trust?
Do you trust and accept
on a general basis? Yes,
it depends.
You're studying. It entirely depends on what subject it is. And the subject that I am studying, yes.
Okay. So within medical sciences, do you accept the consensus?
Can I add on?
What field do you not accept the consensus?
No, I'm saying that if you were to take a trans kid to, I would say 50 different psychologists, if you would take a trans kid to 50 different psychologists, I would say the majority of them would not be willing to say that that child should transition. So you guys are saying we need to refer to the medical consensus. I'm saying that the medical consensus in general, before the age of 18, they would not feel comfortable allowing that child to transition. However, these parents take them.
That's just not true.
However,
that's just not true.
Yes,
like,
it
you're
is
completely
true.
lying.
True.
You're completely lying. You're completely trying to go around the facts. The facts of the matter are that in these specific cases, it's determined by the medical health professionals that are going to determine that for each individual circumstance, let me be hyper specific, for each individual circumstance,
why should we leave that up to the doctor?
Can I please finish?
Yes.
The risk-benefit analysis, because the risk-benefit analysis is different depending on the individual. Okay, so again, what's going to be hyper-contextual to that individual, what's going to be best for them, is not to be determined by Charlie here on TikTok, but rather to be determined by medical health professionals, the parents, and the kid themselves all together. It's not going to just be one person. Also, again, for puberty blockers, that's given in situations specifically mostly for precocious puberty. And you agree, again, that in those circumstances, that medical professionals with parents should be able to determine that that's a good situation to provide, correct?
Something that natural versus unnatural is not really.
Wait. By the way, that would be unnatural.
That I'm talking about.
The use of puberty blockers, the use of any sort of medical intervention is unnatural in of itself. Just because something is unnatural doesn't mean it's wrong. You're doing something on TikTok right now that is unnatural. You're talking to us. Do you see that happening in nature?
I'm saying that we cannot point to niche circumstances in which one thing would be considered positive to society and point to other niche situations and expect that to also be positive to society. They have complete distinctions in their way in which they function, so we cannot compare them. That is a false comparison entirely.
Wouldn't you say anything then why are you talking about trans people? Why did you bring up trans people? Isn't that what you would deem as a niche group of society?
What are you talking about? Did you not hear anything that just
When
came
you
out of
say
my mouth?
niche, you mean a
I'm
low
saying,
percent, right?
I'm saying that we cannot compare something that is not comparable to something else. Just because two people are doing something similar, that does not mean that those people are doing the same exact thing with their end goals and their ultimate motive while doing that something. So if we're looking at
What
someone
are
that
you
is taking,
saying?
if we're looking at someone that is taking puberty blockers because they are experiencing puberty at a very early age, we cannot then compare that specific circumstance to a kid that is transitioning. Those are entirely different circumstances, and they have to be looked through different lenses.
No, the basis is that a doctor, the parents, can determine whether or not the risk-benefit analysis shows the kid should be able to get access to puberty blockers or not.
Can you
That's
guys
what
just
we were
listen?
establishing.
Can you guys just listen? Just use common sense. Let me talk for 30 more seconds, then you guys can talk.
Didn't I just let you talk?
By the way, I
okay.
found a really good resource here from Science for Georgia. Check it out, scienceforgeorgia.org. Look up dispelling myths around puberty blockers. I think that they offer some really good resources. So they first kind of lay out the WPATH standard of care for when minors can be eligible for puberty blockers. And this would require a demonstrated and long pattern of diagnosed gender dysphoria. This would also require doctors to address any coexisting mental, physical, or social problems that could possibly be causing these feelings outside of gender dysphoria, alongside with about a billion other things, including a recommendation to allow minors to start the first stage of puberty and to determine if gender dysphoria does dissipate with the onset of puberty or if it worsens. So basically what I'm seeing is actually before doctors will allow a child to access puberty blockers, they make them start puberty and they make them get through the first phase of puberty.
So you guys are against
so
that
we're
from what you just said
reducing,
previously.
one moment. So we're reducing the likelihood of issues with bone density and fertility. And we also allow them to start puberty so we could empirically identify if that sense of gender dysphoria gets better or maybe gets worse. And dissipates as they grow out of adolescence. Now, even if they determine that at that time, then they need access to the puberty blockers, well, they will only give them puberty blockers for a very specific amount of time. Because studies have demonstrated here, and this is actually one of the studies that the website links, to a long-term detriment to bone density.
Hey, thanks for the
as
galaxy.
an impact of long-term puberty blocker use. However, to account for that, they mitigate that issue by not allowing for long-term puberty blocker use in trans youth. And then they also address some of the claims about infertility, and that studies prove that if they allow the children to start Tanner 2, which is the first stage of puberty that we already went over, then there are no long-term impacts on fertility. I mean, I think that's actually a pretty good resource. I think it addresses a lot of the things that you said and really does once again demonstrate why earlier I said, I'm just going to trust what the consensus of doctors is.
Thanks for the galaxy. Okay, now let me calm down a little bit. I'm just very passionate about this issue because it annoys me a lot when people intelligent as you guys, I'm not saying that you guys are only holding to it to support a niche percentage of your followers. That's just my own personal opinion.
I just think that doctors know more than non-doctors.
I'm not saying that,
as it
but I'm
relates to
saying it.
medicine.
Okay. However, Parker did say earlier, he like yelled at me and says, so you think that children should not have access to this after they had already started puberty? And then you just gave me that article, and the article showed that these children...
I did not say after they already started. I
Yes,
said
you
after
did.
puberty
Yes,
was
you did.
already over.
Yeah, and
That's
you
what
acted like
said.
I was crazy. You acted like
I
was
said
crazy
after
for that
puberty
take.
was already over.
By
You
the way,
understand the distinction between that
just-
and what Dean just talked about, where it was specifically not the whole entirety of puberty?
Using puberty blockers after puberty is over won't do anything because puberty is over.
Okay. Parker acted like I was crazy for suggesting that kids should not be taking this, or you know what I'm trying to say. He was
Charlie
saying,
didn't listen to what you just said, Dean. You just didn't get it.
No, I did get it. But however, now you're changing your point of view because Dean provided this article that kind of initially went against what you guys were saying, and now you're trying to act like
this
you're
whole
using
time.
this article
This
to
whole
further
time I've
support
been
your
saying that I just kind of put trust in the consensus
Dean,
of medical health
okay,
professionals.
I can
That's the
promise
first thing
you
that
without
I
a
told
shadow of doubt. I can promise you without any hesitance in my voice that if you were a father, you would not be referring to medical doctors when your child is asking these questions. At some point, you are the father of the
Obviously,
house.
what?
You and your wife will consult with people. However, just because your child and your doctor tell you something, you have the ultimate authority over your child. And if your doctor is telling you that your child needs to transition because they don't feel socially accepted, that because they're depressed, I am telling you that at some point you will disregard that because you are doing what's best for your child. And you know deep down in your heart that at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you are not going to let your child transition. So that's why I'm saying
Yeah,
you are holding
if my
towards a
child
niche group of
if
your
my child
audience.
had been speaking to therapists for years, and the therapists have determined that they have gender dysphoria, and then they were diagnosed with gender dysphoria,
At what
and then
age?
we started talking to back and forth between doctors, and then all these doctors came to the conclusion, in accordance with the guidelines set forth by WPATH,
Okay, perfect.
that there's no underlying mental, physical, or social issues that could be causing this sense. And then the doctors were like, well, let's examine the onset of puberty in this child. Let's see if it makes the feelings better or if it makes the feelings worse. Okay. And then all of a sudden the feelings gets worse. They've accounted for confounding physical, mental, and social issues. Then I think I would be okay with that child going on.
Okay, perfect.
Not long-term, but short-term puberty blockers to give them more time to identify if this is genuinely how they feel. I'd be
perfect.
fine
So-
with that. But once again, it just have to be in accordance with what the doctors say. It have to be in accordance with what WPATH
Yep, I
says.
understand
It
your
has
point.
to be in accordance with a medical
Okay.
consensus. And by the way, I'd just like you to keep this in mind, because I'm not done speaking yet. It's absolutely performative for you to say, oh, well, now we're going to hate and call out and demean and ridicule Dean and Parker for saying that they want to trust the doctors. But I'm actually going to support
give you
somebody as
hypothetical.
president that sexually exploited kids.
Oh yeah, change it. Pivot. I have a hypothetical for you.
I'm
So
demonstrating your own
before
hypocrisy.
you can pivot,
when
before you can
Dean
pivot,
says he's
pivot,
going to trust the
pivot.
medical consensus when it relates to the better health outcomes
Pivot.
for their child, because the medical consensus have demonstrated better outcomes for children in general, Dean's a bad guy. But when
pivot.
Donald Trump barges into the dressing rooms of naked
Okay,
children
pivot.
to sexually exploit them and look at their naked bodies, you know what? In
Okay,
fact,
before we
Trump isn't a
pivot-
bad guy at all, and let's make him president. And the reason why this isn't a pivot is because it's very genuinely and specifically pointing out your hypocrisy, where apparently you think that intermittent use of puberty blockers in accordance with the medical consensus, WPATH guidelines, and therapists is a bad thing for children, but sexual exploitation is what? A good thing for children? I think that's the only way you could justify making somebody who's done that to kids president. I think that's the only way you could justify making somebody who's done that to kids the most powerful man alive. I think that's the only way you could justify somebody who's done that and then proudly boasted about it, the leader of the United States of America, right? It just seems like you're very selective with what you're okay with people doing
Can I
to
talk
or not
now?
doing
I
to
haven't
kids.
talked in 5 minutes. Okay, so you guys were.
Dean, I like how it's a pivot for you to bring up the main topic of the stream, but it's
Holy
not
cow,
a
I
pivot
haven't
for him to
talked.
pigeonhole us into a conversation about trans people
talked.
for 30
Yeah.
minutes
I
on a
haven't
stream
talked.
about
I-
why you support Trump.
I mean, honestly, I've enjoyed the conversation about
Okay.
like not hormone replacement therapy,
Yeah, 'cause-
puberty
'cause I've
for trans
educated you.
youth.
I've
No, because
educated
I've
you.
educated myself based upon the resources that I've shared. Because after looking through
I've
these
educated
resources,
you through this conversation.
One moment. Because after looking at these resources, I mean, I think that it, has like clarified a lot for me over like when and where these things are used. So, I mean, I actually I'm not super mad you pigeonholed us into this conversation because it's been good to look
Okay,
at these
perfect.
resources. But why don't you go ahead and respond to what I said, please?
No. Before we pivot, I have one more question to ask.
Wait,
on the
I
topic
described
we
to you how
usually
that
talk
wasn't a
about.
pivot. Can you please address
So-
my description insofar as why it's not a pivot and debunk it?
Yes, so I'm going to ask you a hypothetical. So your,
Oh wait,
your,
no, this is
son
not
comes to you
you.
at the age of
this
6.
This is not
They say
you.
that they
One
wanna
moment.
transition.
No. You specifically accused me of pivoting. I want you to demonstrate how my explanation of how that was not a pivot is false.
Okay, perfect. I will. So we were talking about kids transitioning, and then I was going to ask you a hypothetical. I said that I wanted to ask you a hypothetical, and then you started talking about Trump and how he has sexually exploited children. And then you related it to trans kids because you said that I'm so focused on trans kids. However, I should be focused on the president of the United States who is each and every day exploiting children, and he's walked into the changing rooms and has seen naked women and children. I should be more focused on that.
You're already
However,
wrong with
I
my
first
point.
want to.
I said that you're very hypocritical with what treatment you think is good or bad for kids.
I don't think I think I call a strike where a strike is, and I call a ball where a ball is. However, we're not done with the conversation I had initially started with you. I want to ask you one more hypothetical.
That's fine.
And
Go
then
ahead
after that,
and
we can
go ahead
move
and
on.
ask me your last hypothetical.
Okay, there we go. So your child comes to you at the age of 6.
Yeah.
They say, "Dad, I just don't feel socially accepted right now. I feel like the gender that I'm in," and they're saying this in 6-year-old terms, the gender that I'm in is not necessarily the gender I feel comfortable with.
Mhm.
The next birthday, they come to you at the age of 7. They do this at the age of 7. However, this time they're explaining in a bit more detail. They do at the age of 8. They do at the age of 9. You're like, okay, maybe my child has gender dysphoria. Throughout these 4 years, I've explained to you, they have been going to a psychologist and they have been speaking with a psychologist each and let's just say once a week. And the psychologist has told you from these conversations that we've had with your kid, we think that your kid should go on hormone replacement therapy and that they should start taking these hormone blockers.
Do you mean puberty
So
blockers?
now you have the doctor's consensus.
Do you mean puberty blockers?
Puberty, yeah,
go
not
ahead.
hormone replacement therapy. So puberty blockers. And so now you have the doctor's consensus. You have the child who's only at the age of 10. However, the doctor has told you that they are experiencing gender dysphoria. So now your daughter, let's just say it's your daughter, because that makes it a bit more probably emotional for you. So you have your daughter. Are you going to let your daughter at the age of 10, because the doctor's consensus said that they have gender dysphoria, will you let your 10-year-old daughter take puberty blockers? Yes or no?
Yeah, I would let that child take puberty blockers for a small amount of time after 10 or 2 stage of puberty has started.
At the age of 10. Wow. That is so incredibly sad. That is just so sad that you as the father...
medical outcomes of the doctor's consensus produce better outcomes for the child. If you could demonstrate to me that this would not produce better outcomes for the child, I would happily revise my answer to no.
Okay, I will tell you why it will not produce better outcomes for a child.
Well, I'm asking you like specifically for like resources.
Wow,
on
when
that.
you support a rapist. Honestly, this is the most embarrassing shit ever,
It's
dude.
like-
Holy shit. You're really saying wow for Dean's like, oh,
I
I'm
am.
gonna trust the
I am.
medical science.
I am
on the
saying
matter.
wow.
I'm gonna trust what's gonna be best for my
Yeah.
kid based on what doctors who
I
know
am
what's
s-
best
I'll
in
tell
this
you why.
scenario is going to be what's best for my child. Now, let me just be very clear.
I'll
You're
tell you
willing
why.
you're willing to completely overlook Donald Trump sexually exploiting kids. You're completely okay with him saying he dated a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, him being held civilly liable
pivot.
for sexually abusing
Pivot
women,
again.
him having 27 plus
Pivot
people have
again.
accused him of sexual misconduct, him preventing the release
job,
of the
Parker.
Epstein files, even though he's legally obligated to release all of them. All of those things you're willing to overlook, and you want to
Good job,
pigeonhole us into a
Parker.
conversation specifically
Yes.
just about
Yes, I
trans
do.
people, but you're gonna say, "Wow, oh my God!"
tell you
Dean,
why.
How could you trust
I'll
what
tell
the
you why.
doctors say is best for your child in a situation where they've
I will
clearly
tell you
indicated
why.
that what's
I will
best
tell
for
you
them is
why
that
my
they take puberty
reaction is
blockers?
saying
Oh my
wow.
God! How dare you do that, Dean?
I will tell you why my reaction is saying wow. Because you guys are very intelligent people. You guys know a ton about literally
I'm sorry,
everything.
Charlie.
You guys
I'm
can
not
debate
convinced that
on
you
a
are.
variety
If you think I'm
of
so
topics.
intelligent, then I don't think you are. So do
I
you take
think
that
you
as
guys.
an intelligent
I think you
remark?
guys are super intelligent. However,
I think you're
that's
not.
some. Okay, thank you for. I wasn't talking about my intelligence. I was saying I think you guys are very intelligent people. However, it just makes me a little bit annoyed by the fact that you can't recognize the sheer disaster in which letting a 10-year-old, again 10 years old, who doesn't know their favorite color, who doesn't know what outfit they want to wear, who doesn't
Yeah.
know what their favorite video game is,
Yeah.
who is socially and emotionally not mature enough to make any
Well, actually, I'd like to
decisions.
clarify.
That is sad.
I'd like to clarify that now you're changing the hypothetical question that you asked me.
And the doctor. And the doctor.
The
doctor's
reason
approval.
you're changing the hypothetical question that you asked me is because now you're talking about what the child knows. Wait, but the hypothetical question that you asked me wasn't about what the child thinks they know, but is what the therapist, the psychologists, and the
child
doctors
plays a huge
have
part in
claimed
making
to
that
determine based upon what the child has said. And I'd like to clarify here that what a child says and what medical health professionals conclude based upon what a child says are two very different things. And by the way, yeah, the reason why my answer to that question was yes is because research from the JAMA, that's the Journal of the American Medical Association, is demonstrating that the short-term use of puberty blockers after the start of 10 or 2 phase of puberty for
I said
trans
10.
youth after a diagnosis of Yeah, I thought that was in the pre-assumption of them following the WPATH guidelines. So I thought this might be precocious puberty.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, at the age of 10. Most
Yeah.
people are not hating puberty at the age of 10.
Okay, well
yeah,
then
which
that
would
wouldn't
then
be
be precocious puberty.
Oh, so then that wouldn't be the consensus of medical doctors. So I'd say no. I think that it's actually important for 10 or 2 age of puberty to start yet. So there's not any
Okay, so
long-term negative
I'm
outcomes.
just kind of curious. So if the medical consensus of doctors supports something that you disagree with, you would support it, therefore, because it is the general consensus of medical doctors. I'm
Can
not
you repeat that,
asking you
please?
what the Okay, I'm not asking you what the medical consensus of doctors is. I'm asking you what you
Okay.
personally think.
Okay,
and
yeah,
I can bring
well,
up very
what I think is reflective of their consensus. By the way,
okay,
recognize how
but-
you said that you had one last question for me, and now after 4 more questions, you're still accusing us of pivoting when we want to point out your hypocrisy. But what I was trying to say
Okay.
there is that
Can
the
you point out
research
my
done by the
hypocrisy?
one
Point
moment
it out.
is that the research done by the JMA has demonstrated that short-term use of puberty blockers after the start of Tanner 2 phase of puberty has demonstrated 60% lower odds of depression and 73% lower odds of self-harm or suicide. So, like, yeah, of course, if the guidelines constructed by WPATH, the guidelines constructed by the medical consensus therapists and psychologists say that if we do it in this very specific way, so we mitigate any long-term negative outcomes like a lack of bone density or a lack of fertility, and we make sure that it's short-term, and doing these things will mitigate the chance of depression by upwards of 60% and mitigate the chance of self-harm or suicide by 73%. Like, yeah, I'd probably be on board with that. Not gonna lie.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Can you tell me how I was a hypocrite, though? I'd love to know that.
Yeah, because it seems to be the case that you think it's bad when children are given medical care based upon the consensus of the medical society in accordance with what is produced, demonstrated, and provable better long-term outcomes for that child. But you don't think it's bad when Donald Trump barges into the dressing rooms of naked women and girls to sexually exploit them. That seems pretty hypocritical.
That's bad.
Oh, you do think that?
When did I say? When did I say that I didn't?
Oh
think
wow.
that it
Okay,
was
so
bad?
because you said that you support him as president, so you do think it's bad when Donald Trump sexually exploited naked women and girls. That's cool. Well, because he's a sexual predator of kids, can't we agree that he shouldn't be president?
I think that as of now, I wouldn't necessarily support Trump. However, I think I support him more than the other party because, again, of these issues that you guys can't let go of. Let go of 5 issues, I'm a Democrat. But people like you and Parker that don't let go of these issues, it really pisses me off. It really makes me mad. I can't even. Actually, I'm not going to pivot. I won't pivot.
I
But
voted
yeah.
for the adjudicated rapist because I don't like this position
Wait.
that Dean and Parker had.
Wait, I just want to clarify that you'd rather side with the party that thinks that we should force 9-year-old girls that were raped and impregnated to carry that child and give birth, leading
I
to
don't
significantly higher suicidality rates,
I don't
leading
agree
to
with that.
significantly higher depression rates, leading to literal child torture, compared to like me who's just saying, well, based upon this research from the JMA, it actually reduces suicide by 73%, self-harm by 73%, and depression by 60%. But we just have to make sure that we're honoring these very specific guidelines in accordance with the WPATH. Like, you'd rather side with the right than the left on that issue?
You just mentioned something that is very severe, so I'd like you to provide a statistic on that because I am a Republican, I'm a conservative, and I do not think that someone who has been raped at the age of 9 or raped any age should be forced to carry that child.
Charlie
so I think
Kirk
you're
did.
associating.
Charlie Kirk did.
Am
That
I
was
Charlie
a
Kirk?
huge
Am I Charlie Kirk?
Republican
Am
influencer
I-
that existed that thinks that,
Am I Charlie
and
Kirk?
you act like that's not a prevalent view.
So you're
on the
saying
right.
that because one person thinks
Donald
it,
Trump thinks-
everyone thinks it.
Oh, Charlie, you're saying
Oh.
just because one person thinks this doesn't mean it's an entire
You're saying
critique
that
of an entire
everyone
party?
thinks
Well, then
it.
can't you say that same thing about what you said about
Why are
me
you
and
so
Dean?
mad?
How you
You're
can't be a
pissed.
Democrat
Yeah.
because you disagree with Parker and
You are
Dean's
pissed.
fucking views?
And by the way, that's
You are
also true.
pissed
Like,
right now.
I'm sure that there's like probably like people like in the Democratic Party that disagree with me and Parker's take there. Like, I'm
Yes, that's my problem with it. I'm saying because of people like you who are the voices behind the Democratic Party are the ones promoting these
Was
issues.
Charlie
if you actually
Kirk not
look,
the biggest
if
voice
you-
behind the Republican
Okay.
Party and in the influencer sphere online?
Okay,
Wait.
let me say what I was
Charlie
going to say because
Kirk
you just completely
not like
you
larger
just
than
completely
me
cut me off.
in like every measure before he died? Before Charlie Kirk died, in every single measure, Charlie Kirk was more meaningfully impactful on the right than I am meaningfully impactful on the left, right?
Yes, but he's not near as big as some of the politicians that I'm having in mind, like Gavin Newsom, AOC, Pete Buttigieg, all of these different people who are also
Oh.
supporting these things in the Democratic Party.
Okay, so then
I'm
this is where
saying-
we point out the president who gave the ability to all
The
states
president
to
is
ban a 9-year-old
pro-choice.
girl's access
Trump
to
is
abortion
pro-choice.
when they're
Trump
raped.
is
And
pro-choice.
then the
He is
10
pro-choice.
50 states, the 10 of our 50 states where Republican governors and Republican leadership acted upon that leeway given by the president and then actually banned rape victims' access to abortion.
Okay, so there has been a variety of people who have had conversations with Trump behind closed doors who have come out and spoken out against Trump, who are conservative, saying behind closed doors, Trump is saying that he is so annoyed with the Republican Party because we are so pro-life and he is pro-choice.
It
So
doesn't
you're saying
matter
that
what he
Trump-
says behind closed doors. It matters what he does through his policy in the open. And what he has
And you
done
don't
with
think
his
it should be left
policy in
up
the
to the
open
states?
is no, absolutely fucking not. Is he's
Okay, but
given the
there's been
full
more
and complete
abortions when it's been
presidential
left up to
ability.
the states.
Yeah,
There's-
I care about access to abortion, not the amount of abortions.
Okay.
I like the amount of abortions. I don't give a fuck about that. I care about access to abortion.
Okay, and I think that I'm pro-choice. I think that people should have access to abortions if they want to. Do I think that it's morally wrong myself? Yes. And do I think that ultimately all abortions should be lowered? Yes. However,
Okay,
again,
do you agree that
people
Trump
like you
gave the
and
ability to
Parker-
the states to ban a 9-year-old rape victim's access to abortion?
The ability to the states, yes, I believe that.
Do you
Yes.
agree that then
And I
some
think that
Republican
that's wrong.
states acted off of that to then ban 9-year-old rape victims' access to abortion?
And I think that that's wrong. Yes, I can agree with that.
So what's the
However,
difference between
I
your
think-
claim that I never be a Democrat? Because I
However-
think that you, Dean, and Gavin Newsom are sometimes okay with puberty blockers for youth in accordance with the medical consensus and WPATH guidelines that reduce suicide, self-harm, and depression, as proven by the JMA's findings. And what I'm saying, well, on the right, seems like the president gave the ability to the states to basically torture children by preventing their access to abortion when they're raped. And then 10 Republican states then passed policy to torture children by banning their access to abortion when they're raped. And also, do you think that there are more children that are trans and receive puberty blockers from doctors, or children that are raped and impregnated and then denied access to abortion by Republican states?
We're talking about children under the age of 18?
Yeah, a child is somebody under the age of 18, my friend.
Yeah, then I think that it would be pretty close in those statistics.
Oh, okay. So
Uh,
you'd actually say that there is a very similar level of influence here that both the
But I
left
don't
and the
think it-
right
I
are
don't think
driving
it-
on children.
I
So
don't think it
tell me,
matters to-
what influence do you think is worse, since you think they exist at the same levels?
I
The
think
minute
that
amount
it's
of
way
influence
worse
from
if
the
someone gets
left
raped.
giving
It's way
children.
worse if someone gets
Okay. So
raped.
then you
Yes,
actually
way
think
worse.
here that the left is preferable to the right, even in this circumstance.
saying-
You think
I'm
that?
saying
Do you,
that when
would
we
you
were looking
agree?
at Roe
Would you
v.
agree that
Wade-
everything that we just discussed, the left is preferable to the right?
No, no, because if
Wait,
we look at Roe
but
v.
in
Wade
the
and we
sense,
look at
the left
general
causes
if we-
less harm
can,
to
can
children.
I ever talk? You just keep asking back-to-back questions. Want to answer the questions? You're asking me a
just
new one.
know that
I'm
in
saying
accordance with your
when we
standard,
look
you
at
think that
Roe
the
v.
left
Wade
causes
and we
less
look
harm
at
to
the general
children.
consensus, and if we look at what was deemed constitutional, something like abortion should have been left up to the states to begin with.
You
and
think
now
that it
that
should
it is
have?
left up. Now that it is left up to the states, do I think that it should be left up to the states? Personally, I do not think so. However, we live in the United States of America, and just because I don't think that something should be acceptable does not mean that it should be acceptable for someone else. However, I'm going to call out when something is wrong, and I'm going to call out when something is okay. And do I think that people should have access to abortion if they get raped? Absolutely, 1000%. Do I think that in small cases, people are getting raped and not having access to abortion? Yes. And do I think that it is disgusting?
There's 60
yes.
rape victims per day that are
However,
raped, impregnated, and denied access to abortion. That's not small, buddy.
You said kids. You said kids.
This includes women and girls. But
Okay,
even if
but
it's,
you were
let's just
saying-
assume that
Yes,
40,
okay,
that
it
59%
doesn't
of those
matter. That's what I'm
scenarios are with
saying.
women,
It's
and
still
one of them
gross
was with a
either way.
girl.
But
One
you said
girl a day
kids.
is not
That's why I
small
said
in the
the stats would be
slightest.
close. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the statistic would be close because you were saying we were comparing kids to kids. I'm saying that it is disgusting even to compare them. So I don't even know why you would ask me what the percentage of the comparison was. I don't think that the comparison matters. I think that
The reason why the
disgusting, and I don't
comparison
wanna
matters
compare
is
those
because you
numbers.
think that the right is more harmful to children than the left, even within this
Yes, I
sense.
do. I do. Because there are 1.2 million
Wait,
babies are killed each and every year.
If you think that the right is more harmful to children than the left, then you would agree with the left.
No. I think that the left is more harmful to the children. I was just saying yes.
Wait,
I think that
Did you just say that abortion harms kids? How?
I'm saying that abortion. I
How does
personally
abortion
think that
harm?
it is
How does
wrong
abortion harm kids?
Because it is the unjust taking of a human.
Why is it
innocent life.
unjustified?
What? it's unjustified because it's human life, and I think that the unjust taking of a human life is wrong.
Well, I asked you why it's unjust, and then you just said if it's unjust.
Because I believe that human life deserves protection.
Why?
And I don't think that.
Why do you think that human life
we
deserves
are
protection because of our
innately-
species?
Because I think it is just a moral thing within us that tells
Moral
us that
thing
it is
within
right. I believe in a moral code. and
Okay,
I
well,
think that
let's just test your moral code. If Superman were real, do you think that Superman would deserve moral protection?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the common denominator between you and Superman? Because it's not humanity.
Okay, I'm saying that I think that humans deserve protection because we have human DNA, we have inherent worth, and we have a life worth living. I think that if you have those three qualifications, then you deserve to
But
be
you're saying that the
protected.
inherent worth is based on the human DNA, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it because I don't value animals the same way in which I value humans.
Okay, so then why would you value Superman just as much as you value you or I, considering the fact that he
I
doesn't
wouldn't.
have human DNA?
I wouldn't grant him the
What?
same.
Yeah, would you grant
yeah,
him
I
like a
wouldn't.
similar level of moral value as like a pig?
I'm saying that if someone came from outer space and they came into the USA and we didn't know where their origins were, and we had to protect the United States from an unknown influence, I would protect the U.S.
Wait,
citizens more than I would
the
protect
influence
outside
isn't
influence.
unknown. It's Superman. We know Superman.
Okay, then in this hypothetical, yes, I would treat them equally. Sure.
Why would you treat?
I don't
why would
understand
you
why you
treat
always do
Clark Clint
hypotheticals. I feel
equally?
like you don't have a
Because
long-term
it proves a point. The point that it proves here is that it seems to be the case that you don't think that worth is derivative of human DNA. Because if you truly believed that worth is derivative of human DNA, then you wouldn't grant that same level of worth to Clark Kent because he doesn't have human DNA, right? The common denominator between you and Clark Kent is not human DNA. It's like an expression of the capacity to intellectualize, reason from proposition to proposition, express sentience, have and experience first-person subjective experiences, and be conscious, right? So I'd say it's like a ball of those traits that rather makes us worthy of moral deservance. And I think that you kind of conceded to that point with the analogy about Clark Kent, right? And because the fetus doesn't have the capacity to intellectualize until around 20 through 24 weeks, prior to that point, I don't think you can hurt it. I don't think it's the type of thing that can be harmed. I don't think it has any moral protections. I don't think that it's wrong to kill it.
Do you recognize that we can look at different humans on the planet, some old, some young, some in the middle, and we
And-
can look at people with diagnosis, such as someone that has severe dementia. We would value, of course, someone with dementia the same as we would value you and I.
that.
However, if we had to make the choice of who we would value more, whose life we would worth saving, if we were in a burning fire and there was a really old person or there was an infant, and we ultimately have to make that choice, the choice would be hard, but we would ultimately choose probably the infant over the really old person if we only had to save one person. So I'm saying just because I do not value a fetus the same amount as I value you and I still grant moral worth to that fetus.
Wait, who would you
because
rather
it is
save, a
human life.
zygote or an old person?
I would rather save an old person.
Okay, so you'd rather save the old person over the zygote, but not over
Yes,
the
I
newborn.
would.
Interesting.
Yes, I
But
would.
this doesn't
I'm
address the
saying-
point that I just made. The point that I just made was that it doesn't seem like even you think that moral worth is derivative of human DNA. Because in the analogy where I gave you an example of another life like that of Clark Kent's, you said that he'd have the same amount of worth as you, yet he doesn't have human DNA. So this must mean that some other trait drives moral value. And I'd say that that trait is the capacity to intellectualize, which is the ability to express sentience, be conscious, the capacities for the ability to reason from proposition to proposition, have first-person subjective experiences, and that capacity doesn't develop until around 20 through 24 weeks. Therefore, we shouldn't morally value the fetus until 20 through 24 weeks.
The thalamocortical connections that even grant sentience capabilities neurologically don't even happen until 28 weeks. So for you to value at 20 to 24 weeks, again, doesn't even make sense because that doesn't even exist yet. And I'm saying that I
said the capacity to intellectualize and the brain structures
Wait, so the
required to
capacity.
develop that.
Wait,
Yes.
what do you mean by capacity? Can you
Features
give
or facts that are
in a-
true of X.
Wait. So you're granting something that does not yet exist because it will exist in the future?
No, the capacity currently exists predicated on the brain structures that develop at 20 through 24 weeks.
And what brain structures exist then that would grant that capacity?
Various different neuronic structures, such as the connection between the thalamocortical connections and the prefrontal cortex, sufficient
It doesn't
development of
exist
the
yet.
prefrontal cortex. It does.
No, it doesn't. Can
Yes,
you give me a
yes,
source
it
for that?
does. Yeah, NIH, National Institution of Health, Emergence of Consciousness.
Okay. well, I can give you a lot of sources that say that the thalamocortical. I think if you actually just search it up, just on Safari, just in general, if you look up when the thalamocortical connections begin, it is at 28 weeks. It would not say 20 to 24 weeks.
It just seems like you probably haven't done like sufficient research into it. That's probably when the thalamocortical connections are completely developed and make all connections in the brain.
No, that's when they're just beginning to develop.
Yeah, sure. What's a resource?
I'm just gonna look it up and see the first thing that comes up. Actually, I do have a source for this. I have to open up my Google Docs.
Yeah, PMID, let's see here. 3524686. This is the evidence of emerging pain consciousness during prenatal development and narrative review.
That's not the same as the thalamocortical connection.
Yeah,
So
conclusion. We can conclude from a neuroanatomical point of view, it's rather unlikely that the infant can be seen as a conscious human before 24 weeks of gestational age. Thus before all thalamocortical connections are established. Arguing that thalamocortical connections are established at 24 weeks. We hold on to the 20 through 24 weeks as a precautionary stance.
So you're doing it as a precautionary stance, not
The
that
additional
it's
4
given in
weeks,
that
yeah.
exact moment.
To
So you're
allow
saying
that
that
time to develop.
Okay, so you're basically saying that at some point you realize that it is wrong, so you're going to hold to the capacity for sentience. Are you saying sentience, or are you using a different term? Or are you using consciousness?
I
'Cause those are
said
two separate
the capacity to intellectualize is what develops predicated to be true of these brain characteristics at 20 through 24 weeks.
Okay,
Based upon the
and
evidence
what-
I just gave you, such as PMID 3524686, evidence of emerging pain consciousness during prenatal development.
Okay, so when you say like someone like you and I can intellectualize and we value that, what is it that is present at exactly at 24 weeks when you say they can intellectualize? What it is exactly about that intellectualization that you do value?
What is it about the capacity to intellectualize that I do value? It is the capacity that I do value.
It's not the same as you and I. Like it's not the same level of development of that we're able to intellectualize. I'm saying at 20
That's why
to
I'm not saying the
24 weeks,
actual ability to intellectualize, but rather the capacity to intellectualize. Thought that I already described this to you, my dude.
but again, you don't value that because if you
That is
if you
exactly
had
what I
someone,
value. That is the thing that I value. Yes.
Okay, so if you had someone in a vegetative state who was in a permanent vegetative state and they had a PET scan studies that were the same, the PET scan studies and the EEG and PVS shows disorganized, low activity without the coherent patterns associated with awareness. And if you have that same patient and you compare that patient that is in a vegetative state to
So a
someone...
brain dead patient?
No, it's a vegetative state is different.
What do you mean by vegetative? What do you mean by permanent vegetative state? What do you mean by that?
There's a definition that I have somewhere. Okay, the defining
If you don't-
neurological
if you don't
feature
mean-
of a
if you-
permanent
if you don't mean
vegetative
brain
state is
death,
the
then what do you
thalamocortical
mean?
disconnection. The thalamus and cortex are structurally present but functionally severed, either through thalamic damage or destruction of the white matter pathways connecting them. That is the definition.
Do you mean
of
permanent
a
irreversible,
vegetative
like
state.
cessation of cognitive function?
Nope, that's not what I'm saying. I just read you the definition.
Okay,
I
so
say
they-
the
so they have
thalamus
cognitive
and the
function,
cortex
but
are
they, like-
structurally present, but they're functionally severed.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sounds good. So basically, a fetus at like 15 weeks, but like they're permanently in
No.
that position.
20 to 24 weeks.
You just said that they're functionally inoperable, which is why
So
they're in
at
the
20 to
permanently
24
vegetative
weeks,
state.
the cortex. Okay, I'm going to give you this.
Wait,
because
you're
this
not
is what I
talking
have
about a
in my-
fetus because fetuses don't have. They're not in a permanent vegetative state at 20 through 24 weeks. Why are you
I'm
talking
saying
about a
that
fetus?
okay. I'm saying that if we compare a case by case study, in which I'm going to do right now. So if we have someone that was pulled the plug in a vegetative state, if we compare that to a 20 to 24 week old, at 20 to 24
The
weeks, the cortex exists structurally but has no functional thalamocortical input. EEG shows less organized activity than was present in the case where they were pulling the plug on the individual. The sedating neurochemical environment actively suppresses whatever minimal activity exists. Okay.
All right, so are you
for
saying
this
that like
instance,
sentience does not emerge at 20 through 24 weeks? Is that your claim?
I'm saying, okay, This is what I'll say.
Because the person who's permanently in a vegetative state, like they're not sentient, right?
I'm saying that the person in a vegetative state.
You're just saying that they're like very similar, like brain
Can
structures.
I explain what I'm saying first, and then you
Seems
can
like you're
reply?
really lost,
Charlie,
Charlie.
before you do, I'm gonna go start my own live. I appreciate you.
Appreciate
having
you
me
for
up,
coming up, Parker. Let's
Have
let
a
this
good rest of
guy
your stream, bro.
Get a little. Yeah, it's gonna be great. So, what's the question, Charlie? This is
I'm saying-
really boring for everyone, by the way.
Yeah, because your views are actually getting changed, which is pretty cool. You even said it yourself that you had to do more research on it before you can make a good decision about whether
About
you would
what?
let your kid or not transition.
I said that I just trust the consensus of medical doctors. That's what I said.
But
at the
then
start.
you
That's
looked
what
it
I said at
up
the
and you
end.
gained more information, and then you changed
About what
your
that medical
end
consensus
response.
is.
Yeah. So
So I didn't change my response because I was still trusting what that medical consensus is. Now don't pivot. What type of connection are you trying to make between between somebody in a permanent vegetative state and a fetus?
Here's what I'm
And
trying
how
to
does
say.
this relate to my view on abortion?
Okay, here's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying if we look at cases that have happened throughout the United States and throughout the world, and someone in a vegetative state, they were ultimately allowed to pull the plug on that person.
Right, because
if we compare the brain,
permanent,
yep.
irreversible loss of personhood, the capacity
that's
to
not what
intellectualize.
vegetative state means.
110%.
I can give you the case-by-case study on which I'm talking about and give you the specifics.
This is
I'm saying-
absolutely what a vegetative
listen,
state means.
listen,
I try to ask you this
to
as
what
a
I'm
clarifying
saying.
question earlier. They don't express sentience. They don't express consciousness. They don't express the capacity for reason or intellectualism. They're no longer a person in my philosophical
they
view.
attain those things. They're just they're just severely severed. That's what I'm saying to you.
That
Okay,
I
now
would
can
say
you let
that
me
the
finish?
mind that the mind is gone the moment somebody goes into a permanent irreversible vegetative state. They no longer are a person. They no longer have a mind.
Okay. Can I just get my point across and then you can talk about it, please?
Bro, yeah,
I'm
please
saying
feel free to try
that
to
if
get this point across. try your best, okay, Charlie? Try your very best to get this point across.
I'm saying that if we look at cases that have happened within the United States of people that have been in vegetative states, that have been deemed to be in vegetative states by medical people, doctors, and if
Mhm.
we look at the amount of brain activity that they displayed, the people in charge, let's just say that their parents, were able to pull the plug on them. And we
True.
would be okay with that because that was the medical consensus. And now if we compare
No
that
longer a
same
person,
level,
it's no longer unjust, true.
if we compare that same level of brain activity through the EEG, from the CT scans, from the neurological activity that is displayed, and if we compare that to a fetus at 20 to 24 weeks, they would
Yeah.
display, the fetus actually at 20 to 24 weeks would display less neurological activity. They would
Yeah.
display less EEG, shows less organized activity than was present in these cases. Okay, now this is my final point. For the
Oh.
vegetative state, we would be willing
Mm.
to pull the plug. However, now you're saying that at 20 to 24 weeks, we should not be able to unalive it. So why do you say in one case it's okay to pull the plug and the other it's not?
So just to clarify, people in permanent and irreversible vegetative states lack sentience and consciousness, right?
No.
What?
I'm saying I will read you exactly what.
Wait.
vegetative state-
People in these permanent and irreversible vegetative states, are they conscious?
They still have brain activity, but they're not fully.
But I'm
conscious
not asking you about brain activity. I'm asking you about consciousness. Are they conscious?
Well, it depends what you mean by consciousness, because you could ask about consciousness.
Are,
as
are,
something
are
like
they
brain
able?
activity,
Let
or
me
can
be more specific. Are they able to experience first-person subjective experiences?
Yes, but they're severely
What?
damaged.
Can I get a resource on that? Why did he leave? You fucking asshole. No, you're actually a dick. You're actually such an asshole. Fuck that guy. I fucking hate you. You made me sit here for an hour dealing with your fucking bullshit. And then the moment oh my God, the picosecond I finally catch you in a strict and clear contradiction, or more so, holding to a position which is obviously false, you leave? Oh my God. I actually hate that guy. He's never coming back on the stream again. No, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. I'm actually pissed. He kept me going for over an hour. And then the moment I get him in a position where he's clearly wrong, he runs? Jesus. Melody, I appreciate you for the $5 on Venmo. Thank you so much. Kyle, thank you for the $5. I appreciate you so much, Kyle. Patricia, thank you for the $5 as well. And Angel with the $20 who says, old news, but what are your thoughts on the U.S. commander telling troops that Trump was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to spark Armageddon and herald his return to Earth? Yeah, that U.S. commander hopefully was fucking fired, right? Hopefully was fired, right? I appreciate you for the $20. Elaine, thank you for the $10. I appreciate you. Samantha, thank you so much for the $5. Kirsten and Kennedy, thank you guys for the $5. Michaela, thank you for the $1. Juliana with a $5. Larissa, thank you for the $1. And over on PayPal, thank you so much for the $10. Martinez Kelton, who says, oh, we got to reload the page. Lord T with a $5 on Super Chat says, Dean, we were so bored, I was entertaining the chat. Dude, yeah, that guy was boring as fuck. It's okay, though. The Greater Fool Band, thank you so much for the $100 on Super Chat. Oh, my God. The Greater Fool Band says, I'm a father of 5. I would under no circumstances go against what my child and their doctors said because I didn't like it in my fifis. Yeah, that was kind of my point earlier, Fool Band. Like, I'm going to go based upon the medical consensus and the projected outcomes. Right now, like, I'm open to changing my mind here. If somebody could give me evidence that the outcomes of this would be negative in majority of scenarios, it's like, I'll change my mind, right? But no, the science and the outcomes through studies conducted by the JAM and AMA said that they significantly reduce suicidality rates, self-harm rates, and depression rates. Martinez, thank you so much for the $10, who says, I'm not super into politics and I'm not really sure what party I'm in. I just know that I don't support Trump. Regardless, I appreciate your debates and I feel like I learned so much from you because you're so well-spoken, intelligent, and well-educated. I have a lot of respect for you. Well, thank you, Martinez. And I hope that maybe by watching the stream more, we're able to push you towards, a little bit further on the left. And thank you for the $10. I'll take a look into that case. And C, thank you for the $20 donation on PayPal, who says, congratulations on the 6 million followers. Thank you for being the good trouble we all need. Well, thank you, C, for the $20. You are awesome. Then Michelle, thank you for the $20, who says, keep private. Okay, I will keep your message private. Just know that I really appreciate you. And I'm really sorry to hear that. Thank you so much, Michelle. Genuinely, thank you. Camille, the $14 says, happy Friday. This week I finally decided to quit my toxic job and I'm ready to celebrate. Hell yeah, Camille. Have a good weekend. Cadence, thank you for the $10. And Veronica, thank you for the $10. You guys are awesome. And I think with all that being said, we're all caught up. I'm actually pissed at that last guy. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually pressed. I'm actually fucking pissed off. That makes me upset. That makes me super upset. Dude. After an hour, bro. It just dips. Unfortunate. All right, listen, guys. We're actually going to end the live here for the night. We're at 4 hours. It's Friday? Yeah, it's Friday. So, going to go do something fun for the weekend. I hope that you guys enjoy your weekend. You guys should seriously consider hitting that follow button on TikTok on your way out. Dropping a sub on YouTube on your way out. I'll be back tomorrow as per usual. We do these streams 7 days a week. So if you even think that maybe you want to tune in ever again in your life, hit that follow button or sub on your way out. Go raid Parker. At Parker Get a Job on TikTok. At Parker Get a Job on YouTube. Peace, love. Enjoy your weekend. Good night and goodbye.